pretty good, pretty
About
good.
5.
Okay. And you guys reckon maybe you talked about some of the sweaty teams. Are there any teams you're watching out for today? I mean, I called it as the Mouse Slayer Mitch Robinson. I don't know, maybe I've put too much pressure on him, but who are you looking out for?
Mouse team, Elliot, Muzelk. Not too sure what the other teams are, to be honest, but...
Okay, focusing on you. You weren't looking too much at the competition, focusing on your game plan.
Ready to game.
Yeah, okay, ready to game.
Well, talking about ready to game, we're about ready to get into game. So, Mr. Fresh Asian, good luck to you, sir. We'll see if you can do it back-to-back. Give it up for Mr. Fresh Asian.
Good job, mate. You did well.
I just want to see it win. Everybody want to see it fall. All I want to do is just bow. All I want to do is just bow. Don't stick it out to the end. Stay and go off in the game. Want to see me lose, no way. Want to see me lose, no way.
Can he go back-to-back? We will have to wait and see. As he said, a number of pros here flown in from around the world. Of course, we're playing in trios, so you have to try and carry your team through. It depends, you know, who's on your team, what you've got to work with. And look, there's only so much you can do sometimes, but I think there's some sneaky strats that could come into this also, right? Like, for me, back in the day, I used to play a lot of games, and I wasn't very good. And, you know, if I was playing with a team, they'd say, Ben, look, just try not to get eliminated. Just have that and I'll take care of the rest. So, look, if you can come in, you can look after the rest of your teammates and, you know, take charge. You might be able to lead them to victory.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in a team game mode, even when you have 3 of the best players in the world, they definitely have designated roles. Some of those teams that have obviously had that experience together, like we just talked to Fresh, him and Lockie have played together before. I mean, they played in World Cup as a duo, so they almost made it all the way through the qualifiers. They came top 10 as a duo, so we'll see if Shui can kind of gel his way in there as well, and it'll be interesting to see.
We just had a chat to our Pro-Am winner from 2019, of course, Mr. Fresh Asian. For now, let's go and have our chat to our solos winner, the guy who took home $100,000 dues. It is, of course, X2 Twins, Jesse.
Thank you so much, Ben. Fallout here live with the champ himself, X2 Twins Jesse, one of the greatest players in Australian Fortnite. What does it mean to be back here for the second time now at the Australian Open?
Yeah, it's super cool. Love being here, meeting fans, love going out to LANs. It's good fun.
You competed in a great way last year. You performed in a major way last year. This time, we have global players tomorrow in the solos. You, of course, won the solo championship last year, but now you're going up against the likes of Epic Whale, Benji Fishy, and many others. What's your strategy or mindset like going into tomorrow to defend your championship?
Obviously, the meta's like flipped pretty much since last year. It was very placement-based. Now Siphon and all that, got to be a bit more aggressive. Can't do heal game anymore, so... And should be good with the international players, seeing how OC like sticks up against them.
You guys were some of the best in that late heal game. I miss those days for sure. Of course, today, though, is all about fun. You're playing with Jai and Tanner here. How confident are you and your teammates going into this Pro-Am?
We haven't played together yet, but I'm just going to have some fun.
I love it. It seems like a fun group, that's for sure. Tanner's been laughing and having a blast and also trying to jump and high-five fans, which hasn't worked very well for her. But that's going to be it for us here. I'm going to throw it back to Ben on the main stage.
We'll see how he goes. We'll see how he goes. We'd love to see a back-to-back Aussie champion, that's for sure. I know for you Aussie Antics, that would be probably one of the highlights of the AO Summer Smash if we could do that. The prize money, $100,000 the first, that is genuinely life-changing.
It is life-changing. I mean, I'm sure Jesse, he's just attributed to it there. It's a lot of money as well. And I mean, we talked about, obviously, there's 2 of them here. Jordan went to World Cup, so there's a little bit of, you know, sibling rivalry there as well. Maybe Jesse can go back-to-back, wins AO twice. Jordan went to World Cup. We'll have to see how we go.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure on for them, but they have the benefit, of course, of being here ready to play today. We'll see how they go in the Pro-Am when they're playing for charity tomorrow. 4 times the prize pool for them to take home. Potentially everyone going to get paid out, whether even if you come 90th, I think you still take home $2,000 or something. So not a bad day considering half of these guys and girls have been flown out to Australia from around the world. Awesome holiday. Check out the Australian Open, watch some tennis, play some Fortnite, have a great time. And you know, that I think, to be honest, that's what Melbourne is all about. You know, having a great time. It seems to be there's always something on here, and for me, I don't always get to come down to the Australian Open, so having the Summer Smash has been a pretty awesome 2 years. I can't wait to see how it gets bigger and better.
Yeah, this is my first time here, and I always kept being told it was a festival. I fully understand that now that I'm here. It is insane. It stretches for kilometers. There's live stages playing with like top-tier musicians and bands. There's some pavilions. There's like 3 tennis matches going on. It's incredible. It's a spectacle.
Absolutely. Talking about tennis, let's throw down to Adrian, who's got Kalakanakis.
Guys, thank you very much. We are here at the Australian Open, so we've got to speak to a tennis player, Australian tennis professional, Thanasi Kokkinakis, my man. You're at expert level at this stage, are you, with Fortnite?
I could not be worse if I tried. I'm going to get killed out here.
How long have you played for, just overall, in your Fortnite career?
We're looking into about 45 minutes to an hour, so things are looking good.
Very good. Hey, how was it coming out Margaret Court Arena? We're used to the tennis. We're not here for the tennis anymore. What was that, introduction like for you?
Yeah, it was different. I think there's more cameras on this than there are on the tennis, if I'm honest. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty average, but I'm going to try and sledge some people and see how we go.
Yeah, sledging is good. Hey, you got to introduce your teammates here, though. Who have we got here?
We've got my man Babs. Used to play tennis as well, now turned pro gamer.
Yep.
And newly met J-Mock from Canada, so look out.
J-Mock and Babs. Babs, how concerned are you to be playing with a man who has absolutely no idea what he's doing?
Severely concerned, but, like you said, we're going to scrap and see what we can get done.
So what did you speak about? Take us through the strategy. Have you had any time? He's going to jump on your back.
Literally, on both of our backs, but I think Yarmock's mostly going to be doing most of the heavy lifting, but just drops and stuff like that where he can get some good loot.
We're not too far away. Hey, let's talk tennis just for a moment. How are you going right now? When are you back on court?
Yeah, I had a bad illness sort of the start of the year, so I'm hoping to be back around French Open time, and yeah, hopefully I don't want to miss another Aussie Open next year. I love this place, and hopefully I can be playing on this court, not gaming.
Absolutely, we'll see you then. Hey, good luck, good luck. You guys are going to need it. Nicely done. Guys, not too far away. Let's get down to the casters, shall we? What do you got, guys?
Thank you so much. I am down here on the caster desk, and I am joined by none other than Aussie Antex. What an absolute pleasure it is to be casting beside you. Your knowledge alone is just, it's overwhelming. What is it like to be here at your first major LAN event casting this tournament today?
I mean, yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. Since I started getting into casting, it was like AO was like the main goal for me, not just to be involved in a cast of this size, but to hopefully call out an OCE winner would mean so much to me. I mean, I love these guys. I've been watching them play and talking about them play for hundreds of hours. If I get to be the one who calls out the name of one of them winning, it'll mean so much to me.
Well, it'll definitely be a thrill for sure, and I know the crowd is wanting that as well. Being in Melbourne, there's a little bit of a bias there towards the OCE players. Now, you've been here all week, so you've had a chance to talk to these guys, get a feel for, how they're doing coming into this event. Do you have any kind of inside information you can share with us?
I mean, yes, I've been interviewing a few of them and talking to them. I was there when, Benji Fishy and Epic Whale came first and second in the Cash Cup, so I've been around them a fair bit. I mean, I was talking to them about the usual stuff. How's the jet lag? How do you feel? I was amazed to hear that most of them are actually feeling pretty good. Like, I don't think there's a single one that I've talked to who was like, oh man, that flight, I'm jet lagged. They're like, look, it's a long time on the plane. I mean, some even said they went from going from snow straight into 40 degrees heat, and it still hasn't thrown them. I mean, they're competitors. They're ready to go. Some of them flew in a little bit earlier. I mean, I believe we have Vinny and Zexro flying in this morning, so we're going to have to see how that holds up for them, but yeah, no, they're athletes. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're definitely professionals. A lot of these guys have played before. Unfortunately, for some of the OCE players, this is their first LAN event, so we are going to definitely have to see how that shakes up for them. But in terms of the actual games, I know that we're just waiting for the guys to get ready. Guys and ladies, we do have some ladies competing today. They're just boarding the battle bus right now. So do you have any predictions going into these games for who you would like to see win? Now that we've seen the players, now that we see where they're sitting, there's no real advantage, but I mean, who knows really with these guys?
Yeah. I mean, it's who I'd like to see and who I think I'll see. It's really hard to currently know at the moment. I mean, there's so few tournaments like this. We've talked about how exciting this is because since World Cup, this is the first major tournament we've had. So I've been kind of grasping at what can I go off to think who might win this. It's very hard to know. I mean, obviously I'm hoping for an OC. I made some predictions online. I think Benji and Epic going into solos have to be the favorites. Today as the trios though, I think definitely those teams that have those content creators or celebrities like Mitch Robinson who played a little bit before, they'll have an advantage, but it's true, it's for fun. You never really know. Everyone's a winner today, so I think focusing on tomorrow we'll have to see, but it'll be interesting.
It's going to be a fun day for sure. Now, just like you said, trios is a little bit of a different format. We really haven't seen a lot of competitive play surrounding trios before. This is going to be one of the first events really that is going to be having a trios format. Now, do you know if going into today's strategy with a trio strategy is viable for any of these guys? Because I know that they've been playing a lot of squads. That's really what they've been doing to practice because that's really the only option. But how do you scale that down for trios, especially knowing what we do about a lot of these celebrities, they don't have a ton of playtime in the game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the players that can have the best strategy going into it, knowing the limitations they might have, right? If there's players who never played before, or people like we said with Husey, I'm guessing probably the last time he played this was maybe last year. Everything has changed since then. I think it's finding a strategy that works, that includes them, uses them for what you can, and then tries to incorporate that, right? Like, it's a pretty complex game, and there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, but we'll see. Some of these teams have played together before, some haven't. It might not be a factor. We talked about LAN experience. Some of these guys who have played together before haven't played in a tournament of this size, though. There's so many factors, honestly. That's why today is going to be such a good test run for tomorrow. See who's maybe coming out on top. We could see maybe 1 or 2 pros do phenomenally well, even on their own. You just never know with Truth.
Yeah, you definitely never know. And casting and coming from World Cup, I can certainly tell you right now that this is a way different experience. The game is completely different, you know? We entered Chapter 2, Season 1, and a lot of the items were completely taken out of the game. The whole item pool was completely reworked, and there is now certainly a definite lack of mobility in the game. So, you know, the rotations are going to have to be on point for these teams. They're going to have to dedicate a shot caller, a leader, in order to make sure that they're just making rotations.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. So last year when we would have done the duos portion of this, duos Pro-Am at AO last year, the game was very different. You had that ability to maybe split off from each other and kind of take it on your own, right? You had a lot of items that would get you quickly across the map in the form of rotation. Now you don't have that. So these team modes have been a staple, and they've been really fun for competitive Fortnite because you have to work as such a cohesive unit. We've talked about some of these players haven't talked to each other before. So we'll see how cohesive they can be, but it'll show some different strengths. Can you pick up a new play style pretty quickly? Can you maybe even overcome language barriers? I mean, there's going to be some things today, but it's going to be a lot of fun either way. I'm looking forward to it. And you said you casted World Cup. Coming here today, the whole game's different. How's the experience of the center, everything going? Is it a little bit different, same?
It's a lot of the same kind of feel, a lot of the same vibe. I'm somebody that definitely feeds off the energy of the crowd, and they've been fantastic so far. So I can't wait to get into today's games. But what we're going to do now, we're going to throw it back up to Ben and Fallout, who are up on the main stage, to get a little bit about what they think is going to go on in these next games.
Thanks, Pookie. Yeah, for me, the big thing here that I kind of want to get out for mums and dads who are watching is that this is very different, right? Like, things have changed in the game. That's the very nature of competitive video gaming, is that there are updates in this particular game in Fortnite. The entire island's changed. It's Chapter 2. And the whole play style is a little bit different. It's far more than going from the grass court to hard court to clay court. There are a lot of big changes that have happened in this game since we saw one of the biggest in-person tournaments about 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's a great call out. And honestly, that's one thing my parents growing up as a Greek immigrant family used to tell me to stop playing video games, but the amount that you learn about competing, communicating, leading a team, adapting, creating strategies, you're really putting your mind to the test in gaming, and in Fortnite, always changing, you have to always adapt to stay on top of your game.
Absolutely, certainly do. So, obviously 90 players on the stage, so many competitors. Let's go and break it all down, take a look at who we've got, who's here, what team they're on. Of course, Laser Beam up with Husey and Rel, Muself, Ruben Styles, and X2 Twins Jordan. Look, for me, those are some superstar teams. Are they going to win? Maybe, but certainly a lot of big names. Who are you looking at here in these first 10 teams?
You took the words out of my mouth. The top 2 lists right there are the most entertaining, undoubtedly. We got a lot of Laser Beam fans and Muselk fans in the crowd today, and they are hilarious, so expect them to meme and have as much fun as possible, and maybe do some work as well. I'm excited to keep the camera on them. And of course, we have Lachlan playing with the former champion, Mr. Fresh Asian. I know he has fun, but he always takes it serious. He's a very competitive player as well. I'm excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, to round out the first 10 there, you got Mao, Mitch Robinson, and Chief Slayer. Of course, 2 big names in the world of Fortnite, and a third big name in Mitch Robinson, an AFL player who, if you did not know, streams online, plays a lot of Fortnite. So I suspect that particular team is one of the 30 to look out for. Let's head now to teams 11 through 20. We go through and take a look at Magma, Baker Boy, Epic Whale. Who are the big names here that you are looking out for?
You actually just, again, took the words out of my mouth.
Sorry,
We're on the
man.
same page here. This is fantastic. In my eyes, Epic Whale, one of the best players in Fortnite history, one of the best players right now. I think he's going to come out in a big way here, very competitive as well. Baker Boy is, I believe, a hip-hop artist and celebrity here in Australia, playing with Magma as a content creator. I think that's a great squad. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. I got a lot of love from my man FaZe Replays, playing with Tom Burton and Maddie's son. I'm excited to see what they can do as well.
Yeah, we take a look there. Obviously, we spoke to Kokonakis earlier, going to be coming out with Jalmox and Alex, and we'll see if there's... Look, does the sort of pro tennis vibes, you know, allow you to excel under pressure on the Fortnite field? I'm not sure 100%. We'll have to wait and see. I've heard a lot of questions from media and press throughout the week talking to some of these Fortnite players, asking them, hey, how do you think a tennis pro would go? And for some of them, sure, but still, it's very different. Being good at tennis does not necessarily mean that you're going to be an expert at Fortnite.
Yeah, that's for sure. I got a lot of love for Thanasi. He's a fellow Greek. However, he was not lying when he said he's played 45 minutes to an hour of Fortnite total. Just like tennis, you
We're going to double it.
Yeah, he's about to double it today.
Yeah,
Literally
yeah,
doubled him
yeah.
on time played. So we'll see what they can do. Some of these tennis players maybe can fare if they practice, but some of these tennis players, if they haven't put the work in, will definitely struggle.
We'll have to wait and see. And of course, look, to be fair, it's a pretty epic training session to play with some of the best up here on stage. You're going to power through. You'll certainly be better by the end of today's 3 matches. As now we round out 30. We'll take a look there. Any big names to look through? Look, Alithia's a big streamer. Benji Fishy on her team, or perhaps she's on his team. And Richie Stanaway, of course, coming through there. Leon, we know, coming through with Airwax. And look, it really could come down to anything. It really, for me, there's a lot of these content creators and influencers who are actually very good gamers, very good at Fortnite, and it'll be how well can they play today. And it's one thing to play well, you know, normally when you're online, playing with your friends, doing a bit of streaming perhaps. But when you got the likes of Benji Fishy in your game, you could just get eliminated after about 10 seconds.
That is so incredibly true. Yeah, and I'm looking here on this list. I'm looking at Airwalks. He's the defending champion for Pro-Ams in Fortnite. He won at E3 and at the World Cup with RL Grimes, the rapper in America. So the European Airwalks, I think, will play incredibly well. 100 Thieves Cease, an absolute monster, one of the most entertaining people on social media in Fortnite as well. Excited to see what he can do. And then, of course, the World Cup defending duos champion, Nyrox, playing alongside Beck and James. I'm excited to see what they can do.
A lot of big names, a lot of celebrities, a lot of content creators. Let's see how they gel together as a team in this trios competition. The format for today, we're of course playing 3 matches. The scores, you can see how they work through there. A victory royale, that means you come in first place. Your team is the last team remaining. 15 points on the board if you achieve that. Second place, 12 points. Third to fourth picks up 9. 5th to 8 picks up 6, 9th to 12 with 3. 1 elim is 1 point, and of course, Fallout, we're playing 3 matches. It's kind of, you know, like golf, where you, at the end, you tally up your score, you see who goes home the winner.
Yep, but the opposite of golf, though, the more points, the better in this one. You want to try and rack up points as much as you can. Of course, one thing that's very interesting about this tournament is we have some players that are not so experienced in Fortnite. So I'm interested to see if some of these pro players opt for a very aggressive, high elimination strategy. Are they going to try and go for eliminations early on? That's a viable strategy here, whereas typically in competitive Fortnite, we see a lot of pro players play for placement. I think we'll see a lot more aggression early here.
Yeah, obviously when we're talking about a charity pro-am, you're talking about a prize pool for someone else, you still want to win that money for them though, right? That's it. Like, it's not like, yes, okay, this isn't money for me, but almost I think the pressures could be even bigger when you're trying to, you know, you think, wow, if I win this, I've got $30,000 going to a charity of my choice. That could make a ton of difference for, you know, a bushfire affected community or something like that. So sometimes for some of these guys, the pressure is even bigger today.
Yeah, that's a great call out. You're playing for something much bigger than yourself, especially for some of these players that are used to competing on main stage. You're competing for an even bigger reason at this point. So I'm excited to see these guys come out. In my eyes, overall, my best predictions for players that are going to come on top, I got to look at Mr. Fresh Asian, Lachlan, and Enshui, the musician here in Australia, to defend their championship last year for Mr. Fresh Asian. Slaya, Mao, and Mitch Robinson. In my eyes, the absolute favorite in this one. Mitch is an absolute beast on the sticks. I've watched his streams plenty of times. I think he's going to do big things representing the AFL, of course, alongside Chief Slaya and Mao. I think they're going to play incredibly well.
And that brings us, of course, to today's schedule. 3 matches across the rest of Saturday here at the Australian Open. Kicking this one off in just a moment. Then tomorrow, day 2, that's going to be our solos. 90 of the best players from around the world fighting it out. 6 huge matches, and then in the evening in Rod Laver Arena, we have the men's finals tonight, the women's finals. Look, it really is the pointy end of the competition. A lot of money going out both between the tennis and Fortnite here at the Australian Open across the next 2 days.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, we keep talking about it. This is the first major competitive LAN tournament since the World Cup. Of course, today is a Pro-Am. We had Twitch Rivals, which was a streamer showdown type of matchup, but tomorrow, the Solos tournament will be featuring Epic Whale, Benji Fishy, Zate, Saf, Geomox, so many top players from around the world. Of course, those players are incredibly strong alongside the likes of Parpy, Volks, and so many others here in Australia competing. So I'm excited for tomorrow. You saw the schedule tomorrow, a multi-game final. It's going to be great in solos, but today we got some entertainers. We got Lachlan, Musel, who will also be competing tomorrow, by the way.
They certainly will. Now, as we said, our Pro-Am charity event, $100,000 is on the line for this particular competition. First place, $30,000 to their charity of choice. Second, 21. Third, 15. All the way through to the end. 7th to 10th are going to pick up $3,000 for their charity of choice. $100,000 total going out today. Tomorrow, we said it's our solos competition. Big money on the line. First place, $100,000 dues. That is an absolute ton of money. Life-changing money. Second to third, $50K. Fourth to sixth, $25K. So many digits in these numbers. It's pretty incredible. And knowing that all the way through to the end, even if you're come last, you still get paid out. Plus, you got to come to AO. Look, they're pretty fortunate, but they work real hard.
Yeah, undoubtedly. People don't realize how much effort goes into this. These players are competing and playing for 6 to 12 hours a day to stay on top of their game every single day. They're watching VODs or video on demand review, AKA film. They put so much work and effort. They put their lives into this, and I'm excited that they get the opportunity to get paid out as well. $100,000 for first place is absolutely insane, and $1,000 just for showing up is even better.
Yeah, for some of these players, it is very similar to being a pro sports star, except a lot of the time you play from home. It's a bit of a weird one, so it's exciting when we get a chance to see them out on stage, to see them here down under in Melbourne at the Australian Open. That's a pretty epic opportunity, to be perfectly honest. We don't always see the likes of Benji Fishy down here. Look, it's a long way to travel as well, so I'm glad to hear that they've sort of already warmed up. They're used to the time zone differences, hopefully used to the heat. We'll have to wait and see, but nice and cool in here. It's going to get hot very, very soon, though, with 90 players really going at it.
Yeah, indeed. It's been 42 degrees outside, by the way, which for my fellow Americans...
Celsius.
Yep, 100 degrees plus in Fahrenheit. So it's been very, very hot outside. Going to get heated up in here with some amazing action. We also have some awesome fans here live in the audience. I've had a chance to talk to Oscar, AJ, Jordan, so many other amazing, amazing kids that are here supporting their favorite streamers, pro players, and influencers. So once the action gets underway, it's going to be great here. Our first tournament of the day will be the Pro-Am. We have the Solos competitive tournament tomorrow as well. And they're my boys right now on screen. I love it.
Oh, look, the Fortnite community at large is actually a pretty awesome community. The kids have so much fun. It's a great way to get involved, great way to make friends. And I saw that there were dancing competitions and stuff lately. And, you know, you really can just pick the aspect of the game that you like and make that sort of your area and have a great time.
Yeah, that's a great call out. It's one of the best things about it. Of course, seeing Fortnite bring together friends, communities for the last 2-3 years is unbelievable. Has been unbelievable to see. Epic Games has done an amazing job fostering communities around the world, and we're now in Australia bringing players from all around the world together to hang out and, of course, to compete. It's been a beautiful sight to see, and it's really evolved competitive gaming and gaming as a whole.
Yeah, and for me, the opportunity for some of these pros to come out this weekend, meet some of their fans as well, because, you know, if you're a pro on the other side of the world, you may not realize how big a fan base you have here down in Australia. For the content creators and the Aussie pros, an exciting opportunity for them to meet some of their fans also. And then to check out the tennis, I got to watch the semis last night. I know there were a bunch of Fortnite players there. I know you got to check out the men's final last year. Like, what an awesome opportunity brought all together with gaming.
It's unbelievable. And I had a chance to do a center court interview before the semifinals yesterday in front of a giant audience of parents and fans. It was an amazing experience. And I got to agree, the players that are out here this weekend, you see Cease on screen right now. He's a former champion at the WSOE Fortnite Showdown back in December 2018. He, of course, alongside Elevate, won that one. We have Nyrox, who is a champion of the World Cup in duos. We have Airwalks, who won the last 2 Pro-Ams. We have champions, literal Fortnite champions, the best players in the world here. I have to say, the Australian Open, Tennis Australia did an unbelievable job doing their research. You got to think this isn't just a cheeky Fortnite tournament at the Australian Open. This is a true competitive Fortnite experience. Kudos, and my hat goes off to the Australian Open for putting this together.
Yeah, this is a world-class event with world-class players on a world-class stage. at a world-class tennis tournament. Like, what more could you truly want? Like, it's going to be a pretty exciting couple of days, that's for sure. Look, for me now, the pressure starts to build, right, for these players.
Yep.
Playing for charity, $100,000 on the line. If you are one of the pro players, you have a content creator on your left, you have a comedian on your right. What do you say to them right now to get them across the line?
Well, actually, in Dave Hughes' case, a comedian whose son is sitting on his lap and playing for him.
Well, I think that's a massive plus, to be
Yeah,
perfectly honest.
Plus. But I love that you asked that, because I was talking to some of the celebrities, tennis players, who don't have a ton of Fortnite experience. And if I'm that pro player, I'm strategizing and I'm saying, look, follow my lead. I'm going to call out everything. I'm going to communicate everything I could possibly see. If we stick together as a team, if we all listen to one another, we can make this happen. And in my eyes, you want those celebrities that maybe don't have as much Fortnite experience to try and ISO or isolate the other celebrities on the other team. Because if you think about it, they match up well. Every team has the same composition. There's a celebrity that perhaps doesn't have as much Fortnite experience, unless you're Mitch Robinson, of course.
You can't all have Mitch Robinson. There's only one of him.
Exactly. So I'm trying to ISO and find that one person on the other team and focus on them. If you see Epic Whale or Zexro building a mansion in front of you, don't try to fight them. Try to fight the other individual, the other celebrity that you can match up well against.
We got a lot of celebrities here today. Let's go have another chat to one of them. It is Lachlan Down on the floor.
Guys, thank you. We've got one of the biggest names going around inside Margaret Court Arena. Lachlan, ladies and gentlemen. Kids, what do you think of this? Now, they have been cheering for you since you arrived. How are you feeling, my man?
Feeling pretty pumped. Yeah, good crowd turnout today. Love to see it. Got a pretty good squad going. I got myself, Anshway, and of course Fresh. He won the Pro-Am last year, so hopefully we can do it again.
That's a strong team, right?
Yeah, it's one of the stronger teams. Obviously, me and Fresh did a lot of World Cup together, so hopefully we can bring that back and put it out there today, yeah.
And we're nearly ready to get stuck in, but I've got to ask you about your outfit, man. This is fresh. Tell us about it. What's going on?
This is just the merch line. This is my clothing line, powered by Lachlan. It's my last name. So, yeah, it's just power, little electric bolt there. Love to see it.
I love it. It's almost like some motorbike pants or something. What's going on down here?
Pants aren't mine, but they look cool, right?
Nice. So there are a few nerves, though. You were just letting me know. Big stadium, Australian Open, big crowd. How are you feeling at the moment?
I've had a bit of a LAN experience. You know, I've done like the World Cup, all that kind of stuff. I've done every Pro-Am, but I don't know. Trios this time is the first trios. We haven't done trios before, so I don't know. I'm pumped.
So how does that work? Because trios, not often, you know, the communication's going to be key. Who's kind of leading the team?
Well, it's just like normally when you do duos, it's yourself and a celebrity, and sometimes the celebrities never really played Fortnite for like the last couple months, so they're not too versed in it, and it's competitive at the end of the day. But now having like Fresh, and I mean, Ench, we've been playing a couple games with the last couple weeks, so hopefully we can turn that into something today and get out there and hopefully make endgame at least every game is what we're aiming.
Absolutely. Last couple from me. Charity. Do you have a charity today that you know about?
Yeah, I'm going to be hopefully sending some money back to one of the local hospitals back up in Brizzy, Logan.
Yeah, nice. What was your thought process around that?
It's just like one of the hospitals that me and my brother went to back in the day. I think my brother broke his arm. He spent like a couple weeks in there. So just trying to give back that way. I know they had like a game set up there back in the day, so hopefully using some of the money there to improve that game setup, I guess.
Well said. Play well today, mate. Have a good one, okay?
Will do. Thank you.
Guys, back to you. Let's do this. Come on.
Thanks, Adrian. Look, I don't know what Lachlan had to do to get that team lineup, but it's a pretty good one being placed there. We know Lachlan absolutely great at Fortnite, being placed with the real Mr. Fresh Asian as well. Like, that's going to be a tough team to beat. There are a few big name teams here today, playing for a lot of money, of course, for the charities of their choice. For mums and dads watching at home or here at Margaret Court Arena, if you're unfamiliar with Fortnite, I'm sure all our fans at home know what we're about to talk about, but let's just break this down a little bit. So we're going to start with 30 teams of 3 players. That's where the trios come into it, right? Yep. You drop out of a bus, you sort of parachute in, and you land on the ground, and you pick up as much as you can. You get eliminations, and the field closes in. A big storm comes in on top of you, and by the end, only one team remains. And that's what we're talking about, that victory royale, 15 points for your team if you can achieve that one. So you're trying to stay in the game as long as possible, accrue as many points as possible. We get to do that 3 times today. So again, look, I know there's lots of people that go, yeah, I know how Fortnite works, but lots of mums and dads supporting both players and their kids here today, and it's great to have them here at Margaret Court Arena. So I hope you enjoy yourselves. It's a lot of fun, and And I think by the end of it, you'll be a Fortnite fan as well.
Agreed. I think we definitely appreciate your support. Big shout out to all families here supporting live today. Of course, another big component of Fortnite is building. Expect these players to be building walls, ramps, towers, you name it. It's going to be a big part of what we're seeing today. But you mentioned Lachlan and Mr. Fresh Asian, how good of a roster they have, and I could not agree more. They're one of my 7 or 8 teams here that I've listed as teams to watch or predicted teams to succeed and maybe win this tournament. And that Mr. Fresh Asian, we mentioned it earlier, he is the reigning champion of the Pro-Am here in this tournament. Last year, 1 year ago, he won and took home the first place prize. He's playing with Lachlan and Enshway, who's been competing and practicing. So I think they're a top team. A couple other teams I'm looking out for. I think Epic Whale, Baker Boy, and Magma will be a great team to look out for. Vinny1X, TSM in the house and representing, playing alongside George Thompson, who's a ball boy, by the way. So shots to our ball boy.
Look, again, I got to watch these guys last night, right? They're switched on, the ball boys, ball girls. They know what they are doing.
You mean on the tennis court or in Fortnite?
Well, if anyone can handle a pressure situation, right, if you've, that's pressure. Trying to do that. So I think they'll be down for it, and I suspect in their free time
on TV in front of hundreds of thousands, you got some of the best tennis players right next to you waiting for a ball.
Yeah.
You can't drop the ball. So if you could do
You can't
that,
stuff that
you
up,
play
right?
Fortnite. My man right here, George, he knows what's up. He's getting ready and gearing up for a great tournament.
I reckon, no pun intended, he will be on the ball today. I have no absolutely...
The pun was definitely intended. Stop lying.
Sorry. Look,
100%. I know you.
Absolutely no doubt about it. He's going to be a star today. So great opportunity for some perhaps lesser known Fortnite stars to shine through today as well. Win some money for their charity. You can hear the crowd already starting to pick up. They are ready for this game to get started.
All it took was Lachlan to stand up and wave, and that's what happens. It's amazing to see the fans, the stars that have risen thanks to Fortnite and Epic Games and everything that they have done. It's going to be an amazing show so far, that's for sure. We have the best fans, the best audience in that game in Australia, and this is my favorite audience, one of my favorite events in the world.
Look, we've known about some of these teams for a little while now. We've had a chat to speak to them and get some footage. Let's go take a look at some of the teams participating today.
to the end. Stay go off in the game. Wanna see me lose no way. Wanna see me lose no way.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
what a cool little package there. Like, that's awesome. And I think you stand in like a dark room and they shine bright lights and you turn really slowly. And at the time you feel pretty silly. But then when you see stuff like that, that's actually very, very cool.
I think we call that TV magic. We were talking about seeing you in slow-mo. I think it'd be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So hopefully that can happen at some point. But look at that was fantastic. Very well done. But the lineup we just saw, let's just break this down real quick. We have 100 Thieves, FaZe Clan, Genji, TSM, so many amazing organizations, the best organizations in esports here, live in Australia competing. And this is just the Pro-Am. We have the solos tomorrow, first major tournament since the World Cup in competitive Fortnite, at least solos. It's going to be an amazing weekend.
Absolutely. Look, a man who we've spoken about a few times already. He's big in the world of Aussie rules football, and he's not half bad at Fortnite either. Let's go and have a chat with Mitch Robinson.
My boy Mitch.
Well, guys, if I had $1 for every time I heard Mitch Robinson's name today, I'd be a very wealthy man. Hey, you're one of the favourites. The pressure is on.
Yeah, I've got a pretty strong team here who's going to carry me pretty hard, but if anyone kills me, I know where they are in here, so I'll go fight them afterwards.
Who's in your team? Introduce.
We got Mal, the content creator, 200,000 plus on YouTube, but he plays really well. And we got Slayer over here, who's the pro. He's winning the World Cup. He's our team leader, so we're gonna follow him around. I'll be decoy.
Slayer, welcome to you. Hey, Mitch, why are you so good at this game? I mean, our hosts, our casters have mentioned your name so many times. Why are you so good?
I think I'm just a dark horse in the celebrity community, but I think I'll go all right. I've been playing first-person shooter type games since I was 9 years old, so I'm a bit of a closet nerd, but and when Fortnite came out, it kind of was acceptable to come out and have some fun in public, so it's really good. This is an awesome setup. I can't wait to get started.
Tell us about the strategy. Obviously, we're not going to go too deep into it, but you've got 3 guys you're playing with, which is a challenge. How you work through that? Who's leading the team?
So we've got Slayer behind us, who's had that experience before in big situations. So we'll play with him, but we're going to have some fun, obviously. But towards the end game, if we're still there, we're going to have a crack. So everyone's kind of saying they're going to muck around, but when it starts, I reckon that's when the competitiveness comes out.
Well, you're an elite athlete for the Brisbane Lions. The pressure's on here, mate. Enjoy. Good luck.
Cheers, thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
So much love for Mitch Robinson. We've given him a lot of love on the broadcast for good reason.
Yeah.
He's one of the most famous celebrity players, as he said. And we were tweeting back and forth yesterday. Tariq Cohen in the NFL representing Chicago Bears won a tournament yesterday at the Streamer Bowl for the Super Bowl. Yeah. Well, Mitch is trying to hold it down here for the AFL here in Australia for the Pro-Am. Let's see if he can do it.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
I'm a serious gamer.
Guy on your left. Watch out, watch out.
But I don't play games with my money. That's why I shop online with Honey. Honey scans the web for promo codes and applies them for you so you don't have to break your wallet going pro. See all this gear? Honey saved me money on all of it. $70 on this right here. Bam. What's that? Will Honey save you money? Yeah. It only took 2 clicks to add the button to my browser, and bam, savings. Honey works automatically on thousands of sites like GameStop, Dell, and Newegg. Honey saved me money on this chair, on my drink fridge, this bad boy.
Do it.
That's a cool one to see back-to-back footy players in different codes on different sides of the world, whether they can come through here in Fortnite. But look, we talk a lot about Mitch Robinson, but there are a lot of other players here who are going to be on their A game. Look, with some of these players, perhaps they're not even playing tomorrow in the solos. Maybe they didn't make it. They're not in that top 90. But when you talk about top 90 out of the best players in the world, there are still some very good players outside of that, and they're playing here in the Pro-Am charity match also. So for them, this is their opportunity, their time to shine, a chance, as we heard earlier, to win that cash for the charity of their choice.
Which is what makes it so special, right?
Yeah.
You're spot on. So many amazing names. We mentioned the organizations. We've talked a lot about the celebrities. Mitch Robinson, Dave Hughes, comedians, musicians, athletes that are here competing. We have a sailor, a professional sailor, Olympic sailor as well competing today. Gold medalist representing Australia. So many awesome individuals that are competing here. But then we also have the likes of Symmetrical from CLG, Airwalks, TSM Vinny, NRG Epic Whale, of course, who's competed in such a big way. I'm excited to see what NRG Zate can do. And then our Australian organizations like Chiefs, Mind Freak, Renegades, and so many others.
Yeah, exactly right. In the world of competitive gaming, there are teams as well. Some teams have crossovers, right? When you look at the Adelaide Crows have Legacy Esports, so an AFL team actually owns an esports team here in Australia, so that's pretty cool. For some of the other ones, they're picking up players. We see Mitch Robinson, as we said, he plays for an AFL team. He streams for an Aussie esports team as well, so a lot of cool opportunities there. Look, it really is kind of coming out of the shadows. It's cool to be a gamer now. When I was a kid, it was slightly less cool, and maybe I'm not particularly cool, but it's exciting for me to be around all these cool players who are, look, they have so many fans. When we saw those videos earlier, I don't know if you could hear this at home, but every time one of the Aussies popped up on the screen, the crowd went nuts.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the merge of competitive gaming and mainstream media and entertainment. You're spot on. When I played professionally from 13 to 20 years old, I was kind of embarrassed. I didn't tell anyone at school. I kept it kind of low key because back then there was a stigma about gaming. Fortnite has changed that stigma undoubtedly. We now have professional football players, athletes, musicians playing, and these Fortnite professionals and celebrities, even the likes in the States like Nick Burks, CDM the Third, so many others, are now just as popular as a lot of these streamers and celebrities. It's amazing to see how Fortnite has changed that stigma.
Yeah, and when we look at some of these content creators, when you compare the number of YouTube subscribers to the number of Twitter followers that some of the pro tennis players have, when you look at a pro tennis player, they might have 10 to 20 million Twitter followers, which is absolutely massive, better than my 2,500. When you look at some of our content creators, they might have 20 million, 15 million YouTube followers, people who watch their content every week. And that's such a crazy thing to think about, the way that people consume content now. Kids really, they sort of get to make their own way, right? They get to enjoy what they want to enjoy. It's not just dictated by what you find on the TV.
Yeah, you know, Forbes just published an article, so for any parents out there watching and saying your kids can't make a career out of video games, there were 4 or 5 gaming influencers who made over $10 million in 2019.
I'm doing it wrong.
Streaming video games, indeed.
Yeah.
So undoubtedly, it's amazing. When I was growing up, it wasn't really a viable career path. Now it undoubtedly is. But at the same time, any kids out there watching, my rule with my parents at least was, as long as I get straight A's and B's or 20s and 19s in school, I can keep playing video games. You got to go to school. You got to take care of the business first.
It's definitely about moderation, right? You got to, again, if you look at what the pro sports stars do, the tennis stars, they're not just playing tennis 20 hours a day. They're going to the gym, they're eating well, they're training, but it's good training. They're doing all the prep that they need to do. The same is the case for the pro video game players, the esports athletes. They need to eat well, they need to train well.
Yep.
We seem like a psychologist and, you know, things like that coming in. Just try to work through every aspect of the game so that you can be the best version of you. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're playing games, if you're at school, if you're playing sports, the best version of you will be the one who is best at whatever you choose to do.
Yep, you're undoubtedly right in that. It takes a lot more than just grinding video games nonstop. So that's a good message for everyone out there watching. Of course, we got a live crowd here at Margaret Court Arena, the famous Margaret Court Arena where so many tennis matches are played. We now will have some great Fortnite be played. Our apologies for the delay here in getting match number 1 kicked off. It's going to be getting started here in just a moment, but we're just getting ready, getting everything squared away. We want to make sure there's no issues with these players because they're playing for charity, they're playing for a lot of money, so we want to make sure everything is squared away.
Look, and I think a lot of players trying to pick the right skins as well, trying to make sure that they're all lined up. A lot of people wearing the same thing in game, so maybe we'll be able to work out who these trios are based on the in-game skin that they're picking. But the Australian Open has been a pretty epic 2 weeks. For you and I, we've only been here a couple of days. It's already been a ton of fun. As I think Aussie Antics was alluding to earlier, right? You hear about how it's a festival, and I'm like, okay, a festival of tennis, but there's a ton of tennis, obviously, and for good reason, but there's music, there's places to hang out, places to chill, so much going on, so many activities. It really takes over Melbourne Olympic Park, and this is such a great venue in such a great city that, for me, I love coming down to Melbourne each and every time we do this.
Yeah, it is a festival. That's what separates the Australian Open from any of the other Grand Slams, the French Open, Wimbledon, the US Open. Is really the Australian Open is a party. You walk through the venue here, you see 3 or 4 bars.
Aussie do it best, mate. Aussies do it best.
Honestly, I got to agree with that. It's my 3rd time here in Australia, and I think this is one of my favorite countries to visit, one of my favorite destinations.
For now, though, that's enough for us. Let's head back down to the floor for an interview from Adrian.
Guys, more sports stars. Richie Stanaway with me, V8 supercar superstar who's come all the way from New Zealand. Just for this, mate, it is great to have you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. Looking forward to it. I've got a pretty stacked trio, I think. So, yeah, hopefully we get some good RNG and, yeah, we'll see how we go.
How long have you been a gamer for, I guess, specifically with Fortnite?
I've been gaming quite a bit the last couple of years. It's been quite a fun hobby for me just between races. So, yeah, it's, great to be here again this year and, had fun here last year as well. So looking forward to it.
Any special skills we should look out for you? What do you like most about playing?
No special skills. I'm pretty average, but yeah, hopefully my team can carry me.
Who have you got on your team?
I've got Benji Fishy here and Alethea. So, yeah, I think hopefully they can carry me because, they're the more serious gamers. So we'll just have to see how we go.
I think one thing that's really interesting is how the trios work together. So have you guys had a chat? What have you sort of, obviously not too much detail, but have you had a chat?
Yeah, we've had a chat about where we're going to land and just a bit of strategy and stuff like that, and especially what we plan on doing towards the end of the game. So,
want to tell us about it?
No, we've got to keep that secret. But yeah, so yeah, I think we're pretty well prepared. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
And in terms of the V8s, how are things going? What are you sort of up to during the season at the moment?
Yeah, it's not the racing season at the moment, so plenty of time for gaming.
Nice, man. Thank you so much for your time. Get down there. Good luck. Maybe an outside chance to perform well today. Play well.
Hopefully. Thanks.
Yeah, a very cool crossover there as well, because of all the traditional sports, right, car racing and the supercars here in particular, there's quite a lot of crossover. When you train in the world of racing, you do a lot of sims, a lot of, there's a ton of crossover there, and of course, a lot of pressure. The guys sitting under immense heat there in those cars and really having to grind through it. Again, you're not kicking a ball or hitting a ball, you're controlling your vehicle. So we'll see how that mechanical skill that comes with being a race car driver and the pressure that comes with that, how that plays out today here in the world of Fortnite at MCA. The other thing, Benji Fishy and Alethea, of course, Benji Fishy, one of the best Fortnite players in the world, and Alethea, a very well-known and a very good FPS player here in Australia as a content creator. So that actually could be another one of those dark horse teams.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about them, but how could you keep out Benji Fishy or count him out? He, of course, is one of the best players in the world, best player in the UK in my eyes. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I think it's a great roster, a great lineup. But you're spot on. Race car drivers, sailors, we've left them out in addition to football players, soccer players, etc. So I think we have an awesome lineup, undoubtedly. It's going to be a good tournament. A lot of great names, great stars. You got your boy Ghost Saf on screen right now here. I'm excited to see what Saf can do representing Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, look, some of these guys, they should be well and truly warmed up now. I hope they've had a time. Look, this has been pretty good for, I think, some of the players, though, because they may not have necessarily known each and every player on their team before today. So now you've had a chance to get in there, get on the comms, make some strats, come up with the best play. No excuses now. You can't be like, oh, we didn't have a chance to talk. No, that's out. That's gone. That excuse is out of here. Short of one person speaking Japanese, one person speaking Korean, and you speaking English, and not being able to work that one out. That's probably going to be tough. But there's, in game, you can sort of like, I don't know, point at stuff, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good call out. But fortunately, I don't know if this is intentional. Tennis Australia is maybe very good. But Airwalks and Leandro Reed, who's an 18-year-old tennis player from Switzerland, are both from Switzerland. So that'll be good. Hopefully they can speak. Unfortunately, Leon, who's their third, might be left in the dark here if they're speaking in another language. But we'll see what happens there.
Look, Leon's pretty good in of himself. So hopefully he'll be able to carry himself, and the other two can look after each other. We are very, very close to getting this underway here at the AO Summer Smash featuring Fortnite. A lot going on in the Australian Open, the ladies singles finals tonight, the men's finals tomorrow in Rod Laver Arena. As we said, this whole precinct has been taken over as part of the Australian Open. There's so much going on. I was so excited last year when we brought Fortnite for the first time. I was like, what is this going to look like? How is this going to play out? They managed to change Margaret Court Arena into this sort of gaming paradise, this epic stage. Pull out the court. The court's got to come up, right? You've got to take everything out. You've got to turn things around. You've got to build it up. Get 90 PCs in here, half of them on a second entire level. Some of the stuff been working through the night to get this ready on the back of the tennis matches that we saw here earlier in the week. And you want to make sure everything's good to go. You want to make sure that everyone's comfortable. And that's why we've given these players just a little bit of extra time to make sure that they are happy and that there's no excuses if you don't come out on top.
That's a great call out. And it's hard to believe that 24, maybe 48 hours ago, a tennis match was played in this court. This is a tennis arena in Margaret Court Arena, now turned an esports stadium. You would never have guessed that. So again, a huge shout out to Tennis Australia and the Australian Open for putting on this event and doing it in a very authentic way. I mean, the entire Tennis Australia staff, their full-time job is to put together the Australian Open and focus on tennis matches. They do an even better job putting together esports tournaments. They're just as good of a job. It's amazing to see. And of course, a big thank you as well to our partners in HyperX for powering it all and making it all possible.
Yeah, love to see the sponsors on board and support the players and, of course, the content creators and fans at home. And look, peripherals are important here also, right? When you talk about that, when you talk about HyperX, you want to make sure you're playing on the best gear. The same way you want to make sure you got the right tennis racket. You see these players, they'll go through, I don't even know how many tennis rackets they went through last night. It was a lot. There were changes all of the time. Fortunately, we don't see our esports pros go through just so many keyboards. Certainly that could be quite expensive if it were the case. It would be a tough one for sure. But it's all the same thing. You've got to get familiar. You've got to get used to it. You've got to warm up. And I think they're just now at that point. We're almost ready to go.
Yeah, undoubtedly. We just saw on screen right there for a moment, Cease. And of course, TSM Zexro. Zexro flying all the way from Long Island. Also, top player and World Cup qualifier playing alongside George, the ball boy here in Australian Open. I'm excited to see what they can do. Both Vinny and Zexro coming from America, representing TSM. They just flew in this morning and came straight here. So shout out and kudos to them for making a long trip from the United States and getting ready to compete. I know he's an unbelievable player. I saw him compete at TwitchCon. Of course, so many tournaments before that. And I think they're both going to do big things with their teams.
Yeah, we'll see how the jet lag plays out. Maybe today will be the day, though, right? Like, they're still working on adrenaline. Tonight, maybe they'll probably be ready for a nice, quick head to bed and prepare for the next day. But hopefully for them, they can just get through today, get prepped, ready to go, and we'll see. Tomorrow's another story.
And then get some sleep for the $400,000 tournament, by the way.
Wow.
That's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be a 5 or 6, I think, a 6-game championship final.
6 games.
Awesome. First solos competitive tournament that we've had on LAN, purely competitive since the World Cup, bringing the top players from around the world, 11 players from North America, symmetrical. You got Elevate, Cease, Zate, Saf, and so many more, alongside top players from Europe, Benji Fishy, Nyrox, and so many others, playing against the top players from Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and of course, China. It is a global affair here at the Australian Open, and I'm excited for the action to kick off tomorrow.
It makes sense, just like how the tennis has players from all around the world, the same here at the AO's Summer Smash featuring Fortnite. Now, you might think, well, but don't these players get to play against each other online all the time? It doesn't actually work like that. If you're here in Australia, it's quite tough to play against someone on the other side of the world. If you did choose to play against them, you're a bit of a deficit, right? The information has to travel all the way from here, all the way over to there. But it looks to me like we are ready to go.
Looks like we have loaded up. We have dropped from the battle bus already. I am Pookie Face. I am here with Aussie Antics. We are going to be casting the first game together today. How pumped are you to be here? We're finally on the map. I know these players have been getting a little bit antsy, waiting for us to drop in, but this is it.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, we saw them doing some edit courses there. I think they'll make it some impromptu practice there. It's looking good. They've dropped out of the bus. We're underway. Game 1 of 3 today. We have 3 games playing out, so we've seen the first one, and we're seeing some interesting drops already. Like we said a bit earlier, being trios, they're going to have to drop on more named locations. That's where there's obviously a higher chance of finding more loot, and you've got to get 3 people looted up and out of there. So we'll see how they go. We haven't seen anyone contest anyone yet, but we've seen a couple of good drops. We got Fresh going to his, obviously, renowned PP. I talked about him earlier on stage there. He always drops Pleasant Park, and he's gone there again. Hey, you can hear it from the crowd. You can tell as soon as it goes on Laserbeam. We have Laserbeam, Rel, and Hughes dropping Risky. Laserbeam playing to the crowd.
Look at Laserbeam.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
You don't have to be a tech YouTuber to get sweet deals on the stuff you find online. You just need to install Honey. If you don't already know, Honey is a free browser extension that's available on Chrome, Firefox, Safari, just about everywhere. When you get to the checkout, Honey automatically searches for the best, most up-to-date coupon codes and then just applies them to your
Laserbeam go. They've landed here at Risky. Interesting POI, point of interest. Now, we didn't have Risky Reels for a long time. They actually took it out. Look at him, just best mating for everybody here in the crowd. They love it. Laserbeam has been known for antics such as these, but it is early game. He does have the opportunity to take things a little bit more on a lighter note. It is end game where things are going to get a little bit more serious, but Risky Reels, a very interesting POI. Like I said, we didn't have it for quite some time. They took it out of the previous seasons, but it is back and it has made a big comeback. One of the best places for trios, in my opinion.
Definitely. I mean, we switched over here to Stevie Nicholson, who has an elimination. So we got Cease and Bumper, both great players in their own right. Cease obviously being a World Cup player, but it looks like Bumper and Stevie Nicholson have the eliminations right now. Cease is, as the pro in this trio, at this point being carried. They're up on, they got 1 elimination on the board right now. So Bumper has the 1 elimination, they're on 1 point. They've dropped, and a pretty safe drop actually. So maybe that's showing a bit of Cease's like professional prowess there. Maybe leading them to a safer area to see how they go and test it out. And yeah, we're not seeing too much combat on the island yet. So in the top left, you can see the player count there. We have 81 players, 80 of them being alive, so only 1 player has been eliminated so far. So we still have 27 full teams.
Right. Now, we have to keep in mind that because we are looking at trios as the format, there isn't going to be as much disbursement across the map as what we typically see in solos. So these guys have figured out these little pockets where they can land, where things are a little bit more secluded, a little bit safer. There may not be as much loot there. However, you can see here, we're looking at Bumper. He had a bunch of shields. We are back in Pleasant Park, though. It looks like another team has rolled up. We're looking at Fresh. He does take some shots. It looks as though Vinny's team is actually trying to push them out of Pleasant and take it for themselves.
Yeah, Fresh is pushing across here. Fresh being the pro in this team, pushing towards Vinny and Exu. Now, this is a very scary team. Vinny obviously being a very well-known pro, TSM pro, but Exu is actually one of the better players in OCE at Creative. So if this turns into a bit of a fight, he's definitely going to be one to look out for in that fight. And no, I say that, they're a scary team, but they're choosing to back off. And Fresh is leading the charge there. You can see in the bottom right on the mini-map, Fresh is that front triangle who is pushing them down. Vinny, Exu, and George Thompson here choosing to walk away and try and get more of that loot, maybe make it to endgame.
We've got a little bit of chase on our hands. If you take a look in the lower right-hand corner, you can see the mini-map. Fresh is not letting these guys get away. He doesn't have a sniper, unfortunately, but he does have that AR, and he's going to take a couple of shots onto George, hit him for 30 shield. His shield does get ripped off. It is now his turn to take a little bit of damage. He is trying to build up and ramp up, reinforce that as he goes, but unfortunately, he is going to kind of take a passive stance at this point and hopefully see if he can get a little bit more damage. Takes a couple shots, unfortunately misses there.
We're seeing the experience here. Like I said, Fresh, Lockie, and Enshui have been playing together. You instantly saw Enshui, again, being the celebrity here, and he built up and he took some shots. He had a good level of protection there. He has definitely been coached by Fresh and Lachlan here, so we can see the shots coming out now. It's going to be one of our first trio engagements. He's pushing up higher. Fresh trying to push forward. He has 47 materials, which should be enough to take this fight. We can see Vinny and Exu building out a metal there, so they're trying to play it more defensive. They've got spare metal around them, and they're pushing back inside, right next to the coastline here, trying to stay safe. But I think with the way Fresh played that, I don't think he wants to let them go. I don't think this is going to end well.
Well, I don't think this is going to end well for 2 teams because I just saw Zexro's team in the pink there. They're actually coming up and trying to third party. You can see them now actually saying, you know what, never mind. We forget it. We're sorry. We're just going to make our way across the river here and disengage. It is very early in the game, so these early engagements mean a ton. What you want to try to do is get to at least 12th place to get those placement points. Again, just to reiterate for those watching at home, Victory Royale is going to net you 15 points. Second place is 12 points. Third and fourth will get you 9 points. 5th through 8th will get you 6. 9th through 12th will get you 3, and each elimination will get 1 point. Keep in mind there are 30 teams here, so 17 teams are not going to place, which means that these early game engagements are so important to play properly.
Yeah, as well. And I mean, we're seeing how big the lobby is right now. This could turn into, we see Laserbeam and Yuzi going for the bush camping strat. I mean, you want to maybe make jokes about it. This is a very intelligent strategy. If you've got 3 players, 2 of which or 1 of which is not very experienced in this scenario, this is a great play. They're dancing it out. I mean, I don't know so much about the secret strategy of sitting in a bush where no one can see you to then dance so they can hear you. But again, it's Laserbeam and Yuzi. Oh, Yuzi being taught how to do the L dance. Might be able to throw it on someone if he eliminates them later. If Yuzi takes down any of the pros today and hits him with the L dance, they are never going to live it down.
Never going to live it down, indeed. Now we can see another team here. It's actually Musel's team. They're looking to play the strat where you just kind of cruise around on the boat. It's actually a very decent strategy, but we are over here now with Volks, who does see somebody in his sights. He's got the sniper very close range. Let's see what he can do with this.
This is a very scary fight. Volk's one of the best players in the region, definitely one of the most aggressive. I know a lot of people are watching out for him tomorrow, but in trios, this is a player that could take down 3 players, including a pro by himself. He's getting the high ground now, trying to find these angles. Gets the snipe, unfortunately, just misses it. He's on the high ground, going to try and push across. Loserfruit here on the low ground, trying to get away. No, she's building up. She wants to fight him. She wants to take the fight straight to Volks. She's getting edited down. Volks goes faster. It's Volks versus Loserfruit. This is going to be an insane engagement to start off with. Loserfruit holding her own at this point, though. She's building up and playing defensively, and Volks is trying to get forward and trying to get in on her. Brody's falling in from behind. Brody also a player who's the content creator, but he is a very good player in his own right, trying to get into on this female team.
We have some excellent names just in this situation right now. We see Volks again trying to look for them. They might have backed off a little bit, try to heal up again. You can see Loserfruit's team has also done the same. It's really a game of cat and mouse at this point. Depends on who is going to engage, but we did see Volks with that sniper in his inventory. If he gets a shot off, that could be what they need to engage. Back over here to Lachlan and Mr. Fresh Asian. We've got Vinny and his team down on the low ground, and Mr. Fresh Asian with his team above has the high ground, might be an advantage, but quite honestly, you know, we've talked a lot about in previous broadcasts having low ground over high ground. What is your preference?
I mean, it depends on the situation here. I think the point to look at now is Enshui's actually split off to the side. So you can see in the bottom right now, he's pushing back closer, but they've definitely taught him to go for split angles. So, I mean, high ground versus low ground right now, the main problem is the fact that Fresh's team is in front of them between Storm. So you got the blue line behind their team there, and Vinny and his team need to rotate past Fresh to get to that safe white zone. So at the moment, Fresh's team is in the power position. We see Laserbeam's team hiding in the bush, but a boat is rolling up straight through them almost. Elevate gets out. This is 3 players so close. It's 6 players on top of each other, 2 full teams of 3, and they're rotating away from that bush. And we saw like a glimpse of the playstyle there. Rel, Laserbeam, and Husey made no move to fight them then. They were just happy to let them go straight past, playing that passive playstyle.
Yeah, and we have a bunch of teams right now in Salty Springs as well as on the outskirts, so we are going to have a definite engagement happening very shortly. What's going to be interesting, though, is if Laserbeam's team is actually going to try to third-party that, get a couple of eliminations, get a couple of points for their team, or if they're just going to play passively. We are back over here with Lachlan. He is taking some shots. So is Mr. Fresh Asian. They're a little bit low on shields right now. Zone is going to start moving in about 15 seconds, but they are on the slower side, so they will have time to finish this engagement. Call it right now. Who do you think is going to come out of this?
I mean, with the damage that Fresh just did then, I mean, Enshui, Lachlan, and Fresh have the position advantage. Vinny pushes up. It's pro versus pro right now. Fresh, if he can take out Vinny here, they're definitely taking out this fight. If you can eliminate the pro in these trios, it's going to be a big deal right now. So Fresh can find that elimination, but looking at Fresh's health and shield, that's pretty hard to take out 3 players. And I did notably point out that as far as the skill advantage goes, this team is incredibly close. Exu is a phenomenal player from OCE. Lachlan is also, so it's going to come down to maybe the difference in the celebrities here. We'll see how much practice Enshui's had with this team. They're turtling up through them. They're trying to push up from the low ground. They're playing this incredibly well. Fresh is taking it slow. He finds the angle on Exu. If he can take that Exu here, which he does, that's a huge turning point. Fresh's team now has the numbers advantage. It's 3 versus 2, trying to find these angles. Enshui pushing in to close out this fight. Fresh just holding that high ground, making sure he doesn't get caught out. If Fresh goes down here, Vinny's on low ground with no shield. Fresh wants to finish this fight, and he does. He takes it down. Fresh, Enshui, and Lachlan getting 3 eliminations, and now they need to push in the zone nice and safe. That was a phenomenal play by them. That was really, really well done.
Absolutely incredible play, and you can see Mr. Fresh Asian actually was going back there, utilizing the storm, knowing that if he does get the eliminations, he is going to be getting health, he is going to be getting shield. Each elimination will net you 50 health or shield, whichever you don't have. But we come over to Benji Fishy. It looks like he just got a couple of very quick eliminations there for his team. He is sitting at 2 right now, and he is trying to third party, got a shot off onto Volks, who took 22 shield damage there, but did get fired at. He is going to make his way over into the zone. They are just south of Weeping Woods. I'm not sure if there's anybody behind them. From what I can see there, it doesn't look like it. So with their back to the storm, they're relatively safe. Now, back over again to this Oh my gosh, we have so many teams here. My goodness, this is going to be massive.
And we have Papi on the high ground, not looking too great on health, unfortunately. Choosing to build up there, needs to be careful of going too much higher. He has the 100 shield, but he only has probably what looks like less than 15 health. So on that high ground, if his builds get knocked out, that shield is going to be useless compared to the full damage. So we'll see. But notably with that Benji Fishy fight last round, that was Volks' 2 teammates that got taken out. So Volks is now soloing this as a trio. And again, for those aggressive professional players I talked about, maybe that's going to be a theme. They push off too far on their own, their teammates get taken out, they just can't keep up. Players like Airwax here though, who have a lot of Pro-Am experience, he's won the last 2 Pro-Ams he's been in, could go for the hat-trick today. Maybe he'll be a little bit better at keeping his teammate with him. He's shown that he can play with teammates he's never played with before and carry them to the victory royale. So I'm looking more for those kind of players today.
Well, you can take a look even at the map and how tightly packed every single team is. It doesn't really look like anybody's running off on their lonesome. So that is a tribute to how well these teams are actually communicating and how well they're adapting today. Again, some of them playing together for the first time, so that is a huge testament to them. Shout out to them for being so cohesive as a unit. We are taking a look here at Volks. There isn't anyone really around, but he is trying to farm up, again, because this is the Trios Cash Cup format. We are only at a maximum of 500 materials per type of material, so 500 wood, 500 brick, 500 metal, as well as this siphon is in effect as well, like I mentioned earlier. So if you're running low on health and you know that, you know, as somebody who plays a ton of Fortnite and who analyzes the game, do you go for the eliminations to try and get that 50 health or shield back, or do you try to loot a little bit more, move away from the teams and play the safe route?
Depends who you're versing, and I mean in this situation with Volks being solo, he has the advantage of stealth right now. He was sitting directly under Loserfruit and her teammate Tina. I don't know if they know we're there, but that was the engagement we saw earlier, but Volks could maybe go for fishing. We saw he had the slurpfish there. We have Laserbeam, Rel, and Husey. They said they're going to have fun, and they're having fun, but really they're near center zone, boxed up under the bridge. That's a good strategy. That is 100% Rel leading this team. They're having fun, but they're still doing a pretty good job. That is beautiful positioning. We see Jinx and Mully there also in a good positioning. This could be even a game that comes down to Storm Surge. We've talked about how this is for fun, but these guys are definitely taking it competitively. I mean, their warm-up wasn't there. They jumped straight in and they're going for it. Elevate trying to harpoon some loot back. His whole team is still alive. Alex, also a phenomenal content creator out of NA, but he's here today, and he's going to be one to look out for too in the hands of Elevate, who is a World Cup player. He is phenomenal. He's trying to push back through. They're near center zone. Almost all these players are in. So for a lot of celebrities and content creators who don't have that competitive experience, they seem to be rotating pretty well. Wouldn't you agree? Look at where they all are. They're almost all in the zone. I can only see one team right now who isn't in the current zone.
Yeah, but they are making their way over. So like you said, these rotations have been very impressive considering there really isn't much mobility in the game, save for the boats that they're able to use on water. You can use them on land, but they are not as effective. Now we're doing a little bit of a split screen here. We can see Benji Fishy on the bottom right-hand side of the screen taking some shots over at a couple of players. He's trying to get some hits on replays. So I'm not sure if he actually ended up kicking out or not, but he's doing some damage there. My goodness. You can see that Papi actually just got a knock on Oliver. That is going to be detrimental for that team as well. Papi looking very good with his loadout. He has all of those traps, so we're going to have to see if he uses those.
Unfortunately, he's a solo as well. It's interesting, Papi and Volks, 2 of the more aggressive players out of OCE. They both went to World Cup together as a duo, and now they're both playing solo in trios, so their teammates maybe not being able to keep up with them. We also saw those shots that were coming out from Benji Fishy. The only surviving player I could see on that trio was the celebrity. So we're going to have to see how maybe they can play this one out without the direction. Maybe their teammates can give them some hints and some tips from when they've been eliminated. We'll have to see. Fresher, Enshway, and Lockie looking like such a cohesive unit right there. They've already picked up a whole squad wipe, or trio wipe, I should say, and they're rotating in next to Saf, Temp's team, and Jinx and Mully. So that's a very congested part of the map right now. Need to be careful, but if they make this rotation, which looks like they are playing so well together.
I'm so impressed with how these teams have been able to rotate and stay together, especially considering a lot of these guys do not have as many hours as the pros, not even like a quarter of the hours as the pros. So this has been an absolute pleasure to watch. You can see Mr. Fresh Asian's team here kind of trading, splitting mats to make sure that everyone is prepared going into the final zones, because with only 500 of each resource, you can expend those so quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to look at this squad right now. We have Fresh on top of Jinx, who was actually his squad and trio mate during the last FNCS. So I don't know, maybe they can sense each other a little bit. You have Lachlan on top of Mully there, who are also both part of the Click team. So this is a very tight-knit group right now. It'll be interesting. We see our first sights of Muselk so far, but I can see he's holding the high ground. Muselk, one of those content creators we're talking about, that's definitely on the better side. He is playing in the pro solos tomorrow, so he's holding his own up here. Ruben Styles and Jordan still alive, but opting to stay on the low ground. So this will be interesting to see how this one plays out. This is a stacked lobby. 46 players alive, 4th zone starting to close in or about to start closing in. This is a good lobby. Mully going down, unfortunately. I talked about Fresh. No, Fresh going down. Sorry, Fresh is going down to Mully. Lachlan's by himself now. He's him and Enshway going to try and hold this one out if they can. They've lost their pro. Fresh is down, and it's now Enshway and Lachlan trying to hold it out. Beautiful edits. Lachlan trying to edit the cone up to hold himself, protect himself from this spray. Jinx getting sprayed out now as well, though. So Mully took down Fresh, but went down himself. So unfortunately, the squad is now being third-partied. He might get the revive off, though. This team might be okay.
Yeah, they might be okay. He only has 1 flopper in his inventory, however, not really sure how much help that is going to end up being. We can see Lachlan going down to 5 health, taking shots from behind, is using his builds to try to get out of this very sticky situation. He has 2 Vanish bazookas in his inventory that he is going to try to get off. Only is able to get 2 shots up, unfortunately, getting him 30 health, but does take a little bit more damage. Oh my goodness, here is the action.
They're getting held right now, that's the problem. We got so many full trios there. We got a full trio to the north one. We got Saf and Temp taking some solid shots on them, just spraying into them. So right now, unfortunately, Fresh's team setting up on top of Jinx's has cost them a lot, because now they've drawn the attention of this full trio who is looking a lot healthier than them. They've smelt the blood in the water. They're pushing forward. Lachlan and Enshway hiding out. They might wait till they rotate. This is beautiful. Lachlan and Enshway are hiding while the other team leads them away right now. Mully and Jinx are making a Saf's team push forward onto them and chase them away. They might be able to get their way back in this, but they're pushing into some amazing trios here. Benji Fishy, no surprise there. He has got his full health trio on the high ground, holding everyone coming into zone, showing his competitive spirit there. He is a phenomenal player, and I'm not surprised he's leading this team that well.
He has always been very good at gatekeeping, like you said, just waiting for the players to really just run into his spray of bullets that he lets out. It's worked out for him very well in the past. Now we are taking a look at another team up here. We have Alethea, and that team in particular with Benji Fishy on it, they are looking great in terms of their health, the resources, everything like that. You can tell that Benji Fishy's experience, not only with previous events, but just as a competitive player, has really come through there.
Yeah, definitely. They're in the power position of this game right now. They're on high ground, no one's shooting at them, and that's the thing. When you have to rotate into the existing zone from outside the zone, everyone's going to hold you. We touched on earlier, no rotation. You have to walk in. They know which way you're heading. You're between them and the zone, and you can just spray them out. They're on the high ground. They're looking good. Lachlan, though, Lachlan and Enshway back in it. Like I said, Lachlan's showing a lot of intelligence right now. He is a competitive player who has been playing for a very long time. That decision to just hide, wait till the team's rotated past, and then rotate late has proved incredibly useful. We have 3 eliminations on Benji, 1 on Richie, so they have 4 points in total coming into placement very, very soon. We have 22 teams alive. Once we get into those top 12 teams, that's when placement points are going to start coming out. I saw Papi there in the feed, one of the solo players still holding it down. This is the favorites we talked about earlier, Slayer, Mitch Robinson, and Mao. And Mitch has 3 eliminations. Their celebrity has 3 eliminations, all 3 of them.
Unbelievable. Now, if I was just watching from home and tuning in for the first time, Aussie, I would honestly think that I was looking at a competitive scrim.
Sure.
We're looking at over 40 players still alive in this lobby. We are on zone number 6. This is absolutely unprecedented at these types of events. I can't even believe what I'm watching right now. Benji Fishy tarping out, using the cones to reinforce the structure to make sure that he's not easily shot down, but a huge risk taken by him. We see Richie here taking some shots. He does still have shield in his inventory, but a team is trying to push up on him. He does go down to 48 health. He needs to get those shields off right now.
Yeah, he's trying to get into this thing. It shows how good these players are, that they can carry people they've never played before. Benji Fishy showing his competitive nature, getting these players in. He is a phenomenal in-game leader, just tarping out for them. Alethea is just following behind. She's doing well as well. She's getting some builds out. Benji leading the charge. They're looking him at the front there, reinforcing these builds, making sure they hold up, and now he's going to try and get them onto the high ground. They're in the best position coming into endgame. Seeing Airwax take down a few people in the feed, Elevate taking down Jinx, so Jinx's team is now without their pro. If Mully is still holding out in this kind of a lobby, I would not be surprised if any content creator or celebrity gets confused. I would be getting confused in this lobby right now. This is a stack lobby. Twix pushing up towards Benji Fishy. Look how many players we have alive right now.
This is absolutely wild. Just a moment ago, I talked about how we had over 40 players. Now we're down to 27, 16 teams remaining. Again, 4 away from those placements. Benji Fishy with the huge upset ends up taking out a member of Cloud9. We can see Epic Whale is still alive. Aerox is still have Harpies there. We have Saf here. He gets another elimination, nets himself another 50. Shield and health does take out Volks as well. Volks has gone down. 20 players alive. We are now at the threshold for placement points.
Here we are. We're on the second rotating zone now. Jets trying to get this elimination. He does. He takes down Leon. He keeps pushing through. The tunneling coming out. He needs to make it forward as he can and just keep pushing with what he has. He does not have a lot of materials. 7 builds total, as you can see there, beneath his eliminations. He has 3. He's pushing into this placement threshold. Any further he goes now is going to be amazing. Elevate looking so healthy, though. He has 1 Slurpfish, 3 minis with an amazing inventory, except for those materials. He only has 4 builds. He's waiting for Zexo to push forward. If he gets this elimination on Zexo, he can replenish some of those mats, and he gets shot from behind, unfortunately. Who is this on high ground? Of course it is Zate, the competitive veteran on high ground, absolutely decimating this lobby. Elevate taking a lot of damage here, trying to hold the builds. He managed to replace some of those mats, and he goes down to Zexo. We have some of the best international players in the world. Jaumok, Zexo, Zate, Luta. We have 2 OCE players and 3 NA. Europe is out of contention this first game. Jaumok trying to fight it scrappy on the low ground. He's trying to find his way through these builds. Luta, he's versing one of OCE's best mechanical players in Chandas. They are a duo right now. Luta and Chandas are on the same team with these fish skins. Jaumok pushes out and cannot handle it. Zate on the high ground. He has to, it's 3 players alive. He's trying to find this one in there. Luta and Chandas on the low ground with Zexo. So we have 3 teams. So far, you'd have to say Luta and Chandas have the advantage right now, being at the only duo versing 2 solos.
Yeah, unbelievable. Zate does have the ultimate high ground. You can see that he used the harpoon gun to actually bring in some metal, give him some mats, because until that point, he was running very low. Still controlling the high ground. We have Chances down here, looking to make some edits. Doesn't have a ton of builds left either. This is coming down to the wire, Ozzy.
It's coming so close. We have Luta and Chances using the numbers advantage, but Zate having the positional advantage. Right now, Luta is phenomenal mechanically, but Zate right now, this is the player who's won so many tournaments, played in so many massive lands. Let's see if he can close down low ground against Luta. Shots come out, and no! Zate goes down to Luta. 22 points for this team in their first game. They pick up 7 eliminations as a squad and the victory royale, going down. Zate's team coming second. That was a phenomenal first game. This is Celebrity Pro-Am Trios. In case you've just tuned in, you may have missed this. A lot of those players are not competitive Fortnite players. That was a phenomenal game.
I honestly don't know if we are going to top the first game of the day. We're both here shaking our heads. We absolutely can't believe it. I know the crowd absolutely cannot believe it as well. The level of competition we just saw in that game was, like I said, it was unprecedented for anything that I have ever seen before. Let's talk about those final moments, though. I thought for sure Zate had it. He was on the top. He had extra materials. He was looking very good, but it only takes a couple of shots, and you're completely out.
Yeah, you had to give up that high ground advantage, and he was going into numbers advantage there, and Chances, a very good player in his own right. So he was versing Luta, the pro in that team. Chances, the content creator, but Chances was able to hold his own there. Luta getting the elimination, but a second place for Zate there. It's amazing to see how much experience these pro players have internationally to make it to that end game. We saw Benji leading his team. We saw Zate holding it down. They just keep these players with them with next to no competitive experience sometimes, and they keep them up with them. This is a very, very hard game to keep up with these guys. This is phenomenal.
It is so impressive. Like we've been saying all game, I can't believe that we're watching the Pro-Am right now. It looks like that was a scrim lobby.
Game.
That was an amazing game. Now, in terms of what we saw with the teams rotating, you know, we talked a little bit about no kind of movement items in the game, so no launch pads. We don't have any kind of ground vehicles or anything like that. How do you think these guys have adapted over the past couple of months and really pay, you know, you have to start paying attention to the clock, to the zone, and all of that stuff a lot more than you used to have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a different style. So you had some of those IGLs, a lot of those players that did perform so well, they're normally the team leaders for their squads, for their trios, and a lot of them, when you have that role, you lead the way with builds, right? You're building those tunnels, you're making those tarps where you can keep yourself secure. We saw a great example with Benji Fisher on the high ground. He was leading the way, building the floors, building the cones, keeping his team behind him, and yeah, that's how they have to do it. I'm actually genuinely so impressed with the content creators keeping up and how well these pro players are going with it. We see Chances on the screen here with the winning trio. There we see Lito, who got the final elimination, taking down Zate, which I'm sure is actually probably one of his idols as a professional player. And then getting to take him down in his first game, that is exceptional.
Smiles all around for those guys for sure. Now, I know, Ben, you're up on the stage. Are you smiling as well?
Exciting game number 1 here at the AO Summer Smash. Once we got up and running, wowee, I did not expect to see so much awesome gameplay. I knew that our pros would be good, but that went all the way. Half the players were still in the game in like the last 3 minutes. Incredible. Yeah,
an unbelievable first game. A lot more aggression that we see typically in competitive Fortnite, with a lot more eliminations early on. But we went from watching Laserbeam & Co. hide in a bush for like the first 10 minutes to absolute madness in the late circle. That's exactly what you can expect. It's competitive settings. Siphon is on. You can expect that same level of competitive play when we get to late game.
Yeah, exactly right. That's why it was so important, and they actually really got into the bigger things there as we headed towards the end of the game. Some highlights. That's one of my favorites. Laserbeam coming through. I love a lot of great dance routines also. I hope Yuzi learned something. But yeah, we saw a lot of really good mechanical play in this particular match.
Yeah, indeed we did. We saw Slay on screen right there. And then Mr. Fresh Asian in an interesting battle against Vinny from TSM. He came out on top in that one. So Mr. Fresh Asian performed well. Got a couple of eliminations before unfortunately getting taken out. So I don't think they got any placement points, but here's the elimination on Vinny. Smart wide left flank in the storm to stay alive. And then Benji Fishy did Benji Fishy things. Picked up so many limbs early on. Great shot throughout. Of course, Parpy coming in from Australia, New Zealand, putting some good shots on Oliver Packard, who got eliminated, but his team ended up surviving and winning the entire game with a first place finish.
Yeah, not bad at all. The rest of the team carrying through. And you see here, look at the amount of building that had gone on. The storm moved across and some of the players were able to keep up. But it's one thing to play the early game, right? It's one thing to be able to push your way through. But once you're trying to build and move and stay ahead, and you got to keep the storm surge in consideration, you need to be doing damage almost consistently. It gets pretty tough.
Yeah, and of course, towards the late game, we saw a lot of our North American players, Zexro, Jayamok, Zate, and Elevate surviving to that late game. Zate had ultimate high ground here and decided to take a 1-versus-1 against Looter, who's the pro player competing for this squad from Australia, New Zealand. Unfortunate for Looter, fortunate for Zate, he got taken out. I think it would have been a little bit more wise to maintain high ground right there. I think it's smart to try and take your 1-versus-1 when you can, but Looter did a good job as a heads-up play to take out Zate in that one and secure the victory royale, the first one of the tournament. And it's a team we didn't really talk much about.
Yeah.
We didn't really have them on our radar too much, did we, Ben?
No, certainly not, but proving us wrong in the first match of our 3 matches today in our Celebrity Pro-Am. And as you said, perhaps thought maybe that 1v1 would come out a different way, but not the case. Either way, both teams going to come out with a ton of limbs, going to come out with a ton of points on the board as well. So if you come in the top few after the first game, that's a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I think the reason he took that 1-versus-1 so aggressively is he was a little bit weak in health and shield, so he needed some of that siphon to survive to set himself up for the 1v1 endgame, and played aggressive, kind of took a gamble, did not pay off for Zate. But Zate, in the same way we'd always expect, maintaining high ground and ultimate high ground in late game. We've been watching him do that since Season 3 of Fortnite, since the summer skirmish, the winter skirmish, and so many other early on competitions. Zate's been one of the best in the game to do it, and he does it again here in the Pro-Am, but ultimately, it's the Australian New Zealand pro, Looter, that comes out on top.
Yeah, love to see it. So let's go and have a chat to our champions from game number 1.
Guys, Sebastian, Chances, Ollie, our winners of our first game here this afternoon. The boys are pumped. Hey, we're pumped, aren't we? Yes, we're pumped. We'll start with Chances. We saw your reaction. How good's that, mate?
Yeah, it was unreal. Like, we just, I followed Looter's direction, and we just managed to just be alive, and then we just, like, 2v1 the last people, yeah.
So what was the strategy going into it during the game? You lost one man early on. That's okay. That's okay. What were you talking about? What was the communication like?
We just went early for zone, and we just played for placement, and then really went for picks when there was maybe like 10, 15 people left.
And you have got one up on your brother as well. Yeah. You are Lachlan's brother, who we spoke to earlier. Unlucky Lachlan, my boy. That must feel good.
Look, I'd love to get an elim on him, eh? Like, that would be the next one.
And you're Lachlan's duo, I believe. So there you go. We're just taking it on Lachlan, yeah? We're feeling good.
Yeah. It's pretty funny, but let's just get into the next game, see how we go.
For sure. And the money is going towards, what have you got as a charity?
The animals that were affected in the fires recently.
Awesome.
So I thought that was a good one to pick.
Awesome. Nicely done. Guys, our winners of game 1. Let's get to game 2. Come on, boys.
They seem pretty happy with themselves, as they very much should be, working together as a team. And yeah, well, Lachlan, in your face, mate. We'll see whether they'll get a limb on him later. That'll be pretty funny. But for now, I think they're going to be happy to take the victory royale in match number 1.
Indeed. Chances, the brother of Lachlan, as you said. We see Tanner, sister as well, of members of the Click crew. We see the whole family. It's a family affair here. And I think we're going to see the families trying to eliminate one another here. We'll see if the aggression comes in game 2 and game 3. Again, Big storyline of this global affair, much like the real Australian Open. We have teams and players from all around the world. Same thing here. Teams from North America, Europe, Japan, of course here locally in Australia, New Zealand. But in the end, it was the Australian-New Zealand squad that came out on top.
Yeah, love to see it, at least from my end of things. And now the pressure's back on, right? We've been talking about how some of our North American, European players have, over the last couple of days had a chance to play some of the Cash Cups online, compete against some of the Aussies on the Australian servers. Perhaps they wouldn't have been expecting to go up against them, and the North American, European players did pretty well. But now here on the stage, the crowd's cheering for the Aussies, and well, the pressure's on. It's a little bit different. And for me, the big takeaway from that first match is it shows us just how good these guys and girls are. They were up to the challenge. It wasn't just our pros coming out and decimating everyone else. There were some celebs coming in there with a little bit of knowledge, playing pretty well. And again, seeing so many players left in the game towards the end of the match, that says an awful lot.
Yeah, you're spot on. I saw quite a few eliminations come in early on from some of our celebrity players, some of our YouTubers as well, holding it down for the crowd here. They played incredibly well as well. So, of course, the pro players are going to do it big. We saw Benji Fishy, we saw Zate elevate, and, of course, the TSM boys that are flying in from New York. But our celebrities are holding it down for the celeb players here. I mentioned a viable strategy for these celebs is to try and find the other celebs, the other AMs, if you will, in the Pro-Am. So that's another viable strategy. We'll see if that continues to stay strong, or will we have the North American, the European squads or teams step up in a big way here in a game number 2?
Yeah, look, the pressure's on right here, right now. They need to step up. They've flown a long way. There's a lot on the line for their charities of choice. And look, for me, I think it really will be about just how well they can adapt. The pressure is on. They're here in front of the Aussie fans. Obviously, some of the Aussies cheering for them, and some of them cheering perhaps for some of the big Aussie names like Laserbeam and Muselk, who, to be fair, I didn't see all that much from Muselk in that particular game. So I'm going to be hoping to see a little bit more from him. Pookie, we saw you down there casting the game. That was actually pretty awesome. What are your big takeaways?
Honestly, one of the most impressive Pro-Am games that I've ever had the pleasure of casting, being down there and just seeing how these teams have really come together. They've actually, they look like pro teams.
Yeah.
The way they were rotating, the way they were communicating, the way they were splitting materials between them. That's not something you often see in these Pro-Am tournaments. Again, this being completely for charity, completely for fun, but these guys have really taken it to the next level and stepped up today.
It's been great to see some of the strategies that they've shared and how the pros and the influencers have worked with the celebs to really bring it together and get out there and make it a pretty good game. I was very surprised to see how many were left towards the end. So it's a pretty big one. But now maybe some of those strats have been seen, and all the underdogs that were there before, they're not really underdogs anymore. If you're coming out of this one, and we'll see the scoreboard shortly with a couple of surprises on top, I think some of those pros are going to be saying, hang on, it's time to kick this one into gear.
Yeah, well, I can tell you one thing for sure. Laserbeam is not going to be able to get away with that Bush strat 2 games in a row. These pros and these amateurs are all now privy to that, so he's going to have to adopt a new strategy going into game 2. But honestly, now that we've gotten game 1 out of the way, these guys are feeling a little bit more relaxed, they're a little bit more comfortable. I always love seeing the progression between game 1 and game 2 to see how these guys really settle in. And the true gameplay, in my opinion, typically comes out in game 2.
Yeah, I think we even saw the same thing at the tennis last night. Team coming in, losing the first set, wasn't really feeling up to it. Set number 2 and then onwards, it was all guns blazing, and I think the same thing can be said here for competitive gaming. It can take you a little while to get into the swing of things, but fortunately we do have 3 matches today for them to get into it. Tomorrow, 6 when the big money is on the line. Tomorrow, no excuses in that solos competition. If you can't come up with the goods by match number 6, you probably didn't have them to begin with.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with 90 players competing tomorrow, it is going to be, those select few vying for the top spots. Tomorrow is not for charity. We do have that $100,000 first place prize pool, so that is huge.
Yeah.
So these guys are definitely going to have to get a good night's rest tonight, and they're going to have a good breakfast, eat their Wheaties or something like that tomorrow morning, and show up for these games tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly right. So I hope they're prepped. If you do live in Melbourne or you want to come down, I think there's still tickets left. There's plenty to see here. It's a pretty cool atmosphere. You've got your Fortnite, still all the tennis going on. And once you watch the Fortnite, you can chill outside and watch the men's finals as well. So a perfect opportunity to come down tomorrow and check out some of the best players in the world going head-to-head. But even the matches we're seeing here today are on par, as you said, with something you'd expect from pros in the World Cup or something in a Duos 20. Look, it's pretty incredible, and it goes to show for me that maybe some of these celebrities have put in a little bit of sneaky time here.
Yeah, they put in a little bit of cheeky Fortnite practice
Yeah.
for sure. A lot of them, maybe playing off, oh, I haven't really practiced. I've been, playing tennis, or I've been driving my race car. Come on, guys, you can't fool us. We know that you've been putting in the hours. I don't even play as well as some of these guys, and I have over 8,000 games under my belt. So what's up with that?
Yeah. So certainly looks to me like maybe they've been really grinding it in the off season. So maybe a bit of a Christmas break fun time for them. But it goes to show here that really you can put your mind to it. Maybe you can adapt, swap across. If sports are getting a little bit old for sport, for esports, for competitive gaming, you can play this for a long time.
Yeah, certainly. And Fortnite's been around now for over a couple of years. So I've been playing for over 2 years myself, and just seeing the player base evolve and adapt, not just getting better, but also adapting to every single season. There have been some major changes to the game. There have been some major changes since World Cup, which was the last real setting like this that a lot of these guys have played in. So the fact that they're here showing up today, showing that they've adapted to all of this new gameplay, the new map, everything, just shows that they deserve to be here.
What for you is the biggest change coming out of, going from World Cup, coming in here to Chapter 2? We've heard a lot of talk about mobility in the game, and last year when Jesse came out on top, he spent half the game in the Stormwing. He won another game from a heel off. This time things are very different, right? What is the main takeaway? Is it that ability to move across the map? What would you think?
I think, honestly, for something like a Battle Royale, you have to have something that gives the players the ability to move. So having a lack of launch pads is unfortunately not something that a lot of these players are too keen on. But a Battle Royale inherently is about timing your rotations, making sure that you're paying attention to the storm. It's not just a first-person shooter. There's that Battle Royale aspect to it as well. So you have to realize that, while a lot of these players have gotten used to a lot of mobility items in the game, like the shadow bombs and the launch pads and all of those types of things, inherently at its core, that's not really the way a Battle Royale is supposed to be played. The storm is a huge factor that you really need to be paying attention to at all times.
It's a pretty big deal making your way across map, making smart decisions. It's not just about being the best aimer in the entire game. So let's go and take a look at our standings after match number 1. We'll see how all of our teams come out of this one on top. No big surprises to see Chances Luther and Oliver Packard up there on top, of course. 15 points coming out of the Victory Royale, and 7 eliminations ain't half bad either.
Definitely not. 7 eliminations is definitely not too shabby at all. In second place, we have Zayd's team, who Zayd was able to survive to the very end, but unfortunately Chance's team and Luther, they ended up taking him out at the very end there. But 5 eliminations, 17 points for them isn't too shabby either. Benji Fishy coming in third with his team, 7 eliminations, 13 total points. We do have a pretty nice spread, all the way from 1st to 10th place, but we still have 2 games left to play, so this is anyone's tournament at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. The big takeaway for me as well is that Benji Fishy was there by himself for quite a while. So to see him up there in 3rd place, obviously plays some smart Fortnite, pushing his way through. We go through the rest of the teams. Mitch Robinson up there with Mao and Chief Slayer, of course. They'll get 3 points from placements, 3 points from elimination, 6 on total. Play It Shady, Papi, and Matt O'Gorman coming through. Now, they also, I think, were down to just one player, and Papi had to get them through to the end. So managed to pick up some elimination points as well. So not bad. We work all the way through to 20th place. You can see points on the board for eliminations here and there. But I guess the takeaway for me, Pookie, is that each of the teams still in this competition still are capable of winning. If you come out on top next game with a Victory Royale, you are right back into this game. But for now, talking about game, it is time to get match 2 underway. Fallout and Aussie Antics, let's get into the game.
Thank you so much, Ben Foll, out here live at the caster's desk for the first time alongside the legend himself who knows this scene, who knows this game better than most. It's Aussie Antics. How you doing, my friend?
Thanks so much, man. I'm really looking forward to our first game together. It's going to be good. That was an insane first game. Did you expect the games to be that stacked for a Celebrity Trios event?
I know, honestly, it felt like we were watching competitive Fortnite in a lot of ways. Of course, these pro players are taking it as serious as it gets. They're competitive. At the end of the day, I know what it's like for these pro players. Even if they're competing in a Pro-Am, they're going to give it their 1,000%. And you saw that come to fruition. You saw Elevate and so many other North American players surviving towards late game and playing incredibly well. We also saw an Australian-New Zealand squad do the big thing with Looter.
We did, and I mean, that's one of the better teams coming into this as well. We've talked about how strong the pro is. Looter being a phenomenal pro, rising through the ranks very quickly, actually. He's definitely one of those like rise to fame people. He didn't do too well during World Cup, and since then has just exploded with Chances, as we touched on there, Lockie's brother, phenomenal player in his own right, and they did phenomenally well. They both made it to endgame together, and it's that numbers advantage too. It's can you keep the teammates with you? We touched on some of those players, Volks, Papi, early on losing their teammates. They ended up doing too well. This is not a solos event, and no matter how good you are as a pro, you need to keep your teammates with you.
Yeah, you're spot on. I think the key storyline we keep talking about this is truly a global affair. We did see a lot of North American EU players in the top 10, but in first place, with the first place finish, was the Australian. So that's what matters the most. Whoever is going to come out on top. It looks like game 2 is locked and loaded, ready to go here. The battle bus is ready, and we are going to kick off game number 2 here of the Pro-Am live at the Australian Open Summer Smash featuring Fortnite. Let's get ready for what's going to be a phenomenal game number 2. My man Aussie Antics to break down the action.
Let's go. We're jumping straight in as well. Obviously, we have a weird bus path at this point, so if any of those players want to go to that far northeast section like Steamy, they're going to have to go a fair way. So that's going to be the safer drop, but then you're going to run the risk. Do you get the zone? So we'll see. We also have a high congestion of llamas, as we can see. There's one just outside Pleasant, 2 very close to Pleasant. There's a few players going straight over that one. So it's actually a very interesting split. This team that's dropped on Holly has uncontested Holly and has a llama, and currently no team in Slurpee. The most contested POI pretty much in solos or competitive in general has no one on it. So we got a team that yellow team is pulled up right next to it. They've got really good rotation if they saw no one go there.
If they recognize it early on, that's a great call out. Perhaps it's so famous that people are assuming it's going to be madness and they're avoiding it. That's typically what happens. So if you're an aspiring competitive player, hey, maintain your gameplay. Don't change your gameplay on land just because you're a little bit nervous or for whatever reason. Meanwhile, we see teams flying over Frenzy Farm. I thought we'd see Frenzy Farm be contested, but with 90 players total in this lobby, of course, at 30 teams of 3, I don't think we're going to see any contested drops. Really, it's going to be some time until we see some fights here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to know who that
though, actually.
Yeah, I want to see who that pink team is. And we have,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, we have several trios together here. We've got some best mates going on. We have currently Laserbeam, Rel, Hughes, and what looks like Jinx and Brody and Molly. Okay, we have 2 trios. All gingerbread teams, and they're best mating their way out of Risky.
This is a best mate conga line here at the Australian Open. Right now, my math is okay, but I'm pretty sure this is more than 3 players. So we see these guys messing around. I'm wondering who's going to be the troll that's going to ruin all of it and just triple axe someone to their elimination. But it looks like it's not happening. We're going to the road, the yellow brick road here.
We're
in
best
this one.
mating it out of here. I mean, my pick would be Laserbeam. I see Hughesy have a gun there. He might want to be careful pulling out that pistol. Maybe that's going to be a sign of threat, but this is interesting. We'll see how we go again. It's all for fun here today. As much as we talked about how insanely competitive last game is, maybe 2 trios who decided they want to have a bit more fun with it.
Aussie, I'm a little bit nervous because I just saw Zate to the left of my screen. This man has no remorse. He is going to absolutely laser these members, no pun intended, with Laserbeam here. You might be getting lasered here soon, my friend. Or will Laserbeam jump on board? Hey, how long can this conga line go is what I want to know.
And maybe that's what they're trying to find out as well. It looks like they've definitely got strategy. And there it is. The snipe comes out on Benson. There are some pro players in here who are not playing around. And it was Zate, as you called it. Zate is currently in second, and he wants it. He sees the pre-elimination. I think, and he's just taking them all down. Zate's second place is going to probably jump into first after this. If he can pick all of these up, and they're still emoting in the distance. They're not running for their lives, and I think Zate is having some fun with it.
Zate is having, I think Zate just realized
Zate's
what
leaving
happened.
them, yeah.
Booze coming from the crowd here. It was a firing range, turned into, okay, I feel bad, I'm going to stop. I got one elimination. Make it
he
two
took
eliminations.
down Laserbeam.
He took down Laserbeam, too.
Oh, the crowd's booing.
Oh, he's not done yet. That's a way to pick up some enemies here live at the Australian Open.
Geez, Zate needs to be careful trying to leave this arena later today. It's a competitive event at the end of the day, guys. People can have fun with it, but everything is on Zate. If he wants to take it seriously, it's for charity. He's currently in second place as well. They're having some fun with it. He's left them. Trust me, Zate, one of the best players in the world. If he wanted to take down that entire squad there, he would have. So he's having a bit of fun, still taking it competitively. We'll see how the rest of the game plays out for him.
And you know what the best part right now is? They didn't stop best mating. They
didn't
continued.
stop.
Typically you see them like chickens out of a coop running around and trying to survive, but they continued with their guns and they stayed exactly where they're at. Zate, you having an opportunity to keep getting some eliminations if you want, bud.
They stuck to their game plan. If their game plan was just a best mate for as long as they possibly can, they didn't split at all. Player Laser Beam getting sniped in the back of the head there, and they just kept walking on without him. There wasn't too much loyalty, but maybe the loyalty lies in the meme, not with the player executing the meme.
Yeah, honestly, memes greater than loyalty.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Maybe we see Muselk in there as well. Muselk, obviously the king of the meme strat. Landon trying to outdo him with this one, but we have a competitive fight happening now. Mitch Robinson, Slayer, and Mao, one of those trios we talked about earlier at Sweaty Sands, one of the more contested POIs, trying to get some damage into Exu. This is the team that ran into Fresh last time trying to rotate out. They are not having a good time today.
Look at Mitch playing with aggression, leading his squad right now. He has no fear going up against TSM Vinny. Let's see what he can do. Mitch made the switch to keyboard and mouse from being a controller player last year at the Australian Open. Vinny from TSM trying to survive right now with his teammates. Let's see what happens.
And look there, Vinny's trying to hold there. He's trying to hold those builds and keep his content creator and celebrity alive, showing that he's definitely a team player right now, not trying to make that single elimination out there. He's ramping out now, trying to get the high ground, maybe to get some control back on this fight. But Mitch Robinson, again, just taking the high ground. He is leading his team right now. We saw him with 3 eliminations last game, his 2 teammates with 0. So maybe Mitch is the pro here.
Mitch just maintained high ground over TSM Vinny. That's impressive right there. You don't see that happen very often. Big shot to Mitch Robinson. Let's see what he can do in this one. He has 5 builds left to his name, though, so he's going to have to use his materials wisely in this situation. Just hold that high ground, get some shots in. Great job for Mitch Robinson, maintaining high ground and playing incredibly well.
George Thompson trying to build above him right now, trying to hold those builds out. We see that pink team in the bottom right corner. They're trying to push in, but it looks like they're going to leave it. It's going to be a trio fight here. But again, not every fight's a smart fight. Zone is going to start closing in. You touched on the mats. He's running low on them. He needs to take this fight. They need to finish this quickly and get out of here. They can't keep wasting time.
Yep, and he recognizes that he has George weak, and that's the exact strategy I mentioned when I was on stage moments ago, is you want to find the other celebrity or additional player, not the influencer or the pro player. Take that matchup. If you're Mitch Robinson, he did a great job of that, finding George Thompson to get some good shots in him.
Yeah, Vinny's on the low ground right now. This is the pro we're looking at right now. The TSM player trying to go for high ground. He needs to turn this fight. He needs a big elimination. Dropping down. He's back onto the low ground. Exu can definitely hold his own here. He's trying to find his way. Slayer taking the wall on Vinny, getting in 50, 49, 21 shot. He's out of builds though. He just takes down Vinny, living on 16 health. That is so important. If Slayer went down there, that's the pro. Vinny goes down. It is now down to Mitch Robinson, Mao, and Slayer with the numbers advantage. Exu going down as well. So I believe we have the celebrity by himself. No, the whole trio has been wiped out. And again, they're struggling this game. First game, they rotated to Fresh's team. Now rotating into Slayer's team. It's not where you want to be on the map.
That's so well done by Mitch and co right there. Very, very well played. Honestly, a very close one. Slayer was just 7 or 10 HP away from getting taken out by Vinny. It was an intense 1 versus 1, but in the end, it was Chief Slayer that comes out on top. A great 3 versus 3 fight, and 3 points to be picked up by Mitch Robinson and co.
And no way, Fresh's team now, he's obviously not a fan of the TSM players here. He last game took out Vinny, and now he's trying to do the same to Zexro, trying to find his way in. Zexro holding his walls here. Fresh is on the high ground. Enshway and Lachlan backing him up right now. They have the health and shield advantage, trying to get in onto Zexro. He's trying to take those cones and take those builds if he can. Everyone here's at land. They're all in the same connection. No one has the ping advantage when it comes to taking these walls. And we tuned in now. We have Jakey by himself with Zexro. So Sinazano has gone down, unfortunately. Jakey's just trying to stay with Zexro and see if they can keep this one together.
And look how damaged Zexro is, though. That's the pro player as well. So in this situation, if Lachlan, Mr. Fresh Asian, and co can just isolate Zexro, who actually is able to pop a med kit, well done by Zexro, or maybe using some fish for sure. They can take out Zexro early on, take that 3 versus 1, they can end up on top here. You want to kind of just spam this and play it ultra aggressive.
Yeah, it's interesting at the same time though. Fresh's team won the trio fight last game and then didn't get too far into placement points. I don't think they picked up any placement points. Yeah, they're still only on 4, so at the same time, some of these fights might not be going their way. They're winning the fights, but they're losing the war. They need to end this one quickly. They are close to zone, they're very close, but at the same time spent fighting is time spent not getting in a better position. They could win this one, rotate into a team that's already in the next zone, then they're going to struggle.
That's a great call out, and that's exactly what I mentioned. You want to play ultra aggressive because especially in current meta, there's not a lot of mobility, opportunity to rotate early. You can't just pop a jump pad or anything like that to rotate towards center circle. You have to rotate very, very quickly, and this might end up costing them, but it looks like actually, I take that back, didn't see the minimap at the bottom right of the screen. The circle's right next to them, so they're in a good spot.
Yeah, zone's coming in now. They're currently in the zone, so the animation there is not showing the true darkness, but they are in the zone. Jakey and Zexro are slowly ticking down. Zexro used the med kit they have, so he has no more health meds. Fresh is not letting them out of here. Jake trying to knock him down. Jakey might do some damage on Fresh. No, Fresh holding the high ground. 36 health total, 3 health, 2 health. The zone is going to take down Jakey before Fresh does. No, he finishes himself, and now we have one of the best OCE pros, toe-to-toe, one of the best NA pros, but Zexro is definitely on the back foot here. He is very low in health. Fresh trying to get in and finish it off.
Yeah, 15 to 20 HP total. Mr. Fresh Asian got the siphon, so what that means in competitive Fortnite, if you're able to get an elimination on someone, you get 50 health or shield. That was huge for Mr. Fresh Asian to try and stay alive. Zexro's able to heal up again to full health.
Off again. It's a 1v3, but I mean, they're keeping him in. They need to finish this out. They need to use their numbers advantage and maybe pincer him, close him in there. there and finish it off because they need this to end quickly. Zone is very close, but the next zone starts moving in 108 and they're going to be running with it.
I love how they're playing this. Enshui is just inside the zone, staying alive, playing support from afar, while letting the 2 pro or top players in their team, Mr. Fresh, Asian, and Lachlan, take the 2 versus 1 numbers advantage. That's a smart decision right there, knowing your personnel. We always say KYP, know your personnel in competitive Fortnite, and they're doing a great job of that.
100%. This is the team that I saw practicing all week. I touched on it earlier with Fresh's interview. They definitely had the play they wanted with Enshui set out. He is in zone, holding these players out. But Zexro just holding them off here. Fresh and Lachlan, they're losing more than what they've gained from this fight now. If they could have closed it out earlier on Zexro, maybe it could have been worth it. But honestly, I don't think it was worth it now. We're going to have to jump away from that one. It is taking too much time. We tune in with James Ward, Tweaks, and Blackouts.
Yeah, I completely agree. You got 2 eliminations. You got 2 points out of it. And I think that's a smart decision to back out and reset. We don't know how far the next circle is, as the Storm's going to be closing in 20 seconds. So smart decision to back out and reset there. Currently on board with Cloud9 Blackout right now, representing C9.
One of our 2 South American players here today as well, so he's rotating forward. Yeah, so I mean, still got very good English, so we don't have any of the communication here, but he is playing with Tweaks, one of OCE's better creative players, so he can definitely hold his own in a fight, and when he's got a World Cup player directing him, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, that's a great call out. You just saw Nyrox, speaking of World Cup players, the World Cup Duos champion, picked up 2 eliminations at the top left of your screen.
Oh, no way. We have Muselk's teammate Jordan going down, so Muselk trying to carry Ruben Styles through this, getting pushed by this same team right now with their professional down. Muselk again playing tomorrow in the pros. He's a very good player in his own right, but losing Jordan, that is a very, very big deal for this team.
You're spot on. And look who they're running up against. It's Elevate on opposite side of them. So they're going to be forced to fight a 2-front war here. Cloud9 Blackout, pro player from Brazil, and Elevate on the other side. That is not a sandwich you want to be a part of. He's doing what he can.
And then we're talking to the twins. We have the other brother, Jesse, rolling up here now in a boat. Maybe going to be able to do some damage to, unfortunately, his brother's team. Muselk using Steamy Stacks beautifully, flying out this one. Needs to be careful, though. If he spends too long in the sky with this many good plays in the lobby, and he doesn't, he's going to get up on top of here. That is a very, very good play from Muselk. He's taking some shots here. No, he's not going to. He's going to let Jesse fly past. He needs to know he had the numbers disadvantage. Zone is coming in. He just needs to get in.
Yep, circle is pretty close. As you can see at the bottom right of your screen, you see a mini-map. So it's going to be a pretty solid rotation for Muselk if he can get out. But look how many players are on this mini-map right now. It's dangerous waters for Muselk, who in my eyes, one of the most entertaining players in the world. So much fun to watch. And he's also a solid competitive player as well. I don't think he gets a lot of respect for that. I don't think he gives himself enough respect for that. But it's fun to watch him in competitive scenarios as well, even though he makes a lot of fun out of it sometimes.
Definitely. We see Mitch Robinson in the feed taking down Loser Fruit. He's been doing some serious work for one of the celebrities here. Tweaks and Blackouts now trying to hold this team in zone. They actually lost their celebrity in that rotation, so it looked like everything was going their way, but they actually end up losing a player for it and not gaining an elimination. So we're going to have to see Blackouts trying to find these angles. Like I said, we're flying in the air for too long. You've got players like Blackouts looking at you. I'd expect some serious damage to come out. There's 22 player dropping down. Muselk choosing to drop down. 2 more AR shots to the body and he will go down. 1 if it's a critical shot to the head. He's got the med kit, but he is going to be shambles for the rest of this game. Wow. I don't even know where Ruben is. They have definitely been split.
Ruben's somewhere. Ruben is somewhere just hanging out.
He's okay, though.
Peek and Duck is doing everything he can just to survive. He's clearly okay. I want to point out how smart that was from Muselk. He waited for the last possible minute to rotate, tried to just stay out of everyone's line of sight, found a nice spot to move to on the rotation, and then was able to pop that med kit, hit a nice bunny hop as well as he had some momentum from the glide. So heads up play from Muselk right there. Ruben Styles is clearly doing his thing as well. Peek and Duck represented here today.
Definitely. I mean, if it wasn't for how stacked that first game is, I would say Muselk's trying hard, play for placement points. But man, you're not getting placement points in this lobby unless you make it to at least first rotating zone. So for some of you guys who aren't as competitive inclined, that's very late in the game. That is very, very late to be getting placement points. So Muselk's going to have to do something to get back in here. But we have Tweaks, Jesse, Tanner, and Blackouts. It's 2v2 right now. And this is 2 pros and 2 content creators going head-to-head. So both of their celebrities have gone down on each team, trying to find these angles. Blackouts finds his way in with a very heavy shotgun shot.
Yeah, that's a great shot. He knows he has an advantage right now. Trying to heal up is Jesse. He's going to get tacked up significantly. Tanner's going to go down as well. Cloud9 Blackout representing C9 and representing well as Jesse is now in a world of hurt trying to survive.
Yeah, it's 1v2 against 2 very good players here. Tweaks will probably be the first one to try and get into that box for sure. Never mind, it is Blackouts taking down Jesse, so we've lost both the twins here. Unfortunately, that team is now out of it. Blackouts and Tweaks on 4 elimination, 8 points total, rotating in, and they've got a very good spot to rotate right now. We tune into Alex Ace, James, and Elevate on the high ground, showing some of that experience, and Muselk, he is not having a good time of it right now. He is struggling to get his way back in, being held by 2 separate trios in the water. He is doing everything he can. Nades are coming out. This literally cannot get any worse for Muselk.
This feels like storming the Normandy right now in World War II. Muselk against an entire Axis army trying to survive right now.
Trying to get his way back onto the beach if he can. I mean, he's gained the bandages. Honestly, I am so impressed with how Muselk is playing. He's in a bad situation, but it's one he was forced into, and he's doing the best he can with it.
So, moving back over. We've seen so much early game action, so a lot more aggression, as we predicted, than we're used to seeing in Fortnite. I expect the solos to be a little bit less aggressive and a little bit less action early on. Of course, we will have a $400,000 solos tournament tomorrow. Today is a Pro-Am for $100,000 to go to charity, and we've seen some great gameplay so far.
Yeah, and I think, unless we haven't seen him too much, we haven't tuned into our winning team from last game, but I just saw Luda there and looked like he was alone. He is alone, as I was just touching on. Shantis has gone down, so has Oliver. So Luda, our winning team from last game, 23 points, now 24 without eliminations. I talked about pros can't play it out solo, but Luda's going to have to here.
Yeah, Luda, of course, the champion from the last game, doing what he can to stay alive in this one. Got some good shots on Ken Kavrik, who's a tennis pro junior. However, I saw a quick 90-degree turn, or 180-degree turn, sorry, and build. So my man Ken, the tennis pro junior, might be a solid Fortnite player here.
Definitely. We have Mouse Slayer and Mitch there all together as well. They're a full trio. We have Symmetrical's team in there as a full trio. So we have a lot of teams left. We have 47 players alive, as you can see in the very top left, and 21 of the 30 teams alive. So you gain placement points based on the team numbers. So once we get into that top 12, that's when you start getting placement points.
Well said. We also saw Symmetrical coming from NA West, member of Counter Logic Gaming, or CLG, top player in North America. I believe just got signed by CLG, I think right after TwitchCon in October timeframe. So congratulations to that. My man Musak is now fishing.
So is Ruben.
So he went from the beach of Normandy in the World War II scenario to now it's like he's Tom Hanks.
Just casually fishing his way. I want to see where Ruben is. Where is Ruben on this map right now? There he is in the very bottom right, that number 9 as we see it float off the screen. So Ruben is somehow holding himself solo, split away from Musak. We have a lot of teams left. We see Sam's team. They're dead center right now, and they're a full team. Papi, solo again, unfortunately. He's lost his players. We have Cease, Stevie Nicholson, and I believe they had all 3 players. Then Bumper, yes, that is a full trio as well. We have a lot of good trios. Luda in a fight right now of trying to keep his team alive. If he wants placement points, he has to survive this one here.
Yeah. Just trying to do exactly that. In this scenario, you just kind of want to, like a rat in a tunnel, survive as long as you can, create tunnels for yourself, and make it to late game. Luda doesn't want to make a lot of noise, but also has to rotate. Tough situation to be in. Meanwhile, someone who's in a great situation is 100 Thieves Elevate, the winner of WSOE 3, the Fortnite Showdown back in December 2018 alongside Cease. Got picked up by 100 Thieves soon after that and has been one of the most entertaining Fortnite pro players ever since then. If you don't follow this man on Twitter, you should. He posts some great clips on YouTube, and he is very funny.
He's definitely very, very funny. He's definitely some of the two jewels in the crown of 100 Thieves. Musak is holding his way, and he's doing so well to hide right now. This might look like not the best strategy, but honestly, right now, if he can wait till his teammates rotate past him, and then he can go in behind them, Elevate looking phenomenal with the loadout, and then you have Musak who doesn't. He needs to play to his advantage. There's Ruben, who is boxed up in the zone safe. I have to assume that is Jordan in his ear helping him right now. I'm sorry, I don't know how any celebrity could know what to be right now. That positioning is perfect for a solo split from his other teamates.
But meanwhile, remember, Musak is on Ruben's team. Yeah. So actually, Ruben has better position than Musak does. Musak's playing this incredibly wise. This is what I mentioned, where he's a very smart player competitively. He's gonna wait for everyone to rotate, and guess what? He has 3 tunnels, doesn't have to use a build. He can just follow suit where that team just was. Smart play from Musak, just bobbing his head up and down the water.
And Elevate with this epic burst rifle, trying to do some serious damage. Only has 46 ammo. Hopefully teammates might have some of them trying to get the shots in there. Neko going down, trying to find the elimination on Ellie as well if they can pick up the 2 eliminations. Trying to use this fishing rod. It might look a little bit strange, but with that fishing rod, you can pull the loot off the elimination you just got and bring it back to you without having to push out and get it into the danger zone.
Yeah, that's a play. Elevate, I don't think took out Ruben Styles. So Ruben's actually did a good job boxing up. And when you're in that situation, you're alone, you want to build a lot of boxes so you look bigger than you actually are. That way people think you're a trio, you're a duo. Ruben did exactly that. He built 3 boxes, 3 little houses for himself, and now he's just chilling in the water. Heads up play from Ruben Styles. Is Musak still alive too?
Musak looks like he's still alive. 1-6. He'll be the red icon. No, I think he has gone down. It's just Ruben, but he's also in medals. Then there's Musak. He has been knocked. He's so close to Ruben though. Ruben might be able to get the revive on him. He might pick him back up. And Ruben is currently sitting in fully built metal. Fully built metal you cannot see through. There is no gaps in it. They have no idea anyone's there. And it looks like he is. Ruben might get the revive on Musak. I don't know if he's going for it. I don't think so. We have a lot of players on the high ground, though. That team doing insanely well to try and get themselves back in it. But I am noticing Lachlan's team up on the high ground up there. Luda's still holding it down as well. So our winning team right now, Luda, he's still going it solo as a pro. Lachlan on the high ground with Enshway and Fresh. I would have to assume they're going to close this one out. They are in the best position possible.
Guess who it is? Lachlan's still alive with Mr. Fresh Asian, and they have ultimate high ground right now. So the fan favorites here, Mr. Fresh Asian and Lachlan in a great position to close this one out. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves Elevate, picking up some limbs. His duo, Cease, on a different team here, picking up an elimination as well, top left of your screen. Zate, the other pro player, doing it as well. So that's at least 3+ eliminations for Zate. looking pretty right now in the elim category.
Currently in that second place, but right now it's all about positioning. We see Nyrox there on the left of the screen too. He needs to get in. Papi rotating around on the bottom side. Solo again, we see Epic Whale, one of the favorites tomorrow, but also in a very good team. Epic Whale, Magma, and Baker Boy on that low ground together. The high ground is an advantage right now for Fresh's team. If the zone keeps pulling back up towards them, they're going to pick up so many eliminations. You have to assume the win. We have Chief, Slayer, and Mao here. Mitch Robinson unfortunately going down, one of their power players, the celebrity for that team, and they're using this high ground advantage. This is a very interesting zone. Not many zones in the current map will pull off the mountain like this. This is a very high elevation. See, they're dropping down. The problem is if that zone goes back up now and you don't have the mats, you are stuck down here with no vertical rotation.
Yeah, that's a great call out. The teams we talked a lot about, Chief, Slayer, Mitch Robinson, actually just get taken out, but look who it is still. It's Lachlan, Mr. Fresh Asian with ultimate high ground. The best position to close this one out. Can they do it is the question here, Aussie Antics.
I think they can do it, honestly, right now. They're in the best position, and I just saw something so hopeful there. Enshway, the celebrity, editing up through Fresh and not bringing him down. This is such team coordination. I would have expected this in competitive trios. If I tuned in, you had no names on, I would assume this team on high ground, rocking the tennis skins, was a full competitive trio. Shots coming out now on Benji Fishy, one of the favorites coming into today. They need to start rotating through them, and they get Zone. Zone has come back up the mountain. Lachlan, Enshway, and Fresh are in an insane position. I cannot overstate, this is pretty much the best position you could possibly be going into this endgame.
That's a great call out. To break down what you just mentioned there, when there's natural cover like a mountain, you obviously can't destroy that mountain, so it's really difficult to have to build your way back up the mountain if you're at the bottom, and the circle is going to rotate in competitive Fortnite, so that circle is going to now move all the way slowly but surely to this new circle in moments here as it's happening slowly. Symmetrical and Co in probably one of the worst positions.
Yeah, they're rotating through. He's keeping them very well. Symmetrical showing his competitive prowess here, building beautiful tunnels, and then Fresh, Enshway, and Lachlan tarping across. Unfortunately, Lachlan's by himself now. Enshway and Fresh gets knocked down. This is where things will get really ugly for people like Enshway keeping, and Lachlan goes down. They go from being in the best position to the worst because they were just that little bit too far apart. But then again, Fresh can close this one out. He is good enough to do it. As I say, that 39 takes down Bumper though, so he'll get the siphon on that elimination. 89 health, has the minis now, but it's down to him. Enshway and Lachlan have both gone down.
Mr. Fresh Asian always finds a way to perform when it matters the most. Finds one elimination, gets the siphon, 50 health, and takes too many potions. He's right back where he wants to be. Epic Whale, one of the top players, gets taken out as well from NRG. Cease with high ground right now, so it goes from Mr. Fresh Asian having high ground to guess who it is. It's Papa Cease right now holding it down with 6 eliminations.
And Luda just went down, but he gained the first set of placement points. So Luda's team, who is in first, just gained placement points as a solo. He carried him there, but he went down. Unfortunately, Cease is solo, 11 health, needs to be careful of that zone. This zone will do 10 damage, and there Cease goes down. Airwax going down. Fresh is holding this down his own. Fresh didn't go down there. He is back in this game. When we tuned into him last, he was absolute shambles, and now he's looking amazing, battling for height against Zayt, two of the best players in the world. Zayt coming second last game. He might be able to close this out. You have to assume with Luda's team going down that his team will jump into the lead if he keeps closing this out. Fresh trying to break the builds down as Zayt tries to get down.
Look what he has in his pocket though, as you said. It's a blue RPG trying to break the build. Smart decision not to try and force the build battle there, but he can use this rocket to his advantage right now.
He's going for the flopper play. He's got the fish, so he's waiting late here. Zayt's on the high ground. He's going to knock it out. Zayt didn't think there'd be anyone behind him because Fresh has these fish, so right now Fresh is taking a large amount of storm damage, but he has those orange fish that he can use for 50 health back within half a second. Symmetrical now battling the NA Pro as well. Zayt goes down. Our current team in second. Fresh is on the high ground. We see Symmetrical down there as well. Elevate, Twisty. They're going for right now 3 teams alive, 5 players.
And such a heads-up play for Mr. Fresh Asian, waiting for Zayt and taking high ground back. That was 1,000 IQ from Mr. Fresh Asian, who completely flipped this round on its head and regained control to win this game. Mr. Fresh Asian is playing near perfect Fortnite right now. And guess what? We got Symmetrical versus Mr. Fresh Asian in a 1 versus 1. It's good old-fashioned.
It's OCE versus NA right now. Fresh can close this one out. He was so modest earlier today that he doesn't think he can stack up against these international pros, and I think he can. It's a 1v1. Symmetrical look at the RPG comes out, and Fresh closes it out. The victor of last year's Pro-Am coming out on top today. 23 points total. They come back in game 2.
Can you believe what we just saw? An epic game number 2 and an epic finish from Mr. Fresh Asian, who just played so well, not only as an individual and the shots he was hitting, but also the intelligence to go back into the storm, recognizing he has some fish to consume for instant health, waiting for Zayt to push 1 by 1 with floors, taking out Zayt, who's his biggest threat, regaining high ground, and then connecting for the beautifully paced RPG on Symmetrical from CLG to win it all. Mr. Fresh Asian does it. and he does it again at the Pro-Am here at the Australian Open.
It's absolutely incredible. Again, he said he couldn't do it, but he just did it. He stacked up against the international pros, the best of the best. Maybe a bit of foreshadowing for tomorrow, the Solos event, but right now, Fresh's team is back in contention. They were looking really good, and then it went really bad, and then Fresh just pulled it straight back. He is a phenomenal player.
Yeah, you heard the crowd react when Mr. Fresh Asian, what popped off right there. How about Mr. Fresh Asian with the huge game too? Give it up for him as he does it yet again. If you're from North America or Europe and might not know who Mr. Fresh Asian is, I don't know how. He won the Pro-Am last year, one of the top players and streamers, entertainers here in the Australia, New Zealand region. Also just a phenomenal individual player, entertainer, great following on YouTube, and a great showing right there. But I gotta say, game 2 was amazing. We have so much to talk about. Rather than us doing it, let's go ahead and throw it back to the main stage. We have Ben and Pookie.
Oh man, Mr. Fresh Asian coming back at it. He started off slow. His team went down, Pookie, but in the end, he brought it back. Last year's Pro-Am champion very much has his team in the competition today.
He certainly does, and he's showing why he was the champion last year, taking the high ground, not panicking, staying to the very end, had the RPG in his inventory and utilized those plays perfectly. Now, game 2, just as exciting as game 1. Like we were talking a little bit before, seems as though these guys have kind of settled in. The nerves have calmed
nerves are gone
down. We have one more game to play. I can't wait to check out the standings to see where Mr. Fresh Asian is now going to be placing in terms of points for his team. But that was definitely the best victory royale I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, very impressive. Not just, of course, that mechanical play, but the decision-making. This was something we were talking about just before we headed into game number 2. The decisions that he had to make. Look, you can't just do that out of nothing. You have to play a lot of Fortnite to be able to realize what the best play in that situation is.
Right, and unfortunately for him, he was playing solo, so the pressure was on him a little bit, but, you know, Mr. Fresh Asian isn't somebody to get rattled, to panic in those types of situations. He's very low-key, very under the radar, and really just concentrated, hunkered down, and did what he had to do. We can see a couple of plays coming out of Saleya here. Takes down Vinny just in sweaty stands, and again, looking at Mr. Fresh Asian's gameplay here, he was fighting in the storm. Now, this was very interesting for them. We were a little bit uncertain what the plays were going to be. They were fighting in the storm for quite some time, wondering if they were going to make it out. We can see Blackouts here taking out Jordan, one of the X2 twins, getting those eliminations. All of these were so instrumental in these teams, in their placements, in their points. Like I said, we're going to have to see how this leaderboard is so far stacking up.
Yeah, after 2 matches, obviously that leaderboard is really going to change up. We'll see whether Fresh's team is going to be able to find themselves up near the top. They'll certainly be doing pretty well. Will they be number 1? I'm not so sure. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it really is. We talked about play styles before, and you know, you can have a strategy coming into a match as your trio, but sometimes as the game progresses, you need to change it up. We saw, I think, Muselk in there in the water fishing at one point, but look, it's easy to laugh at that, but the reality was he was playing for position. He was trying to last in the game as long as he possibly could.
Yeah, he was playing for placement with that for sure. There were so many plays with the RPG coming out of today's games. I love to see it. You know, the explodes, always something exciting to watch. We do see some plays coming here out of Alex Ace, taking people out before he gets knocked himself. Symmetrical, just lasering people with those headshots. And again, the final play there coming out of Mr. Fresh Asian with the celebration, his team getting hugs all around. That's what you like to see. Everyone cheering each other on, all the content creators, all the pros really coming together to make this event just such a memorable experience.
It's so great to see, and it's great for a guy like Fresh who we know plays so much Fortnite. This kid has an absolutely incredible work ethic. I heard he's had like 1 day off in the last 12 months or something like that. And he plays all the time. He streams a lot. He makes a ton of content, and he puts the work in. Let's go have a chat to the real Mr. Fresh Asian right now.
Guys, the man of the moment, Mr. Fresh Asian right here. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen. How was that reaction in Margaret Court Arena? Huge crowd. You get the win. How was that for you?
It felt great. It was kind of the same as last year. Like when I got that dub, just that energy. It's great.
Of course, you won here last year. We've got Enshui, Lachlan. We're going to talk to them in a moment. But was there pressure coming in? Obviously, the expectation is super high. Did you feel it?
If I'm being honest, not really. I just come play. Just play it.
What a gamer, the boys are saying. What a gamer. You just keep it low, chilled.
Epic gamer. It's an epic gamer.
Epic gamer. Nicely done. Hey, let's just chat with Lachlan for a moment as well. Your brother got the win in game 1. I mean, we're back, man. We're back.
I mean, the difference is he did something last game. I didn't really do much that game. I kind of did a tarp out, and then I took full damage and died. Fresh was down to 20 HP, and he just carried it with floppers. You love to see it.
And Enshui, I mean, we didn't carry it all the way through to the end, but you're a team. How did your man get it done?
It's fresh. It's fresh. That's all you need to know.
That's it. That's it.
He can do anything.
He can do anything. Can he do anything, ladies and gentlemen? I think he can. All right, game 3, not far away. Nicely done.
It's all about Fresh here at Margaret Court Arena and the Australian Open Summer Smash. Very exciting. We'll see whether Enshui comes out with a bit of a song or something about Fresh later on. I think there's some lyrics there, to be perfectly honest. There's a lot to talk about. You could totally make a tune about it.
It's all about Fresh. I mean, he said it right there. That's the title there. It's all about Fresh. I mean, but seriously, that was all about Fresh. We talked to him earlier. Saw if he was going to struggle against those pros. He closed it out against one of the best North American pros in the region. He was on low ground when we went away from him on, I think, 20 health. We panned back 30 seconds later. He's got 150 health and 2 extra eliminations and then closes it out. That was insane.
It's absolutely incredible. Now, we can go and look at our results after match number 2. We'll throw up on the screen where our standings currently sit. So after 2 games of play, we can come through here. We'll see Zayt up on top. So that's an interesting one, most certainly. 21 points, 11 elims, 32 total points. We work our way through this one. Chances, who obviously did well in game number 1, he and his team going to be sitting in there at 2nd at the moment. What are the big takeaways from you? Even though Mr. Fresh Asian, Lachlan and Enshui did well that game, they didn't necessarily get the elims they needed.
No.
And game number 1 won't put them on top right now.
Yeah, no, and I mean, we saw there Luda managing to solo clutch that out. He just got into top 12 for extra placement points, and that's what's kept him above that threshold from 3rd into 2nd. So a very good performance there. But yeah, Fresh's team had a struggle in the first game. They're playing a lot more aggressive, right? They're the team we've watched both games take a very early trio fight.
Yeah, and as we head towards our 2nd page of our Pro-Am leaderboard, Epic Wow, Magma, and Bakerball up on 14 points. The same with Kokonakis, Jamok, and Babs there as well. And you can see some of these teams come up with very similar points, but getting there in a different fashion. Obviously, Dracon's Dra and their Ken Kabrak there coming through. All about the elims for them. Not bad.
Yeah, wow.
Not bad at all. You don't have to win, right?
No, yeah, if you get a decent amount of eliminations.
Coming through with a carry on the elims, I'm not 100% sure. All the way through to 20th there. So a lot of teams still on the board, starting to make their way through as we roll through to the end of our 30 teams. You can see almost all of the teams with points on the board.
I mean, yeah, and you can't really cast it right now. We saw some interesting strategies coming out there from Jinx and Lannon's team. The Best Mates conga line, that was an interesting one. So, I mean, we're having some fun out here as well. At the same time, you cannot predict what's going to go into this 3rd game right now. You never know.
Yeah, we're having fun and we're doing it for a good cause. Our charity Pro-Am at the AO Summer Smash, $100,000 today going out to charities depending on who picks up the prizes. We've seen, of course, a lot of choices for bushfire-related charities. You can totally understand that one.
Yeah.
A lot of good choices no matter who comes out on top, but the pressure is starting to mount. We are 2 matches in, not long remains, and look, it really is starting to become do or die. You need to take your chances now.
Yeah, that's why normally in competitive Fortnite, if you haven't watched it too much before, the final game or the final games usually gets pretty scrappy. If you're coming 25th right now, the only way you're going to get that extra money is in that top 10 bracket. You have to go big or go home. So you see some big elimination games come out or just a lot of aggression. So you see a lot of people being the favorites going into those final games. They run into one of those players who's really trying to do or die, and then it goes against them.
What are the big surprises for you so far? Now we've had a chance to see the Aussies and the guys and girls from overseas going head-to-head. The guys from the OC region actually going pretty well up against some of the best from around the world.
I mean, honestly, I'm surprised at how well everyone is doing. Like, I'm surprised at how many players are surviving until these end games and putting on what is, in its own right, a competitive spectacle. Like, these are very, very good teams. I'm so shocked that these pro players who maybe haven't played with these people ever before are keeping them with them, and the teamwork is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely right. If you went and you watched a charity footy match or a charity tennis match, you might expect for the fairly, of course, the quality maybe not to be up to par. But today, what we've seen has been some very good Fortnite, and clearly some of these celebs are dark horses grinding away day and night in the background. Who knew? Who knew they were this very good?
Yeah, definitely. Or some of the pro players showing their communication skills. We talked earlier, this is a sport, right? So as the leader, as the captain of the team, some of them are showing those very normal skills of being able to communicate with someone you haven't dealt with before, build some team like camaraderie, and then take it to the very end. It's incredible to try and not only do what you're doing, but then communicate it to other players who don't know what's going on. It's insane.
We're having a pretty good time here at the AO Summer Smash featuring Fortnite with 2 matches in. The good news is that we still have 2 matches remaining, not 1, but 2. We've got 1 extra, so we're guaranteed to have a good time now. 2 extra matches of Fortnite.
Sweet.
If in the first match, for whatever reason, you weren't at your peak, you weren't performing, the pressure got to you. Maybe we saw that with Mr. Fresh Asian game number 1. He now has an extra match to get into it, and now that some of these guys and girls really are showing their form, for me, match 2 was even better than match number 1. With 2 games remaining, not just 1, that puts a few thoughts in the mind.
Yeah, it changes things. Like I said, coming into those final games, that gives you a little bit more time, but maybe you gave up, right? You got to this point, you're like, look, I don't think I have a chance in this 3rd game, and now you're like, ooh, we have 4 games, okay. Might be able to bring it back in the 4th one.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for. Some of those teams not getting any points so far, they still have an opportunity to make it into the prize money for their charity of choice. 2 good matches, a couple of top 10s might be enough to get you there. If you get the Olymps, maybe have a victory royale, come top 5, something like that. Every team still has a shot at getting some cash for their charity, which is super important. The options is still there. It is just down to our players.
Definitely, and like you saw there, Zayt showing insane consistency both games. That's what's put him on top. You see him go down at the very start of this game. They drop on a team that's already dropping somewhere. They all go down instantly, and all of a sudden things are very, very different.
We're getting ever closer to match number 3 here. It's been a pretty cool day so far. We've got the women's finals tonight here in the tennis in Rod Laver, and then tomorrow the men's finals. Look, the Australian Open for me has been pretty exciting. I'm a big sports fan in general. I love watching esports. I love watching traditional sports, and the Australian Open is a massive part of that. Got to see some tennis last night in the semi-final. That was pretty incredible. And for me, the big takeaway is when you get to watch some of this stuff in person, it's always better than you thought it would be, right? The tennis in person is awesome. At esports stages, when we see all the lights, the glitz, the glamour, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is my first time here. I watched it from home last time and it looked pretty exceptional, but being here, being amongst it, is super exciting. Again, we have beautiful displays around the scene here. You can see your favorite player's health, shield, what's going on. Again, it's phenomenal. You hear the crowd get involved, right? They didn't like that play on Laserbeam last game. They let us know. That definitely didn't go unheard.
Look, it's a great way to win some fans, maybe lose some fans as well if you take down a Laserbeam too many times.
Yeah.
The Laserbeam fans won't be that keen, but it's a good way to make a name for yourself for sure. With 2 games remaining, who are we looking out for here? Firstly, who are we looking like maybe might be able to take this away, and who, if they really put their mind to it and bring it back, might be able to get it across the line?
I mean, at the same time, as this goes on, they're building that team camaraderie, right? So they might see some teams that struggle in the first 2 games all of a sudden dominate. I'm looking at Luda and Chancellor's team. They're looking very strong. They've got 2 very good players. So far, it's the only team we've seen make it into that final, like 5 or 10 players with a content creator and a pro. We're seeing a lot of the pros make it to the end. We're not seeing a lot of other players keep up, and Chancellor's definitely one of those players that's able to keep up, and he proved that.
For me, of course, we had Mitch Robinson. We've spoken about him so many times. He's there with Mal and Slayer. For me, I want to see what they can do. Look, I'm not going to say they're underperforming.
No.
That wouldn't be fair. But they definitely have an opportunity to come out on top.
Definitely, and I mean, Zayt's team right now showing insane consistency, especially from Zayt. If you don't follow competitive Fortnite, that is what Zayt's known for. He's one of the best in the world. He performs at almost every tournament he goes to. I don't think he'll be feeling any nerves right now, short of a bit of bad luck, maybe a team around them changing their game plan. He clearly has a game plan that's working, so unless someone disrupts that, I think he's going to go through with the win.
Yeah, and of course, we're getting to know where everyone's sort of dropping in a little bit as well, right? As the games adapt. And as we progress through match 1, match 2, match 3, match 4, there's an opportunity to get a bit of an understanding about who you're playing against, because of course in a Pro-Am sort of situation, there's a few spanners in the works perhaps. You can't just study a pro player and know what they're going to do. You know, they could be doing something entirely wacky and someone's all of a sudden out of a position that you thought they'd be in. So maybe now with 2 matches in, 2 to go, something to take away if you're playing here. Maybe you can sort of gauge something from the other games that we've seen.
Yeah, you say something wacky. I mean, I haven't seen too many trios best mating it for as long as they can. And that was insane teamwork there, though. Laserbeam goes down. Brody, Jinx, Mully, they didn't break stride. Just kept best mating it straight to the center of zone. They had their game plan, and they stuck to it, and I respect it.
It's all about game plan, just as it is in traditional sport. We are very shortly getting into match number 3. Just to reiterate, we're going to play 4 matches, not 3 today, which is a pretty exciting development, to be perfectly honest. More opportunity for Fortnite here at MCA, more opportunity for fun times at the Australian Open. And look, I've got nothing else on my plate until this evening anyway when I want to watch the tennis, so works out quite well.
I mean, I've been looking forward to this since the last one last year. To be a part of it is a dream come true. So if it's extended, I'm completely fine with that. Again, the fun of all the trios in the charity event, on top of how good these games are in their own right, with us not having LAN events very often in this region or in Fortnite at the moment in total, I don't think many Fortnite fans would be too upset about this going for a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely not. I hope our pros are enjoying themselves. We said we've flown some of these guys and girls from around the world, some of the best players in the Fortnite community. These guys and girls are superstars overseas. They won millions of dollars. They played on the world stage, and now they get to enjoy themselves here in Melbourne whilst we get to enjoy watching them play Fortnite. So it's one of the cool things about gaming, opportunities to travel overseas, opportunities to see the world, and it's exciting for me to get to share Melbourne and get to share Australia with some of these gamers and content creators from around the globe.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you say they're enjoying themselves. I bet some of these pros who are playing tomorrow are very happy to hear they get an extra game on this setup to practice, get comfortable. I mean, I'm sure they'd want as long as they could possibly get on the setups, but any extra time is better, right? If you get extra time to warm up before a normal sports match, you're always happier.
Yeah, absolutely. The more time you can get on the field, on the sticks, whatever it may be, the better it is. And as you said, some of these guys and girls are going to be coming into prime position tomorrow as they play in the solos. 90 players competing. The arena is going to be full. $400,000 is the prize pool. 100K for first place tomorrow. Like, it's an incredible amount of money. You don't have to share that with your teammate, right? It's not like in traditional sport necessarily. Tennis has got it pretty good as well. You win your solos, you win a Grand Slam, you win AO. You're going home with millions and millions of dollars. And here, $100,000 still for Fortnite. That is great money in the world of esports. To be fair, it's great money for anything.
Yeah, it's very good money as well. And I mean, you've been asking questions all day. I want to fire one at you. Obviously, you haven't watched too much Fortnite since last year. I know you've been keeping up to date with it. How does the game feel and run a little bit differently to what you're used to? You know, we have no mobility. Last year when you watched this, you would have seen players flying across the map. Now it's just a big scramble. How do you think it plays out?
Look, yeah, when I play Fortnite, I love the mobility, right? As a player, when I compete, when I get to try my hand at it, I love to get in the planes, I love to get in the buggies, I love the zip lines, I love the rifts, all of those things. But when I watch it as a fan, I think less mobility is more for the game. I like to see the building, I like to see the players really needing to rotate at the right time, make those crucial, smart decisions. There's no get out of jail free card because you're sitting in a Stormwing or something above the rest of the players.
Yeah, that's why I find it so impressive how well some of these celebrities and content creators are keeping up. They're not keeping up with the world's best players because they have items that are giving them extra speed to get there. They are genuinely staying on the tail of and sticking to the best players in the world. That is not a short feat. I've played a lot of competitive Fortnite, I've watched a lot of it, I've casted a lot of it, and I'm watching some of these gameplays out, and if you just blurred out the names, didn't tell me, I would 100% think that was a set trio.
It's a pretty cool thing to have, right? We're pretty fortunate that this is how this competition has played out. Because you could have, and to be fair, last year, for a lot of these celebs and a lot of the content creators, maybe they haven't had as much opportunity to practice. This year, a little bit of a different story, a lot of familiar faces coming back, and maybe this time around, maybe playing last year gave them a reason to keep playing Fortnite, and since then, they've improved, adapted, learned, and now they come back bigger and better, and we've seen that. The games have been great so far. It's truly exciting, and if this is the level of play that we're seeing here with the updates to Fortnite, when we're talking about Chapter 2, for me, tomorrow, 90 of the world's best, solos, the game's the same, except you're playing by yourself. I suspect tomorrow's matches are going to be absolutely incredible. And for the competitive fans at home and in here at MCA, I think people are going to go away from this and say, wow, that game there at the AO Summer Smash, that solos competition really set the standard. It's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of eyes on this. I mean, I was scrolling through Twitch before seeing who was watching this broadcast live at home, and there's a lot of big names in the competitive scene who are watching this with eyes on it, right? I saw EMAGG was watching it, definitely, and there's eyes on it, and this is not even the competitive event. That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. That is going to have so many eyes on it, not just for the event itself, but what it means for Fortnite going forward. It's the first time we've had a glimpse at stacked solos in this game mode. It's going to be amazing.
Exactly right. We alluded to it earlier. With the game has changed since it was 12 months ago. The map's entirely different. The weapons have changed. We've talked about mobility as well and how it's harder to get across the map. This is very different to what you see in traditional sport. If you watch a match of tennis, perhaps the players might be different, and over time, you know, maybe everyone gets a little bit better year on year on year, and the players get fitter and whatnot. But in general, year to year, tennis is pretty similar. Here, the players have adapted to an entirely new type of game. Everything's a little bit different, and you cannot rest on the laurels of 2019.
No, definitely not. And coming into tomorrow, same as today, we got Fresh trying to back it up, go back to back. We've not a lot of these events anymore. When you get the opportunity, you've got to make it count. There's a lot of people looking for maybe some redemption tomorrow. OCE did not perform the best at World Cup. NA definitely came out on top in solos. EU came out in duos. But when you have these regional arguments, it's going to be interesting to see which region can come out in the next big solos tournament. OCE has the numbers advantage going into it, but they don't normally have the reputation behind them as performing these events. But yeah. Fresh managed taking out on top of Symmetrical. That was an OCE player taking down one of NA's best.
Pretty cool opportunity for him, and obviously here on this big stage, he is not worried at all. We've been speaking a lot about our professional athletes. Adrian has another superstar sports player down there for an interview.
Well, guys, I've got Elevate to my right. I've got James Sicily, the Hawthorn gun, to my left. Who's down at the end? I haven't got him there. Who have you got there on your team?
This is Alex Ace.
Alex Ace, nicely done. Now, we're here because you guys are currently sitting third, which is awesome. You haven't played for a while, but you're flying today, right?
Yeah, well, I've got a pretty easy job. I just farm for Elevate and let him build around me, and I'll try and just keep up with him. So we're doing all right.
How good is he over here, Elevate?
Yeah, I was watching him when I died, and it's crazy how quick these guys' fingers go on the keyboard. So hopefully he can carry us and we can get on the podium.
We'll stay there. You are third at the moment. Elevate, how's he going over here? He's, playing it down a bit, is he?
Yeah, he's definitely playing it down. He's staying with me, which is surprising. He's right on me, and he's been dropping mats. And he's pretty much allowing me to just, pop off.
Did you guys have a chance to talk before you started today and give them a few tips?
Yeah, I did a little bit. I kind of explained, where we're dropping and, nade strats and stuff that we haven't been popping off with that, but yeah, we had a good talk.
So third at the moment, do you give yourself a chance? I mean, how far are we, if we can win this one, potentially taking it out today, right?
I reckon. I mean, we're warming up. We've warmed up now, so I think we'll get an extra game up our sleeve. We might be playing 4 games instead of 3, so yeah, I reckon we're a huge chance.
And do you have a charity? Do you know where the money might go if we can pick it up today?
I think we'll just donate to the bushfires, I think.
Sounds pretty good to me. And how's the footy at the moment, pre-season, obviously? You tracking well?
Yeah, in the grind at the moment. I mean, most of the team's healthy. I'm healthy, so exciting times. Get some good players coming back into the side. So, yeah.
Nicely done. Who came up with the name for the team? 100 Thieves, is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's just my org, so nice. Yeah. Matthew Nadeshot Haig, the legend, he came up with it, so yeah.
Awesome. Great stuff, guys. Third place. Come on, get in there. Game 3 coming up. Good stuff, guys. Thank you.
100 Thieves, a great example, one of those esports organisations who've been helping players from a young age get into it. I saw the video of their new compound just the other day. That thing looks absolutely absolutely epic. If you were an aspiring Fortnite player, that would be the place that you would want to train if it were me.
Oh, for sure, yeah. When we talk about the links between sports and esports, that compound is next to none. It is incredible. That video had me blown away the whole time. You've got streaming rooms, you've got apparel, they're just combining everything. It's showing how much esports is exploding right now.
Yeah, and of course, Elevate talking there about, you know, how when he's talking about who he has to carry, he's not really carrying his celebrity at all. We were kind of discussing earlier about how, you know, how well can those pros carry? But perhaps it could be if the celebrities can sort of keep up with you and make your job a little bit easier, perhaps, as a pro player. They're playing that sort of supporting role, which is very much a traditional sport element there. You can come in and maybe things play out differently.
Goal is if you have a player like Elevate on your team, you can support him, he's going to elevate his gameplay.
And sitting in third right now, not a bad start to the day considering there's 30 teams. Sitting in third halfway through, definitely a chance for the money for their charity of choice. We were talking about bushfire charities there as well, so that would be great to see. And I think, again, we'll see a lot of that today. Almost ready here at MCA to jump into match number 4. We can see all the players starting to get into this one very, very soon. And the pressure is now starting to build, right? Getting to the pointy end of things. No more excuses. Got to get points this game. It's this game or nothing. If you're not on the board by now, you're probably not going to come out on top if you can't do well in match number 3.
Yeah, you can have an exciting final game, but at the end of the day, it's going to be who comes out on top on the standings, who comes out on those points with the win, and who's taking the big money for their charity. So we'll have to see. We're coming into it halfway through now, so you've got to imagine if the points keep going the way they are, there's quite a few points racking up there. Zate's team right now is averaging about like 15, 20 points almost a game. That's big. That's big pickups, more than that.
Yeah, that's a ton of points, and that's certainly, if you can continue to do that, you're probably going to come out on top. If not top, then you're certainly in the money for your charity of choice, and that's where they want to be. So it's been great to see for them. The thing for me now is seeing how well some of these Aussie and Kiwi players have been going, how the OCE teams have been pushing their way through. I can't help but think that tomorrow it might be a little bit closer in the solos than we thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of those pros that you're seeing towards the end are the ones we'd expect to do quite well tomorrow on their own. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. Zate is definitely one that no one would be surprised if he won. He's performed so well in so many tournaments. But again, Fresh is the one that I'm pointing out. As we had the interview with him earlier, he didn't think he was going to stack up as well. He said, I don't want to run into players like Benji Fishy or anyone out there. He ran into Symmetrical and he took him down. We'll see how we go.
Look, Fresh is up there on the cards. I don't know if anyone's heard, but look, apparently, when he turns 18, he's going to change his surname to Fresh. So he will actually be Mr. Fresh.
Yes, you can refer to Fresh.
I actually love that. I think that's very, very cool.
I think it's amazing. And I mean, if you followed his social media, he has put it out there that he has asked his parents as well. I don't want any parents at home to panic about that.
Yeah.
He has asked his parents for permission. They support it because they know how much it means to him. It'll be very cool to see. I think it'll be a great laugh. It hurts no one. It's great.
Look, he's having a good time. He's making a lot of fans in the process, a lot of really cool content, and he's up here on the world stage playing against some of the best from around the world. And last year he came out on top. I don't know, 2020, it is possible he might do it here again.
He could go back-to-back, and then could we have a weekend of back-to-backs? We have Jesse tomorrow. Can he go back-to-back in the solos again? You never know. It's definitely not out of the realms of possibility. I saw when Fresh won that last game, Lockie came around, got around him, even Muselk, and that's what you love about the charity event, right? These guys are friends. They all know each other. We saw Muselk come over and congratulate and celebrate with Fresh, even though it wasn't his team, and that was just heartwarming. It looked so much like that clip we played earlier when they won last year. The celebration,
like a family,
it was
right?
great. It's like a family.
It was truly, truly awesome to see. Well, guys and girls, the time is now match number 3 of the AO Summer Smash featuring Fortnite. Let's throw it across to our casters and get this game underway.
Thank you so much, Ben. Fallout here, joined alongside Pookie Face. This is history, not just because we're at the Australian Open, because also we're casting for the first time together. How you doing, Pookie?
It is absolutely amazing being here. I'm so happy. First time in Australia. It's been nothing but good times so far. And like you said, I'm so excited to cast with you. I've got to be honest, I've watched some of your events that you've done before, not in a creepy way, just in a, want to learn from the best kind of way.
Oh my gosh, yeah, right. I appreciate
so
that.
I'm a huge fan of yours, and it's a dream being here.
That means the world. But coming from the World Cup commentator and talent member, it's amazing. It's an honor to be here alongside you, and I'm excited to be bringing the action for game number 3. We've seen some interesting things happen so far, some interesting storylines. One of the key storylines we've talked about is this global affair, right? Much like the Australian Open, we have teams and players from all around the world competing, and Australia and New Zealand has held their own. In second place right now is Luder and Chances and co. In fourth place, Mr. Fresh Asian and Lachlan. First and third, well, we got Zayt and Elevate. So it's a battle of the top 4 right now between NA and AUNZ.
Yeah, and the Australians are bringing it. They're on home turf. They do have the advantage of already being here, not being jet-lagged, not being tired, not having to travel dozens of hours to be here. So it's definitely coming through in the games. I know I was talking to Aussie Antics just a little bit ago, and he said that he really wanted to see the OCE region pull through today, just based on previous events, how they've performed, and they're certainly doing that. They're not disappointing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. They've stepped up. Of course, maybe he has a little bit of bias trying to represent his home turf. Meanwhile, the North American, she's representing Canada. I got USA. Let's keep it going. Zayt from Canada and Elevate also from Canada. So America is not showing up really well here so far.
No, it's between the Canadians and Australians at this point, really. But it looks as though the players, they have disembarked from the battle bus. We're taking a look at Airwalks, our champion from the Pro-Am back in July at the World Cup, and we see Leon there as well. Just looting early game. We've talked about this so many times before. We can see the disbursement on the map to the left-hand side of the screen. Everyone's pretty much spread out. I don't see any early engagements happening, but it looks like Airwalks is actually taking a few shots at Dave Hughes, who is still falling from the sky.
Yeah, a couple good shots put in from Airwalks, playing very, very aggressive. And look at you dropping knowledge. Airwalks, like you said, the champion of our past Pro-Am at the World Cup and E3, trying to go back to back to back. And he's hunting right now for Dave Hughes, which, by the way, Dave Hughes' son has been playing for him, and they're having some fun with it. I don't know if this is actually Dave or not, but Dave is caught alone right now, trying to rotate back to his team.
Yeah, it looks like there was a little bit of a late drop there. He is going to have to catch up to the rest of his teammates. We do have Harpy here, just trying to farm up outside of Salty Springs. We have Shady down at the bottom, and Matt is there as well. So this team looking pretty good, pretty compact in how they're spread across here, and that's really key. That's what we've seen a lot of the teams excel in today, is staying cohesive and staying as a unit throughout the games. It's helped them for sure.
Yeah, you're spot on. They also recognize they have this POI entirely to themselves, so they're just going to spread out, loot up as fast as they possibly can. Much like you're playing an online match of Fortnite and you drop as a team, if you have that entire place to yourself, spread, loot, be in cohesion, and work after that to rotate properly. Of course, Matt O'Gorman, a musician, member of British India, a band here locally in Australia. But some early fights going on. Cloud9 Blackout going to take out one.
He does get the elimination there, nets himself a little bit more health, is going to edit into the box, so it does take a little bit more damage, gets his shield ripped off completely, but does get the elimination, back up to 98 health, has the mini, is going to pop it, but he is taking some shots, so Tweaks is going to actually have to build for him a little bit, drops down, James Ward down at the bottom, trying to scout to see where these shots are coming from, but Blackout's up at the top of his structure. It looks as though he is going to try to take a couple of shots. We have Alethea here, trying to pick up those shields, trying to gather as many resources. She hears the shots ringing out, knows that she's going to have to join her team to be a little bit of help here, but looks as though they're trying to disengage here at Fallout.
Yep, yeah, exactly that. Great job right there by Cloud9 Blackouts. One of our 2 competitors from South America, representing C9, which is no easy task. One of the most reputable organizations in esports, led by Jack Etienne. And of course, doing it very well. Blackouts has performed very well from what we've seen so far from him, and ultimately they're going to win that fight, and an early elimination picked up from Blackouts, and they're going to just retreat and reset. On board now with Symmetrical from CLG, a little bit of a swan dive right there.
Yeah, it always gives me a little bit of anxiety. You feel that in the pit of your stomach when you see them, and you're like, oh no, hopefully they don't hit the shore. Oh my goodness, but he surely made good work.
Oh my God, surely, because it's water. I can't handle this right. Sure, she's been on point, by the way, all weekend with the puns. I don't know how she's always on top of her game with them, but I gotta.
What are you talking about?
I can't handle it. I literally can't handle it.
You know what? I'm gonna soon be casting by myself. Fallout. It's gonna drop his headset
and walk away.
And just walk away.
I gotta find someone that can keep on your level with the puns and deliver them back. That's for sure.
Symmetrical here just farming up his mats. He does have max brick, but it would be nice to, I gotta stop.
3 for 3. This has been 3 in the matter of 15 seconds. Someone stop this woman, please. It's impressive. And speaking of our female competitors here, Snezana is one of our ball girls here locally at the Australian Open. Awesome experience and opportunity to play with some pro players, playing alongside TSM Zexro, one of the greatest to do it, and Mind Freak Jakey. That's a pretty awesome lineup. Let's see if they can step up here, as they weren't pretty high on the leaderboards, if I remember correctly. Looks like she's pretty split from the rest of her team, but slowly going to make her way back to Mr. Jakey.
Yeah, and here we see Benson just staring off into the sunset. Very serene.
I like long walks on the beach and just enjoying all that Fortnite has to offer. So does Australia, they agree.
Loving that. It looks like he's on the Gold Coast or something like that, being in Australia.
Yeah, Bondi Beach there, mate.
Back to Symmetrical now. Looks as though they're hunting for players. They are in the zone. The zone is closing in, but they're really just scouting to try and get a little bit more resources under their belt in order to be prepared for the next engagement. And look at Zayt here, just on the side of Craig.
And what do we see right before Zayt? We saw Benson just enjoying the horizon. We saw a boat fishing. This is a wonderful, relaxing game of Fortnite right now. I've never seen anything like it.
I feel so at ease. I feel very zen right now. These players are definitely bringing me to my center again. But Zayt, you can see, just looking around, knows that there's a player behind him, keeps checking behind him. We're going to have to see if he does engage on him, but we are back to replays. And his team, they're approaching a POI here, and they're going to see if they can scout any players that will still be in Dirty Docks, seeing if they're going to be able to get any shots off on anybody. We are playing one more game after this, so typically in Game 3 you would see a lot more aggression early on from teams that unfortunately just haven't placed as well so far, but that's not the case. We've got people looking at the beach, at the horizon, we've got people in boats. Definitely different than what we've seen from the first 2 games for sure.
Yeah, it's been a very serene game number 3 here. Relaxing, and welcome to ASMR featuring Fallout. No, just playing here. Interesting stuff happening in Game 3. We're just on board with FaZe Replays. I know we got a lot of FaZe Clan fans. I'm in the chat and in the audience. Big shout out to FaZe Replays. Excited to see what he can do. Coming from Canada, I know his mom, his girlfriend also in attendance and supporting. Meanwhile, Rel is in a world of hurt right now. Rel, of course, playing with Laser Beam. Don't know where Laser or his teammates are. It's just Rel by himself, left to fight an army.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is low on mats. It seems he is resorting to using all of his metal. Laser Beam is also taking shots from a completely different angle. So looks as though they're pinched in between 2 teams right now. You can see the team positioned over to the east, taking shots on them. They are not in the best situation, but they have grouped up. They are back. Laser Beam is going to get healed with the Bandage Bazooka, bringing him up to 100 health. But in this lobby with these players, 100 health is not going to get you very far.
Yeah, you're spot on. And we saw Dave Hughes earlier, the 3rd member of this team, just kind of roaming and frolicking in the forest. Not sure if he was able to regroup with his teammates, so that's leaving Rel and Laser Beam alone right now in a 2 versus 3, and in a pretty tough situation. Their backs against the wall, quite literally. Oh!
This X2 ends up going down. You can hear the crowd absolutely cheering. Laser Beam gets the laser off, dare I say, but then goes down himself. Now it's going to be tough for him to be able to get revived. Doesn't look like he's going to have the chance, but we have RPGs coming in on Rel as well. This got crazy very quickly.
Undoubtedly a 3rd party, and then a 3rd party on top of a 3rd party. It's Airwalks and Leandro, the tennis player from Switzerland. So the Swiss duo right now trying to 3rd party and be the better 3rd party. We have a 3-on-3-on-3 fight and engagement going on. Of course, Vinny in a world of hurt and tagged up.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, it doesn't look like he's going to have much time to get himself back up to speed in terms of his health, because, you know, he's just going to have to keep building and utilizing his resources to, oh my gosh, Ken takes a ton of damage from those grenades. He does have the shields in his inventory, though, so he is going to be able to heal up a little bit. We can see Rel using the edits to try to peek, get a little bit of information in regards to where his opponents could possibly be at this point. We see him taking a few shots on the box that Vinny has built himself, but Vinny very quickly ascending up to try to get away from Rel, knows that he is by himself right now. His team is gone, so he's going to have to see what he can do to get out of this very sticky situation.
Yeah, you're spot on, Rel. Like you just mentioned, the last lives, you just want to chill, hide, and hopefully let these 2 teams fight each other and make it a 3-on-3 fight, but Rel is not in a good position to do that, so no shields to his name in a really, really tough situation. Draken's doing what he can with a harpoon gun to eliminate any cover. RPG's coming in as well. He's fighting the cavalry right now as Rel. Not in a good position.
Yeah, and you can see him just building for his life, is able to get up on another level here. So he is up one more, but he is going to have to try to play it smart. He is approaching Vinny's one by one as well. Takes a ton of shots, is down to about 22 health. Things are not looking good for him. Vinny takes another shot, goes down to 73 health. He doesn't have anything in his inventory. 9 shotgun shells, but he somehow manages to pull it off. If he can get this final elim, he is going to get 50 health back. This is going to be instrumental in him being able to get out of this situation, but he has to do this quickly.
Yeah, that's a good call out, because that siphon is crucial right now with his health sitting at like 19. Is he able to get it? No. Blackouts actually gets the elim on Steve Nicholson, but Blackouts is still knocked right now. I don't know if Vinny's going to try and play aggressive and finish the elim or just try to survive. Rel, though, is somehow able to sneak away of that fight and leave unscathed relatively. Meanwhile, Vinny still with only 19 HP, and the revive did come through. Drakens is up.
Now, Rel used the engagement on Vinny as a distraction to get himself to disengage out of that whole situation, which was an excellent call on his point. He knew that the fire was not on him anymore, so he said, you know what? I'm just going to go farm some more mats, get some health. I'll leave you boys to it.
Yeah, that's a great call out there. Pookie that was the perfect scenario for Rel in that situation, is let those other two teams fight, as we said, and just live to see another day and try to stay sneaky now for the rest of the game. Survive as long as possible to try and get some placements. Maybe you can get some eliminations along the way towards late game when everyone's tunneling. Good job by Rel.
Yeah, excellent work by him. We are taking a look now at Airwalks. He is here with his whole team. They are taking some shots though, but they are looking pretty healthy in terms of Matt's traps. They've got traps for days, 6 of them at least. So that's great to see. But you know, we're gonna have to take a look and see how these two teams kind of come together. They are in the zone, so there's no pressure. If they want to just go for placement at this point, they can certainly do that as well.
Trap plays are coming. Shot to sight for PK, maybe watching right now from home. Meanwhile, Drakens has been knocked twice, I believe, and has gotten up twice, I think, unless that was Blackout from Cloud9 that got knocked and taken up by Muselk. I think it was actually. So does a good job is Drakens across map picking up an elimination. Muselk picked up 1. So Muselk in a pretty decent spot here as well, trying to hold it down. And again, doesn't really consider himself a top competitive player, but I really do think he doesn't give himself enough credit. He always shows up in these tournaments.
I mean, and the way he played last game as well, you know, being very calm and collected, fishing when he needed to, that's the competitive mindset that you need to go into these games with. You know, it is for charity, it's for fun, but at the end of the day, you want to win.
Yep, Tina Rez now, the champion from TwitchCon. And of course, the all-female team competing here today, holding it down and doing a great job of exactly that. Let's see what Tina can do. Meanwhile, Brody does have high ground with Volks. Volks, a competitive player, one of the top competitive solo players in Fortnite and AU, NZ, so Australia, New Zealand, holding high ground against Loserfruit and Tina.
Yeah, and right at the edge of the zone, so you know that there's not going to be anybody coming in behind them. We can see that they are there by themselves at Red Barn, at Frenzy Farm. So it's going to be interesting to see. It looks like Loserfruit is actually planning to make the rotation out. They're not interested in engaging with 25 teams left. We are far from placement points.
Yeah, and Volks and Co, like seeing that actually, oh no, they do realize it. So great disengage right there. That's a good call out, Pookie. Great disengage from Tina and Loserfruit, again, to get an early rotation, because it seems like the rotation is quite far. And keep in mind, in the current metagame or gameplay of Fortnite Chapter 2, there's not a ton of mobility like there was in Chapter 1. So you got to rotate early. That's important. Loserfruit and Tina recognize it. Great shot calling coming in from them.
Yeah, and excellent work using the zone to their advantage, having the zone at their back, knowing that there was only a few spots that they needed to really cover by. It's not just about making the rotation, it's making smart rotations. It's your pathing as well. We don't really talk about that too much, but honestly, whatever you can do to conserve materials, to make sure that you're not taking any kind of damage so that you're set up better for endgame is really what you're trying to be doing in these games right here, and they play perfectly.
Yeah, that's a scary thing when you have Benji Fishy flying at you if you're Leandro. Leandro's gonna get taken out. The Swiss 18-year-old tennis player gets taken out in this one. Benji Fishy hunting for an elimination, and he gets it.
Benji Fishy, now known as the Flying Fish.
Yeah.
From now on, I'm just gonna say it. At him, Benji Fishy,
the flying fish. Let him know. Make sure he's well aware. As we just saw right there. Ellie, a Bachelor contestant here in Australia, gonna get taken out the top left of your screen. And meanwhile, a lot of key players alive. Ghost Trapped, a member of Ghost Gaming locally here in Australia, playing with Yanakis and Dominic Stricker, who is a tennis youth player as well. Let's see what they can do if they can have a good game number 3. Of course, Zayt, who is currently our score points leader, has been so consistent. That's what Zayt does so incredibly well, is consistency. He's done his entire career.
Yeah, and if we just take a look at the positioning here, I just want to talk about the positioning from Airwalks and his teammate. Now, this is brilliant. Now, we talked a lot about how there isn't any mobility in the game, but we have forgot that at Steamy Stacks, they have the stacks there and they're able to actually utilize those much like a launch pad really to disengage if they need to, and they're built up right on the side. So even though they do have zone, regardless of where the next zone is actually going to be placed, they have excellent rotation that they can jump into the stack, use their umbrella, use their glider to get to the next zone pretty effectively.
That's a great call out. You know, we mentioned in Chapter 2, not a lot of mobility. Well, this is one area of the map that actually gives you mobility. So as you said, wherever that circle does end up here next, they have an easy rotation there. Probably the most well-positioned right now currently. And guess who one of those two teams are? It's Looter, Chances, and Co. They're currently in second place after a great game number 1. So I'm excited to see if they can do it again here in game 3.
Definitely not surprised that they're the other team on the other stack there. They're all alive, and unfortunately for Airwalks and Leon, they have lost their teammates. So we're gonna have to see if these two guys decide to engage at all. And it does look like Looter and his teammates are
pulling
out. The flying fish is back! Benji's back! Oh my goodness, I told you guys, I called it, the flying fish in all his glory. Taking some shots. Oh no, Benji, what are you doing?
Oh my land. This looks like Loot Lake from Chapter 1 right now with people all over the place, right? And it looks like Benji Fishy decides to get aggressive with Alethea. Great shot calling coming through, because guess what? They now have a little bit of a high ground here, but it looks like Richie, the race car driver, who in my eyes has been one of our 3-4 celebrities who has performed very well, is doing a good job. Can I get some edits in and trying to maintain at least some wall control?
Absolute incredible positioning from Benji Fishy and his team taking the high ground, and again having that stack there to utilize for mobility if they do need, splitting some mats here, splitting some grenades so that everybody has the appropriate items in their arsenal that they're, look at this, they're trying to coordinate the grenade toss and they do it. They have 4 grenades that are going over.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Kobe with the shot there is Benji with a beautiful shot call. This is why he's one of the best in the world, ladies and gentlemen. They just double-limbed 2 members of Looter's team. What a performance and what coordination. By the way, they've only been playing together for a few hours.
What did I
You're in
just
astonishment
watch?
right now.
I'm fainting. I don't understand what I just saw. I saw them all cooking the grenades and ready to throw. I didn't know that they were all going to be able to pull off and execute that amazing play. I have never, ever seen a play coming out of something like that in competitive Fortnite in my life. That was absolutely insane, and you could hear the crowd went absolutely wild when they saw what Benji Fishy and his team were just able to execute there.
Amazing stuff from Benji Fishy, and of course, we keep saying it, that's nothing short of what you would expect from Benji with how great of an individual player he is. We all know how talented he is in solos, but showing some of his leadership right now, this young man is under 18 years old, I believe 16 years old from the UK, and leading his team to victory right now, doing a great job of it, and now they are the sole team left on top of those steamy stacks with an easy rotation. Just like that, they went from being low ground, taking high ground, and getting 2 eliminations and having the best position in the game.
Yeah, they saw that real estate on top of steamy stacks, and they said, you know what? We're gonna literally grenade our way to the top. This is our area. Now you see Som getting the elimination on Volks. Volks does end up going down. Som picks up a big shield, is going to heal up. We are over at Lachlan and his team right now as well. They are taking shots. Things are starting to heat up. We are in the 5th zone. Things are gonna get wild very quickly.
You're spot on. Som, currently a free agent, by the way, former CLG, 2nd place at World Cup behind Booga. Great performer, has been doing it since Summer Skirmish way back in 2018-19 era. And he's showing up here today, picking up an elimination. But I want to point something out. Mr. Fresh Asian has picked up 4 or 5 eliminations in the top left of our screen here in the elimination feed. So he's having a great game 3 as well. Ruben Styles with an elimination on Rel. Are you kidding me? Ruben and Peking Duck showing up.
Unbelievable. That RPG was instrumental in that elimination for him. 15 teams alive, 35 players left. We are approaching the first threshold for placements. That being 12th place, that will get you 3 points. All of these teams knowing this is match 3, the last of 2 that we're gonna play for today, so they need to pick up the pace and they need to be paying attention to every single rotation they're making.
Yep, TSM Zexro trying to do a big for America, coming from New York, Long Island to be exact. and Shui picking up one as well. So it's coming down to the wire here in game 3. Benji Fishy picking up a limb, same with Zate. We see some big names at the top left of our screen. On board with Airwalks, the back-to-back Pro-Am champion, but none other than Mr. Fresh Asian has high ground right now and is in a great position.
Yeah, look at these teams just absolutely fighting for zone right now. You can see Airwalks taking a ton of damage on his build. Moves up, unfortunately goes down. Doesn't look like there's going to be any chance of revival. Is getting harpooned, and now he is.
That was a harpoon?
That was the harpoon gun.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they are using it to get his loot over to their 1x1 so that they can effectively just beef themselves up for the final rotations here. You can see again Lachlan up at the top with Mr. Fresh Asian. Perfect positioning coming out of those guys, but they do have to be very careful. Now they are starting to tarp out. They're starting to tarp out over the water, which is actually a very good play because if you do end up being shot down, no fall damage.
Yeah, that's a great call out. As Benji Fishy still leading his team, Airwalks in a good position as well. So I've been so impressed with Mr. Fresh Asian and how he's leading his team, playing so well as an individual, and all 3 of them are still alive. Gonna get tagged up right now though. Shots are gonna come in for Airwalks on Leon. Leon does go down, so all eyes on Airwalks as the last member alive here. He's going up against Trapped, a Ghost Gaming member here in Australia.
Yeah, and it looks as though he is trying to build reinforce, get Leon to come back a little bit so he may be able to get the revive off. The other players I don't think understand where he's been, but unfortunately for him, he is going to have to make it to the zone. It is ticking by 10 at this point, so he's not going to have the time to get up his teammate. He is going to be alone for the rest of this game, so we're going to have to see what he's able to do here.
FaZe, NRG, 100 Thieves, so many great organizations still alive here, and their players are representing well. TSM as well with Zexro on screen. Mr. Fresh Asian, though, of Renegades doing it well with 3 eliminations to his name right now and high ground in a good position. Under some duress right now from an RPG coming at him. And he's going to be able to almost get a tag on Magma.
Ooh, that edit, though, ends up getting Magma down, gets all of his loot, gets the health as well. He is going to have to prepare because there are still 11 teams and the 17 players alive, so we have hit the first threshold for placement points. We see one of the X2 twins, Jordan, unfortunately in this zone, his health is going to be going down very quickly, and he does end up falling there on the bottom of the screen. You can see Benji Fishy as well, trying to go through. He just floppered, so he might actually make it out. We're gonna have to see if he does or not. Epic Will at the very top, playing for his life. He is by himself, but you know what? Epic Will is such a consistent player. He goes for the trap, unfortunately doesn't get it off in time, and the other player was able to escape.
Richie Stanaway picking up elimination on Airwalk. So I mentioned how we've been by Richie. Mr. Fresh Asian gonna get tagged up for a headshot. Great shot from Epic Whale from NRG, a great performer at World Cup who's really shown up big here in 2019 and 2020 as a top player in Fortnite. Mr. Fresh Asian, though, with Epic right above him. It's going to be an interesting fight, an interesting battle for high ground here. Let's see if Mr. Fresh Asian has some more tricks up his sleeve like he did in game 2.
Yeah, and you can see Epic Will did end up taking Lachlan out there. We have 12 players left in this lobby, but it seems like so many more when this zone is moving. The pressure is on, and you're going to have to use everything you have. Everything is coming down to this moment right here. 10 players left, 9 teams. That means 1 duo is left. The rest are solos. It is everybody fighting for their lives at this point.
Yeah, well, Buffer's going to take out one, but tough spot. Temp is going to go down here. Mr. Fresh Asian has the flopper. Same situation as last. We said 1,000 IQ last game. Let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah, and he is lagging a little bit behind Cease, but he is methodically building over. You can see using the floppers to mitigate a lot of that storm damage, not panicking at all. Zate is going to rain down some shots with that SMG, is going to take a moment to make sure he's at maximum shield, but does hold high ground right now over everyone else in this lobby.
Yeah, you called it. All solos left, I believe. It's a one-on-one. 5 players left alive. Benji Fishy trying to hold it down for the UK and EU, who hasn't shown up incredibly well yet. Cease trying to do it as well. Mr. Fresh Asian does get taken out here. Zate is holding it down with high ground, but it's not, maybe not for long. Cease just tunneling and staying alive here on low ground.
Yeah, and he is actually going to go back into the storm to see if he can get anything out. Has 10 health left, but has a ton of mats. Oh my gosh, Cease actually gets taken out by Zate. Oh my gosh, we have 2 players remaining.
Benji, I think. No, Rory
against Zate. Zate has 8 health left, 6, and it's not going to be enough. Rory ends up again from the high ground with the RPG. Second game in a row. We have seen it end in that fashion. You can see the team there breathing a sigh of relief. It must feel amazing to take game 3 in that fashion.
Undoubtedly. Rory's going to represent the Asian region here, playing with Crazy Boy, my man who's most stylish. I don't know, stylish, craziest hair.
Best dressed.
Best dressed. We got all sorts of categories, but they also have a category of their own. Another Victory Royale, their first Victory Royale here for the Asia region. Great job by Rory in that one in late game. Zayt was in a pretty tough position. So 2 times now, again, the story of Zayt has been consistency, but 2 times he had high ground and opts to lose that high ground to push low ground. He needed some heals, I think is the reason he did that. Was able to pick up one on Cease with a nice shot. Got some siphon, but Rory with an RPG, it's a tough situation to be in for Zayt.
Right, and just taking a look at Cease there trying to stay hydrated in this Australian heat. Everybody actually taking a sip of water. That was an intense game 3 for sure. I cannot wait to see what we're looking at in terms of standings, because I feel like game 3 really shook things up.
It did. Yeah, we saw a couple teams, Benji Fishy stepping up in a big way and doing some great things. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to my man Adrian, who's got an interview ready with Crazy Boy and the folks from Asia.
I certainly do. Crazy Boy, Rui here. So we've got a bit of an interpreter. We're going to chat with you if that's okay. Man, how exciting was that for you?
Yeah, it was exciting. He did a good job. He did it.
He did it. Take us through the game. What were the moments for you? How did he get it done?
Yeah, it was like, we was like nervous first, but it was good game.
All good. What's it like being here, the Australian Open, inside this stadium, playing in front of Australians? What's that like for you guys?
I like Australia, so it's good to come here. I like it.
And tell us about the outfit as well. We've got the hair, the glasses, the outfit. Come on, man. Where did this, yeah, there we go. Hey, what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? You like that? I like it. Where did the inspiration come from?
Like, I'm an artist, I make music, so yeah, I like this kind of style, yeah.
Awesome, so that was game 3. We've got one more game to go. What are you thinking for the next one? We can take that one out as well? Maybe take the final prize today?
Yeah, we want to get it, yeah.
Nice, guys, give it up for our winners here. Game 4 still to come. What a result. Well done, guys.
What an incredible match, number 3. Still one more match remaining. Honestly, Benji Fishy and his team, one of the best plays we're going to see in trios. The coordinated barrage, Alithia in there as well. Very impressive, getting the double elim. Look, not able to get through in the end, but that's a lot of points on the board. They did pretty well.
Yeah, and you know what? I honestly was down on the floor casting that game, and as soon as I saw what they were trying to do with the coordination of the grenades, I was like, if they hit this is going to be one of the best Fortnite plays in history. Now, taking a look at some of the plays coming out of Cloud9 boys, you can see here everyone was really hitting their shots, just being very methodical, not panicking, and that's what we really have to do. We can see these guys now, they're settling in. You know, this is the kind of Fortnite I love to cast. I love to watch this.
Oh,
Here's
here we
the
go.
play.
Look at this.
Look at
That's
this.
at least 3 nades coming in over the top.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
And unfortunately, you know, for Luder and his team, they just didn't stand a chance. Som, again, showing why he belongs in this scene. Saf using the harpoon gun to sneak the RPG rocket in there. The amount of plays that we've seen today that have so heavily relied on coordination of these teams. Some of them have not played together. I am so impressed with the gameplay coming out of these teams.
Yeah, for me, I'm ready to see trios back in it, to be honest. This has been pretty exciting, and considering that some of these players have never even met each other before today, honestly, by the time we get into game number 3, I didn't expect them to be this coordinated. The high ground in the end, Rory picking it up for his team. Very, very well done, and you can see they are very happy up there, and deservedly so, of course.
It's a huge, huge moment for them, you know. It's a huge moment for anybody that ends up taking the victory royale. But I can attest to what it feels like in that moment to be able to say, you know what, I was there for my team, I stepped up, you know, I didn't choke, and I used what I had in my arsenal and in my inventory to secure that victory royale. So amazing job to all of the teams today. Today has honestly been one of my most favorite days for casting ever, just because of the plays we've seen, you know, the atmosphere, the environment. Everyone's in such a great mood, and again, at the end of the day, it's all for fun, it's all for charity, which makes it all even better.
Speaking of charity, let's go and take a look at where our standings now sit after match number 3 and which team is in the driving seat to take home $30,000 for their charity of choice. Team number 1, a big 10-point lead, Zate 000 and Watscope. Any surprises here for you, Pookie?
I mean, Zate is arguably one of the most consistent players that I've ever seen in the game, so no surprise there. Lachlan is actually heading up second place with Mr. Fresh Asian. Again, no surprise there as well. Mr. Fresh Asian being reigning champion from last year. So, you know, he's here, he's showing up what he can do. You know, with the interview earlier with Adrian, he said, you know, there's really no pressure on me to perform, but, you know, he's coming in with that kind of mentality and that kind of attitude, and he's still doing very well.
Yeah, still doing super well. We saw Elevate was in 3rd place with his team at the start of last game. Manages to retain that here. For me, the big one, Benji Fishy coming through the ranks with Richie and Alithia on the back of a pretty good game right then. You can see 15 place points, 15 elim points, brings them to 30 after 3 matches. Not bad at all. And if you're looking for who's going to come out on top, you're probably looking at maybe anyone maybe with 30 points or more is probably where you're looking towards. Relying, of course, for Zay and his team to have an average game number 4.
Yeah, certainly. Now, that is to say, though, I mean, you know, we have seen teams pull off these 22-point games, you know, getting the 7 eliminations, getting the victory royale, that's 22 points. So, I mean, you know, you say top 30, it's hard for me because it's like, you know, if they have 22 points, 23 points, and they have a 25, 26, 27-point game, it's not unheard of. They could take this. So with one more game remaining, we are going to have to see what happens, how these teams put everything into the last one. And you can see there, we've got everybody with points.
Everyone with a point. Everyone's a winner. Congratulations. Well done. Everyone with at least 1 elimination. That's what we love to see. They're slowly starting to make their way through. Hughesy, 2 elimination points for his team. I don't know, probably Rel got that, maybe Laser Beam. I'm not sure how Hughesy's going. Maybe his son's pulling out the goods, but look, we'll see. Game number 4, still 1 left, still time to come out with a victory royale. And to be fair, even if you don't come home with a good stay, if you can take out a victory royale, that in itself is a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Being here, being on this stage, being at a LAN event, we have to remember, you know, a lot of these guys are here for the first time. So just being in this environment is an experience in and of itself. You know, even if you don't get the victory royale, you know, but you can net yourself a couple of eliminations and, you know, you make the smart rotations, you get decent placements. I mean, that's great for a lot of these players.
Yeah, a lot of experiences to be gained here across the next 2 days. For a lot of these players, the pros and the content creators and whatnot, this is just the start for them. This is just the start of a journey in competitive gaming. We've seen some of the players win millions of dollars in Fortnite. So many of them 16 years old, and when you think about the future that they've got ahead of them and the experience that you can get here today on this stage, playing an MCA, being a part of this and getting to play with some of the best players from around the world, it's look, it's money can't buy experience. It's very, very cool, and it could be the start of something huge for some of these players.
100%. I couldn't have said it better myself, and I know that you and I were talking a little bit earlier, you know, we're the boomers of the scene at this point. You
we're
know,
gaming boomers,
15 years ago, 20 years ago, this wasn't a thing, really.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? They didn't have these types of esports scene, you know, when I was 15, 16 years old. So the amount of opportunity and the amount of hard work that these players put in, you know, they're practicing with the scrims. They're grinding every single day. And I love to see everyone kind of come together at an event like this and just appreciate really the hard work that everyone's put in to get to this point so far.
Yeah, it's a great celebration of Fortnite, a great celebration of the greater Fortnite community, and an opportunity for fans of content creators, pros and the celebs here today to come out, see them, give them a cheer, see them in their environment, you know, get to meet someone that you're a huge fan of. It's really, really cool because honestly, everyone here, they're so nice in real life when you get to meet them, and they're here, they're doing it for everyone else and doing it for charities here today. It's an absolutely fantastic opportunity that the Australian Open has given everyone who's participating as part of this charity pro-am to be here and do something good for someone else.
Yeah, and I honestly think, you know, going into this last game, I wouldn't Be surprised if we see a team kind of come out on top that wasn't performing too well in the first 3 games. It's anyone's games to take. Now, you've watched 3 games so far.
Yeah.
Do you have any predictions going into these final games?
Look,
or the final game, rather?
For me, it's hard to go past, perhaps biasly, Mr. Fresh Asian. I want to see him go back-to-back. I know how hard he's worked, and I feel like maybe he's been carrying the rest of his team on top of his back, trying to drag Lachlan across the line.
Oh my goodness, a little bit of shade being
He's
thrown
been playing
at
so
Lachlan.
well. He's been playing so well. Look, if the rest of his team steps up, let's be real, it is a team game. You do not have to get the limbs yourself. You just have to facilitate someone on your team making it through to be the last player left standing. So they've done very well. But for me, that's the team to beat. I think Fresh is going to come through with the goods this game, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, we are going to have to wait and see. I love that prediction, though. Very, very sound. Now, in terms of, you did this last year as well.
Yeah.
You've seen, both sides. What has the progression been? Like, what has been the major difference between last year and this year in terms of, the games, the players? Have they adapted? What do you notice that's been different?
The cool thing for me, obviously, is that last year it was open. This year it's the best who are invited. It's the pros. It's those guys and girls who know what they're doing, and that's put a little bit more pressure on. If we talk about pros, Zait's out there. He's doing a great job. He's coming out there in first place at the moment. I think he's down there on the ground and ready for an interview.
That's it, guys. Zait, Lee, Anthony, we are winning at the moment, guys. 1 game to go. They are pumped. Zait, I've just spoken to our casters. They talk about your consistency today, throughout your career. Does that summarise it pretty well?
Guys, what has
I'd
the
say
progression
today we
been? Like,
for
what?
that. Talk with the boys. They're feeding me mats, and we're trying to avoid everyone and just get some top 2s. We don't even care about the win at that point. We're just going for top 5, top 2s, and that's what we've been doing it.
How good is this energy inside the stadium right now?
It's awesome. Earlier, I killed Laser Beam, and that was a big mistake. Yeah, a bit of home. Yeah. But, I'm not getting distracted or anything. Okay. Just stick to the game plan, and yeah.
Very relaxed. The boys up here, I mean, he's very cool, calm, and collected, but how good is he up this end?
He's mental. He's insane. The strat is get him mats, give him all our weapons, and then just follow him. It's amazing.
You haven't seen it before?
I've not played with someone of his caliber, no, so really? He's a freak.
Did you underestimate him maybe coming in? Did you know he'd be this good, or has he surprised you?
I had no idea who he was before I came here. I'm just kidding. No, he's good. Yeah, I've just never played with someone like him, and it's insane to see up close.
Nicely done. Same thoughts down here. He's kind of carrying it. I mean, of course you guys are doing the job as well, right?
I've got 1 kill, so I'm contributing, but yeah, he's a young god. He's amazing.
A young god, guys. There we go. Our leading team. We've got 1 game to go. Come on, guys. Let's make some noise. Come on.
What a great opportunity here at MCA as part of the Australian Open for these Fortnite pros, stars in their world, to be able to show off in front of this audience that may not necessarily see them. I know everyone watching along at home knows who they are, but for us, it's about exposing them to this wider audience, getting more Fortnite fans, getting more people into competitive gaming, and getting them to events like this so they can experience it and enjoy it and realize just how much fun this is.
Yeah, this is honestly an incredible event for a lot of the up-and-coming players, like we've said before. And you can see Zait down there, again, so calm, cool, and collected. And that is what makes a pro player, to not get rattled, to shake off the last game, go in with a fresh mentality and say, I'm going to do it this game for my team, and go from there. You can't dwell on the past. You can't let that get inside your head.
Yeah.
We talk about mechanical skill. We talk about making smart rotations. But a lot of these LAN events require a huge amount of just mental capacity to be able to process what's happening to you, to not get rattled, and to stay calm.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on these players, but thankfully for them, they only have 1 match remaining. The last game here of our Pro-Am at the AO Summer Smash featuring Fortnite. Let's get into the action. Fallout and Aussie Antics.
Thank you so much, Ben, and welcome back to the AO Summer Smash featuring Fortnite. Fallout here alongside the man himself, Aussie Antics. Of course, this event is made possible thanks to HyperX, our partner, who has cemented themselves in 2018 as of shipping 5 million headsets as a global leader in esports. Big thank you to HyperX for being here and supporting, and of course all of our fans live. I'm excited for game number 4, our last game of the series, to determine who's going to take home the biggest chunk of that $100,000 prize pool.
Yeah, it's close to the top 2. This is going to be a good finish. This is big. We've added an extra game here. I mean, I'm never going to say no to more competitive Fortnite. This is insane. These games are playing out amazing. We're seeing some of the world's best go at it. We just heard from Zayt there. Let's see if he can close it out. Do you reckon he can? You going to do the prediction?
Honestly, 1,000%. Yeah. You know, Zayt has gotten a lot of second place finishes, which honestly, that was the storyline of my career back when I played. Yeah. But I really do think in this scenario, he's going to take home first. He's been playing so consistent. He's been playing so incredibly strong. You heard him say it. He doesn't care sacrificing the 2 or 3 points from first to second if it means they went off and they popped off in eliminations. They're in first place undoubtedly after that game, and I think they're going to continue that dominance.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. We saw obviously Ben up there took a bit of a stab at Fresh's team. They're saying he's put him on the back and carrying, but I don't hear that with Zayt. He's doing well, but he's also bringing his team with him as far as he can, and then he's closing it out on his own. He's doing really well, so you'd have to think that shows that consistency. If Fresh goes down here early, his team's going to struggle, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, Mr. Fresh has been playing so well as an individual, but I disagree with that a little bit. I think they've been rotating well as a team. They've been playing strong as a team, and I've been impressed by Mr. Fresh's leadership. And speaking of leadership, one other individual is Benji Fish, who's been leading his team so incredibly well. We saw the triple nade.
Oh, that nade strat.
We saw the triple steamy stacks rotation, gain high ground. I mean, everything that they're doing as a team is so incredibly great. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Benji Fish pop off here and maybe cement himself a top 3 finish.
I've seen, I mean, he was carrying 2 people on high ground with him, tarping in that first game, so he's showing the signs there. If they could maybe pull it off that little bit better, he's definitely in it with a shot. But that triple or quadruple nade, I think across 2 steamy stacks, I have never seen that in competitive. That will go on Reddit. That will go out there as an insane competitive clip. And he managed to coordinate it with 2 non-competitive players, showing his leadership.
Can you believe that? You know how hard that is to do?
That is hard to do with 3 stacked teammates who've done it a million times before. They probably didn't even know what a nade strat was, and he's just giving them nades, let's do it, throw them. It was perfect.
I wish we got the team comms. I'm sure the HyperX headsets would pick those up really, really well.
Definitely.
Great coordination right there. And one thing to point out about game 4, we see Benji Fishy splitting Happy Hamlet, I believe that is, over what looks like Happy Hamlet, of course.
Misty,
yep. Over with Blackouts, Tweaks, and James Ward. I wonder if we're going to see an early fight. If not, early rotation from both of them. One thing that we might see in game 4 is some early aggression, some aggro coming in from a lot of these players that are so far behind in the point standings that need to play aggressive. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. And Misty's that kind of drop where you can do that, though. You can have 2 teams very evenly split. You don't have to worry, are we going to run into each other? You've got that very lineated line right there. You've got the bridge. Did they cross the bridge? They're in our turf. Do we cross the bridge? We're in their turf. Most times when you have teams like this, unless they want those points like you're talking about, unless Benji's thinking, hey, we really need to get some eliminations here, they'll probably avoid fighting. They'll rotate through the lake. Zone is right there. So if they are going to fight now, they've actually got plenty of time. You see a zone pull really close to you like that, it's actually more inclined to make you fight because you're not very far from it. You can know if you're not going to get stuck. We saw those early fights coming out from Fresh's team. Unfortunately, a lot of them, we talked about it in game 2, really dragged out, and it ended up costing them a fair bit. So we'll see. Maybe they can avoid that. As I speak of the devil, Lachlan here picking up a llama outside Pleasant.
Yeah,
very big pickup for them.
Yeah, always helpful when you run into one of those. But of course, great call-outs there on Misty Meadows. Much like Happy Hamlet, it is one of the most looted or loot-heavy locations or POIs, if not the most, in terms of chests on the ground. So you can expect them just to split it 50-50, a gentleman's or participants agreement, if you will. Yep. And they'll both probably sneak out of there with a good rotation and reset.
Yeah, look at this. We got pretty good loadouts so far. They got Pleasant to themselves. I think that has had to be instrumental in this team's success so far. Haven't seen where Zayt's going. Actually, his plan is obviously working really well. We see Fresh's team plan here, and yeah, they're dropping Pleasant. They've got all the loot to themselves. Look at that. We got 3 spare mini shields on Lachlan. Can pass him over Enshway. We come back here to Volks's team, or Volks, I should say. I don't actually see a team. Volks is being shot at from trap from a distance. For other OCE pro here. Dominic picking up the legendary chest and gets big pots and minis from it. And luckily that, the truck keeping him safe from the nades, but not from Volks' AR. He's taking some shots from a distance, and his team is in there in Slurpee. We can see them now. Volks, just as he is a very aggressive player, holding the edge and taking the shots.
Yeah, Dominic Stricker, the tennis pro player, of course, junior player, with some solid builds. Getting his health back, trying to stay alive in this scenario. On board with James Colopy, currently with his team in Brody. And on rotation, but speaking of Dominic, he's going to get pushed by Volks, who's so hurt. That's going to be a good pickup for Volks, who actually is not able to know the revive. Does not come in.
No.
by
Down at
Yanakis.
the end.
He does go down.
Unfortunately. Brody here now, so Volks has gone down. Brody's going to try and clutch out, and Brody again, a solid player in his own right. One of the better content creators here today, gets the RPG as I say that. That RPG connects there, he's going to try and find his way through if he can, connecting with the rocket. Shots are coming out, goes down, Traps on the high ground. Trapped, being a controller player, does have that advantage with the aim there. He is going to laser you if you stand in the open for too long. A very, very well-known controller player. The shots come out. Brody building behind him, showing some of that prowess. Like I said, RPG doesn't connect, so the rocket, he just managed to get him, he drops down onto low ground. Things getting a little bit shambles now for him. 35 builds, does he disengage and just get away? I don't think he can salvage much, but no, Trap doesn't want to let him out of there. Great team play here. Trap pushing for the elimination as the more experienced player. I was going to say Giannakis going in for the revive, but no, he's joining in using the numbers advantage.
Yeah, I've been impressed by Yanakis here. Some good follow-up to Trap. Trap playing very, very well. Like a predator hunting its prey, was able to take out one. And now they will get the chance to kind of reset here. Meanwhile, Benji Fishy and Richie, who again, I've been incredibly impressed. Of all the celebrities here today, Richie Stanway, a race car driver, has been performing very well alongside Benji Fish. Easy to do when you have Benji Fish in your team, but still, Tweaks can go down here by the likes of Benji. Benji doing a great job doing Benji things, once again picks up one.
Benji things exactly, and right now, this is very hard for Blackhearts. He is the professional. He's got 3 players pushing in on him. One of them, Benji, one of the best players in the world. He's going to try and hold these walls, see if he can cut them out. There's actually a good play by him. Now he's getting split on all sides. He needs to get a solo. I think he went for maybe a trap on the roof there. Doesn't come out. Huge pickup for Benji's team. That's 3 eliminations on spawn, and now they get that residual Misty loot. You talked about how much loot there is there. They've got it all now.
Yeah, we actually said we thought they wouldn't fight. We stand corrected. They ended up fighting.
They fought. Once zone game near them, Rel's trying to save himself here.
In my eyes, that's the right decision too, because you're playing against a lot of celebrities who maybe aren't as experienced in Fortnite. You can take some early eliminations. You can play more aggressive. That's the right strategy, especially if you're Benji Fishy, arguably a top 5, top 10 player in the world. Meanwhile, Mr. Fresh Asian, you hear the crowd react, picks up an elimination alongside Lachlan.
Yeah, Lachlan takes it out there. Don't know really what happened there. Looks like it was a solo elimination. They only have 1 as a team, as you can see there, and the player goes down. So must have been split from the rest of their team there. Ruri, Ellie, and Neko-kun trying to take some shots here on Tom Burton's team. They're trying to find their way in. Replay's team finding their way through the water in the boat. A lot of teams opting for those coastal rotations. 6 points on Replay's team, though, not working too well for them. If they go down here, it's definitely not their day. This player using the boat right now. Tom Burton was using the boat to shoot some rockets in there. It was actually a decent strategy. Takes a lot of damage for it, though, unfortunately. Neko's on high ground, just dodging the shots, ducking and weaving while he gets the meds off. Ruri picking up the elimination. Looks like it's a 3v2 now. Unfortunately, Tom goes down.
Yeah, Tom Burton, comedian here, not laughing right now as Ruri gets the last laugh. Ruri, our champion from the last game, alongside Crazy Boy and Co., doing a good job trying to follow up here with a game number 4 and get their way into a top 3 finish. Meanwhile, FaZe Replays. A lot of fans here live in the audience and, of course, watching online as well. They're currently against the storm. Minute 30 till that storm starts to collapse. And Maddie Sun and Replays as a duo here doing some good job tagging their opponents from cross map.
Yeah, it's coming in on, and that's why Maddie's now having to rotate out of here. She's trying to get out as fast as she can because they're pushing up the mountain behind them. They do have the high ground advantage, but they don't have the numbers advantage. And with Storm coming in, they very smartly choose to rotate away from that one. We've talked earlier about some teams taking fights for too long, and they rotate out of there. They leave it. Nyrox's team here versing Loserfruit and getting destroyed there. She loses all her shield, but Loserfruit still has that mini. She might be able to get her way back into this here. We switch over to Nyrox. 9 points on him. He has 5 minis. He's got a very good loadout, and he's pushing forward. He smells blood in the water. Loserfruit gets out of the water, but he still smells it. He's pushing forward. The nades dropping underneath, trying to find an angle in there with that blue pump shotgun.
Yeah, Loserfruit getting laser beamed there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And now, in a rough situation, when you have Nyrox hunting you, you're not in the best spot. Nyrox, World Cup Duos champion with Aqua.
Loserfruit doing well, though. She's going for the shots again. When you're versing players this fast, the advantage you have is you have to just hold your shots and you've got to land them. And Loserfruit has been playing competitive first-person shooters for a very long time. She's been playing Overwatch. She can hold her own. She's doing very well here, just getting away from him, losing in the builds. If she gets a solid shot here, she can take him down. He's 170. I can't see what pump she has, but there she is. She goes down. This is now Nyrox and Beck. They are now a duo, but they've picked up some eliminations this game. That's 2 for them. Can't see where Beck is. They're hanging in Weeping Woods.
Yep, I'm very impressed by Loserfruit right there, though, showing some great edits and ability to stay alive. Again, survivability is an important statistic. The ability to be slippery and manage to value your life for quite some time. Jinx, Australian pro player here locally.
Ooh, this is going to be a big pickup for Fresh's team here. Jinx is now, he's trying to hold this with Benson. Mully's gone down, or he is currently knocked. He hasn't been finished just yet. Benson only has about 20 health. Jinx needs to pull something off big here. He's going up against his old trio and squad mate Fresh. As I say that, Fresh is above him, letting him know he was there. Jinx didn't see him, but Fresh says hello.
Peekaboo, says Mr. Fresh Asian with a heads-up play on Jinx. Picks up the elimination after. So again, and now picking up Jinx.
Oh no!
Some fun here, some disrespect being shown.
Oh my gosh. He yeet shots him, throws him, and just hits him before he even lands. 40 points now for Fresh's team.
Wow.
Coming back, that's 3 eliminations for them. They've knocked out 1 player from one team and 2 from another. Papi and Play It Shady's team going in for the revive on Matto Gorman, so they're still all together there. The 3 are still up. And now, worth noting as well, Loserfruit went down there, but she got knocked. That means she has a teammate somewhere still on the map holding it down. Might be able to pick up some points. We have Dimitro here, Snezana, using this bandage Zuka. So again, we talked earlier about using players for their advantages. Snezana here clearly playing that medic role, carrying the bandage Zuka and the mini.
Two bandages?
Oh, well, no, it's 1. It counts
Okay.
as the 2 slots,
Yeah,
the
you're right.
visual
That's what it
display.
is.
So
I
right
can
now,
call
it's 1 bandage. Yes, 1 bandage cannon takes up 2 slots. But, ooh, a beautiful snipe here from Papi, taking down the medic. As I say that, she's got the heals. Now, Jakey and Zexor have to take this fight, or they have to run away from it. They have the numbers advantage, but Matto Gorman's health not looking too great for it, honestly. The shot coming out from Papi on high ground just showed how lethal he can be with that sniper. See if he can connect on Zexor here. If he takes down the pro here and Zexor, no, they get in the boat, but unfortunately Jakey gets left behind, not able quick enough to keep up with Zexor, and Zexor has to leave. He's gonna have to try and solo clutch it out. Jakey trying to swim away, but I mean, this should be like shooting fish in a barrel or shooting players in the lake. Jakey's trying to get away. Never mind, Zexor doesn't actually completely leave him. Zexor is showing that team advantage. Being the pro, he could have just abandoned him, tried to go out solo, but showing his team player coming back, trying to help him out with that sniper rifle.
TSM Zexro just backing on resetting. And of course, his teammate not in a good position health-wise right now. So now he's just gonna try and get some damage across map and on the rotation here. Gatekeep as much as he can, but with Jakey that tagged up, the right decision is to back out, reset. Let Jakey heal and try and position yourself better to survive rather than trying to play for elimination. Smart play from Zexro just to back out and reset.
Definitely, and look, it worked. Jakey's still alive now, so they unfortunately had that bandage cannon on their teammates. Nizana, yeah, they had the bandage cannon go down with her, so unfortunately, here comes the fight though. Exu, Vinny, the other TSM member we're now tuning in with. Vinny, Exu, and George Thompson taking these shots here on Cooper White and Symmetrical. So we have NA on NA here.
Yep. Ken Kavrak, we talked about earlier, a very, very solid celebrity player as well, who's been performing well so far.
Ooh, here's my favorites that I talk so much about. Playing a little bit safer this game. They've got 0 eliminations between the 3 of them, but look at the health and shield. They're looking very healthy. 125 builds there on Mitch, so they're looking great. They're playing for that placement. Maybe trying to have a pop-off game. Maybe get a win. Maybe if they know they can't get the money, maybe go out with a bit of fame, go out with a bang, get a win, get an interview, get some screen time. You never know. But 17 points. They're not that far away. We saw Fresh's team up there, who I have to assume are in the top 3 right now on 40 points. So
Mitch unfortunately never gets screen time. He needs more as a professional football player, streamer. Big shout out to Mitch Robinson, who is representing the AFL, much like Tariq Cohen yesterday at the Streamer Showdown, represented the NFL with a first place finish. Meanwhile, Ken Kavrak, who I just mentioned, a tennis junior pro player, also pretty solid Fortnite player, putting damage on Leon right now across maps. Airwalks, former back-to-back champion of the Pro-Ams in the States, trying to do it here in Australia, but not looking great in a pretty tough situation.
Yeah, getting shots in the back, unfortunately, they're definitely going out. Like you said, Kavrik, that one to look out for. Didn't really note him as someone to look out for coming into today, but he's doing well. Leon trying to push forward now. Airwax being their pro there, but some good edits coming out from Leon. He's definitely played Fortnite before. Those were some edits. He knows what he's doing. Kavrak picking up Reedy there, trying to take these shots. Dracon's also taking some shots through. Looking pretty good with this one, though. I'm seeing Babs in the distance. Can't see too many players around here. There's a lot of central fights going on. We have a very central zone right now, and they're going to start banking up next to each other. They are not letting up. This is unrelenting shooting right now. Leon is just holding these builds to try and save his life.
Across the map there, I saw Thanasi Skokinaki still alive, trying to survive and represent the pro tennis players here competing today.
Trying to find these split angles. They're trying to pinch this player. If they can get a decent shot on Leon, there you go. The SMG shot's coming out. He's trying to get above him. He blocks it off so he can't go in front of him. They're splitting the angles right now. Kavrik's actually editing. Kavrik is a solid player. He's doing really well. That was a perfect triangle edit. Went for the wall replace. That was the dark horse. If I had seen him play earlier, I would have predicted that. Leon going for the high ground here. Kavrik's trying to find his way through on low ground. Leon's up on the high ground now, but you have Jailmock team from the bush here trying to take some shots or behind the rock, I believe, for the split perspective. Looking on the left, though, outside of this fight, we have quite a few teams not in the zone. I said it's a central zone, and a lot of these teams must have dropped towards the edge of the map. Leon taking a large amount of fall damage, goes down to 4 health, and he's finished off there. Jailmock not looking too great, but trying to spray that fight out. The RPG shot comes out. It's Fresh's team pushing forward, 41 points. They are playing so aggressively now. Honestly, at this point in the game, I have to pick Fresh's team as the favorites because they are playing so aggressive, just walking through people. Fresh has found his stride. He is pushing forward on Babs, and I can't imagine Babs is going to survive this one.
And you have to know that Babs is hurt right now, so Mr. Fresh Asian is not going to let loose like a shark in water right now, trying to finish him. He's going to take out Thanasi. Fresh is not done yet. Bam's alive. Bam's hurt. Bam's about to get taken out, and yes, he does. Mr. Fresh Asian and Lachlan do it again. Another great performance from the Click crew.
44 points. This team is walking forward. They are charging forward in this lobby right now, and they're near the center zone, so they know they're in zone right now, and they can keep picking people. Maybe they'll see the two players over there, Papi, Play It, Shady, now playing as a duo. Let's see if they want to still keep pushing forward. Team's trying to rotate in. We have Vinny's team. Vinny, Exo, and George Thompson not doing too great points-wise. 2 points here. That's actually one that I wouldn't have expected with the player capabilities they have, but they can cause an upset. Now they see Lachlan and Schwan Fresh. They pick up a snipe here onto Fresh. It's a body shot, so it's only 100 damage, but that can change things up if they don't have the spare shield.
One player I have not seen in a long time, but a key storyline here is Zayt. Keep in mind, Zayt was undoubtedly in first place. If Zayt got taken out early, which again, we're not sure, that sets up Mr. Fresh Asian for a great opportunity.
Oh yeah. Definitely he can run away with this one here, so we're going to try and get a sight line on Zayt if we can, or confirmation whether he's still in the lobby, because that will be very big for the storyline right now of who's in top 3, because Fresh's team right now is running away from him. We haven't seen him in the feed, so if he's still there, he's playing it safe. We haven't seen him just yet, though. I saw Slayer's team up there, now Mitch Robinson. Nyrox trying to push forward, though. Can't find his way in. He's just boxing up, trying to stay on the edge here. I can see 2 different teams right on top of each other here. I can see a couple teams up on the hill, too. These center zones, you'd think being center, everyone can rotate into them, but sometimes if you get into zone early, players like this have plenty of time to come up and fight you. There's nothing pushing them off you.
Yep.
This fight can go on for a long time.
Nyrox playing with James Elmer, ABC3 host, and Australia's Got Talent. Let's see what they can do as a duo. Their teammate is taken out here on board now with Jakey from Mindfreak, playing alongside Zexro from TSM, as they're just trying to survive for a late game. We got 47 players left. This is our last game of the Australian Open Summer Smash featuring Fortnite Pro-Am. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Fallout here alongside Aussie Antics, bringing to the action. And of course, it's going to come down to the wire here. Chances still alive with Looter. They are game 1 winners. They were top 5 last week.
They're doing well. And the other team you touched on as well, Benji Fishy with incredible leadership. I could see Benji Fishy's team in zone there on the high ground in a great position. So at the same time, they're doing really well. But yeah, Looter's team, unfortunately, at the end of Benji Fishy's nade strat last game, so they were the winner of our first game, going down to Benji. So it's getting pretty tight at the top. You'd have to think we haven't put eyes on Zayt yet. So I'm thinking Benji Fishy's team, Fresh's team, and Looter's team are the ones to win it right now. Pate taking the shot on Ellie. I think Ellie must be alone. No, there's 2 separate duos. Or it's a trio and a solo. I believe it's a trio versus a solo. It is. They're able to easily clean that one up with the numbers advantage right on the edge of zone, replenish some of those materials, pick up some loot, and then walk out with it. They've got to get to the next zone. 36 seconds till it starts closing.
Yeah, all right. So Rory, our game 3 winner, I believe, from the Asian region, trying to do a big. Dominic Stricker, a tennis junior pro player, alongside Yanakis, trying to survive right now. Of course, Ghost Trap still alive, representing Ghost Gaming here in Australia. Yanaki's gonna get tagged up, but Yanaki is a solid Fortnite player. Getting some good shots in. Still alive, finally gonna get tagged up, taken out, but Trapped is still alive. On board of Dominic Stricker. Let's see what the tennis player can do here.
Look at the mini-map in the bottom right now. That's where these players are, and you can see 4 teams all in this tight area right now. So even if they win this fight, I can't imagine they walk away with this easily, though. Going down here, Elevate is solo here, trying to carry this one out. Alex has gone down, so is James. There it is on the finish on Giannakis. So he's got this high ground, but these teams are rolling up. They hear all these shots. Look at this right now, and Benji Fishy's team's the one that's on top of it all. They're trying to just sit there and see how it goes.
This is why Elevate is signed by one of the top esports organizations, 100 Thieves. He performs so incredibly well at all times, represents the organization so well, very well spoken as a pro player and leader. I'm very impressed by Elevate of 100 Thieves, who is last alive trying to do it all for his team right now. Meanwhile, Tanner gonna get knocked down, and it looks bleak right now for X2 Twins Jesse, our champion from the solos tournament last year at the Australian Open Summer Smash featuring Fortnite. Let's see if Jesse can do it here in the Pro-Am.
You say bleak, at the same time, it's looking like a lot of solos or duos here. You can see how many different colors are on the bottom right. I don't know how many teams are there, but it looks like it was 4 teams. So I think the 5 players, there's just 3 teams though. Look at this.
I don't see Zayt anywhere.
No, I don't see Zayt anywhere. We have to assume he's maybe gone out of this one. So can Fresh's team run away with it, or can someone bring it back in? Because that pretty much showed the whole lobby. We can see those teams up on the mountain that we just touched in with. We see Fresh's team here, Papi, Play It, Shady. So we've definitely got those names still in there, but Zayt is not one of them.
Yeah, so we got Rory, Game 3 winner. We got Mr. Fresh Asian, Game 2 winner. And we also have a variety of teams here in a solid position to win this one, as Looter, Game 1 winner, all alive. So 3 of our champions are still alive here in this one, with an opportunity to clutch up in game number 4 and secure the greatest share of our $100,000 prize pool for charity.
And we have our half-half zone. This is one of the most influential zones in the game. If you get this half-half zone, so what that means is when the zone pulls really far apart, the new zone will be half in the old zone and half in the area you can't play in. If you get that zone, this is one of the furthest areas to travel. So if you're there like Papi and Play It Shady is, you are laughing. Everyone has to come to you. You get to stay there and save your materials. We see Fresh's team was also very, very close.
And here we go. As you get to the late game, so that means the circles are getting smaller and smaller. You see these builds, these tunnels start to come. Every player is just trying to safely rotate into the next circle, which at the bottom right of your screen, you can see where that half-half zone is, as Ozzy just mentioned. Ooh, a great shot put in by Mr. Fresh Asian, and he's going to continue his spree. Picks up a 6th elimination. That's the most in one game that I have seen so far. Mr. Fresh Asian continues to play perfect at the Australian Open.
He takes down Ruben Styles. Enshway not one of the ones to be able to do it, but maybe Enshway going to come out on top as the top musician today as well. Ruben Styles going down. Fresh has got himself there, and he is definitely playing his game. Luda and Chance are still in there, though, so it's definitely not Fresh's game to run away with. They do have some competition there near the top. Lachlan shooting in now as well. Lachlan's got 2 eliminations under his belt. That's 8 for this team, and they are going for more. Ken stuck under that stair, unfortunately. Lachlan trying to find the angle, but he can't. It's a very awkward spot, but then Fresh, with the teamwork, wraps back around and has the other angle. They are playing so well as a unit.
Takes out the RPG to absolutely destroy the bottom of that cover, which supports Lachlan for an opportunity to go big. Fresh Asian's playing so incredibly well right now. 7 eliminations. Lachlan has 2, as mentioned. That's 9 for the team, and they're not done yet.
No, they're pushing up. Fresh is looking for more, and he has those floppers. We saw how instrumental they were into his victory last time. Enshway goes down, though, so Lachlan and Fresh going to have to close this one out. There it is, he goes down, but then Fresh instantly dropping down to get the loot, though, off him, so he might have the material. Yeah, he's going back down for it. We see Benji Fishy over here. We talk about his leadership, and look, all 3 players are alive in a great position on 36 points. So players at home, folks, you're not going to see the stakes until the end, but you can see 36 points on Benji. We saw Fresh on low 40s, so look for that points, because that's how you know who's going to come out on top.
Richie Stanway, who professional race car driver in Australia, who we mentioned was also playing very well as an individual. Mr. Fresh Asian picks out another. Make that 7.
Oh, he's running away with it. Fresh is looking so good right now. 48 points. Rotating zone comes out and he's trying to make his way to it. Benji on the high ground, though. He can pick up a lot of points here, but Fresh is running away with it with his eliminations. Placement points about to start coming up. We have 14 teams alive. As soon as you see that number drop below 12, they're going to start gaining 3 points every few people going down.
They're spot on. Placement points and elimination points. 1 point per elimination. And of course, once we get to it, 3 points per placement, essentially. Benji Fishy in the best position, though. We talked about Elevate earlier, still alive and making some noise. You can never count him out as a top player in Fortnite, but Benji Fishy and co, he's leading his team so well, building for his team so well on the high ground.
Look at these teams. Look at the pro players. They're warmed up now, and that's what today's about. They're getting warm up. You can see Elevate, Zexor, you can see all of them still there. Slayer's in there as well. But it looks like Benji Fishy's team has the numbers advantage. I see Alithia. I don't see the 3rd player, but I also, at the same time, Chances and Luda still sticking together as well. So they're looking great. And Fresh picks up another elimination, eats the flopper, and look at him. He's in zone, but he's got that extra flopper too. There's a med kit there. I don't think I'll have time to use it. We still have Benji Fishy's team on high ground. Look at the 40 points. They're racking them up because at high ground, you can pick up more eliminations. Benji has 7. He's saying, Fresh, no, you're not running away with this one. I'm going to put a fight on.
Benji and Mr. Fresh Asian going tit for tat right now with elimination. 7 apiece. Who's going to end up with more? We will see, but Benji's in a great position right now with the high ground to make it rain. It's a firing range right now for Benji.
It is, but at the same time, Fresh down on low ground. He is a very scrappy, very good player mechanically. I see a few of those content creators and celebrities down there. That's when they start to get lost. Epic Whale, obviously coming top 3 at World Cup in solos, carrying it out solo. No, Magma coming up behind him. Magma is still alive to support him there. Shots coming out from Epic Whale on high ground. We see Chances very far from zone. I have to assume he's going to go down there, which will close out Luda's chance, though. So if we can see if Fresh is still here, Parfy going down as well. He pops the flopper to just delay the inevitable, but unless he picks up an elimination right now, he has to go down. Fresh is still alive, 56 points. He has 9 eliminations, 3 on Lachlan, who has gone down, though. He's got no more health meds, though. Needs to push out. He needs this elimination so badly. He gets the siphon. He has a 61 health now with the extra 50, taking down Richie. He's pushing forward, 25 health. The edits come out. He's getting stuck a little bit, but now he's moving forward. 3 teams alive.
Mr. Fresh Asian, someone stop him. He's playing unstoppable right now. Perfect Fortnite, connects with the siphon right when he needed it, but right now he is in a world of hurt. Crowd, he needs your energy.
It is. If someone's going to stop him, it's going to be Benji Fishy. He gets the meds off, though. He's actually looking okay. Lithia, Benji have the numbers advantage. He's versing one of the best players in the world above him. He said he couldn't go toe-to-toe with these guys. He beat Symmetrical. Can he somehow, against all odds, take this one out and then take down Alithia and Benji Fishy? 52 points on them, and we see 63 on Fresh, though. So I think he's won this one, but can he close out the game? Can he do it for bragging rights? He's pushing forward. He's going for the high ground. Tries to get a shot on Benji. He can't make his way through. He's got the RPG. If he can knock him down.
You gotta think this is a 1 versus 1 right now, really, and Benji Fishy's gonna come out on top as Alithia gets dropped to low ground, but ultimately, Benji Fishy and Alithia were in such a perfect position to close that one out. I gotta say, We said tit for tat. Benji had 10. I don't know,
Yeah.
Mr. Fresh Asian had 10 or 11. These two are performing so incredibly well. Benji Fishy does it again. 10 elims, 11 for the team, and he leads his team to a victory royale here in game number 4. That's going to shake things up undoubtedly.
Yeah, definitely. That made it so much more tight at the top if we could. Zay went down, unfortunately, there. We saw Fresh coming second. He has played so well today. Again, they're cohesive as a unit. Comes to endgame where things get really scrappy. Fresh going off on his lone, going toe-to-toe. He had 11 health on the edge there. That extra elimination not only gained him the single elimination point, it gained him even more placement points. He made it into top 2. And when you get towards those final placement points, they stack up quick. The second and the top 4, it's crazy.
Yeah, you're spot on. Second place right there is massive. You mentioned, Zayt mentioned earlier, we're just going for second place. That's totally fine for us. That's a huge point jump right there. With Zayt being out, you got to think that might put him in a pretty bad spot to secure first place finish. Things are certainly shaken up right now, thanks to the one, the only Benji Fishy, one of the top Fortnite players in the world, coming all the way from the UK. And we have Adrian getting ready for an interview with the man himself, Benji Fishy. I'm excited to hear about that one. See how we go.
Guys, thank you so much, Benji Fishy. I can't put into words that display. Can you try and take us through it? That was insane.
Yeah, I mean, we got a few kills mid-game. We had really good loot. I was just leading, and I don't know. I just slayed out and won. I don't know.
What were you saying to these guys? You were basically carrying them, and you were telling me you were sort of educating them as they go. What were you saying to them?
Yeah, I was just telling them to follow me. What I did, I just tunneled. They dropped me mats, and yeah, they just pretty much shot people, and it just worked.
Well, can you feel the intensity? I mean, you can't hear what's going on in the crowd, but they were screaming for those last few minutes. Can you feel that, what's going on in the stadium?
Yeah, I can feel it. I can definitely feel it. Especially when we got those nade kills last game. The stadium, yeah, it was a really good feeling.
What is it like? Obviously, you're from England. You've travelled all the way out here to be in Melbourne, the Australian Open. What's it like being here in Margaret Court Arena?
Oh, it's really good. I love traveling just to play a game. It's really surreal.
Nicely done. You'll come back again, I'm assuming?
I hope so, yeah.
Guys, we'll jump over here as well. I mean, you guys have performed extremely well, but I guess he's the man, right? How impressed are you with how he performed today?
Yeah, it was a solid carry. It's got such good comms and, really good IGL. So we just listened to what he said and dropped him mats and just, tagged along for the ride. And, it was good fun.
Did you know that this was going to happen today? That maybe this man is, he's clearly one of the best in the world. We know that.
I had full faith in him. No, his comms are so good. Everything he says, is perfect.
Nicely done, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Game 4 winners. Round of applause one more time, guys. What a result.
Yeah, what an incredible result coming out of that one. Benji Fishy, the man we saw. Look, to be fair, his team got better and better and better as the day progressed. And look, if they hadn't have picked up a victory royale by the end of the day, it would have been a little bit disappointing. We got our supercars driver, we got Alithia in there as well. A pretty qualified team when it comes to competition, games, sports and whatnot. And they came through with the goods. The high ground really playing a crucial role there in the end as well.
They got better and better, and this team evolved after every single game. You saw game 3 with the beautiful nade play that is certainly going to circulate on Twitter and Reddit here soon. And then game 4, they're perfectly positioned. Benji led this team so well, like a general leading an army, and they came out on top of the win to close it all out.
Trios, of course, all about teamwork, and that's what we saw today from their team. Look, Mr. Fresh Asian and Lachlan coming out, they got a ton of eliminations as well. And as you said, with Zayt being out of the points, really not there at the end at all. A couple of questions for me now. Who's going to come out on top? They were 10 points ahead at the start of the match. That particular 10-point lead is going to be very small right now, if at all.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel like maybe I cursed my boy Zayt because I mentioned in the pre-show that he always gets second place. I thought he was going to get first this time around, but unfortunately, game 4 did not go their way, as you guys are going to see the replay come through here. Instead, Benji Fishy steps up, and not only that, you said it, Mr. Fresh Asian and Lachlan, alongside Enshui, picked up at least 14 or 15 eliminations. That's 15 points from elims, plus 9 points from placing second. That's a huge pop-off here in game 4 that might put him in a first-place spot in the standings. I can't wait to see these final results.
We were talking about how match number 4, the time was now. There was no better time than this because there ain't no game number 5, and you really had to carry through, and that's what we saw these guys do. Both Benji Fishy and Mr. Fresh Asian really was there to, oh, look at this. This was pretty brutal. I love that one for sure. The Eldan's coming through as well. But look, when the pressure was on, they came out on top, and for me, just to see how well this match went. Game number 1 was pretty good, but slowly but surely across the course of today, we got to a point where that last game, I couldn't have asked for anything else.
Look at that 180 flick right there from Ken Kavrak,
Easy.
who again, young junior tennis player who we've been very impressed by. Yanaki's here, did a great job getting some good shots in and showed off his skill, but ultimately did get taken out. And then late game really became the Mr. Fresh Asian and Benji show as they both played so incredibly well. We see how well positioned they were to win that one. Chief Slaya doing everything he can, but ultimately it was all Mr. Fresh Asian all day.
Yeah, absolutely was. Is it going to be enough for him to come out on top? Will Zate be able to come through with the goods? Did they do enough in the previous games? Maybe Benji Fishy and an epic victory royale in match number 4. Is that going to be enough for them? A lot on the line. That was so happy, and they should be. You can see how much this means for them.
Yeah, you see the celebration come through. They're hugging like they've been teammates their entire lives. You love the camaraderie. I mean, I'll tell you right now, this is a lesson in leadership. Benji Fishy has done such a good job bringing this team together. You see smiles on his face. I'm really, really impressed by this young leader.
Well, we've started putting our scores together, and we now have our top 10 ready. Let's start working our way through. We'll see how everyone plays out. Oh, in 10th place, X-Rao. Yep. Look, not bad. $3,000 charity of choice for Teams X-Rao. That's what you're looking for in 9th. Bumper, Stevie Nicholson, and Cease coming through there as well. $3,000, some big names we spoke about earlier. Ruri, not bad, not bad. We saw them come out with a good win before, so that's going to put them into 8th spot and $3,000 to their charity of choice also. Work our way through to 7th. No real surprises there. Again, look at these points. Lots of points on the board for all of these teams.
Yeah, undoubtedly. CLG Symmetrical doing a great job. Chances, Luder, and Oliver doing a good job. Getting 6th place after winning game number 1. Chances, of course, brother of Lachlan, I believe we mentioned earlier, with a good performance. Moving on to 5th place in our top 5 here. To close it out, it's going to get intense. We see the players waiting. Excited to see the ultimate final score. 100 Thieves Elevate with a top 5 finish. My man Elevate doing it big.
Not bad at all, not bad at all. They had some pretty good games, obviously very consistent. Consistency can be key in a game like Fortnite when you're trying to accrue points after points as you get your way through. Working our way now towards the top 4. The prize money increases. Epic Wow, Magma, and Baker Boy. We didn't chat that much about them on the stage, but each and every game, as we got towards the end, they were still there. They were still part of the top 10 all of the time and getting the elims.
Yep, NRG, Epic Will, always showing up. He did it in the Cash Cup a couple days ago here in Oceania. He did it in World Cup, and he did it again today. Congratulations to them. But guess what? It is time for our top 3. In 3rd place, to round out our top 3, is going to be Zate.
Wow.
0 and What Scope. $15,000 to a charity of their choice. I believe Zate said earlier it's for the Australian bushfires, so congratulations to them. Ben, 2nd place.
This is where it really gets interesting, because if you know 2nd, you know 1st. We know it's between Team Benji Fishy and Team Fresh. The teams that came out with the limbs in the last couple of games, I think Fresh won match number 2, Benji Fishy won match number 4. Oh, man.
It all comes down to this. Top 2 between Benji Fishy, the UK British sensation, and Mr. Fresh Asian holding it down for Australia and New Zealand.
Can he go back to back? That's my real question. Has Fresh done enough to get his team across the line? It's been a pretty epic 4 matches, and I'm almost ready.
If you in the crowd want Mr. Fresh Asian to take a 1st place finish, let me hear it. All right, I think I know where the crowd stands. And here we go between Benji Fish and Mr. Fresh Asian as pro players. Our 2nd and 1st place teams are...
Oh, Benji Fishy in 2nd. There you go. Lachlan, Mr. Fresh Asian, and Emshway coming through. Fresh back-to-back AO Summer Smash Pro-Am champion.
And they're going to pick up the carrier of their team, Mr. Fresh Asian. Congratulations, you are the back-to-back Australian Open Summer Smash featuring Fortnite champion for the Pro-Am. 2 times in a row he does it.
Absolutely incredible. Let's get these guys up onto the stage. Lachlan, Mr. Fresh Asian, and Ange, come up here. We want to have a chat. We want to see you with your trophies as well. The crowd is going absolutely insane. Fresh, look, He works so hard. He's had like 1 day off all year. I don't mean all year like 2020. I mean like in the last 12 months.
Yeah. As a content creator, as a top player, and I gotta say, I don't want to spoil anything, but he took the game into his own hands. Talk about the way that he did it. Absolutely dominated game 4 when it mattered the most. And let's bring him on stage here with us.
Get in.
Congratulations,
Right in here with
absolutely
us.
popped off.
Oh man, what an incredible result. Coming through with the goods. The real Mr. Fresh Asian coming out on top, mate. Firstly, congratulations, back-to-back Pro-Am champion. How does it feel?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Feels great. You love to see it.
And Lachlan, I got to bring it over to you as well. Your brother actually popped off with a Game 1 win. Was throwing a little bit of shade, saying he was going to find you and eliminate you at some point, but you get the last laugh. How does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, I thought they were going to run away and win it, honestly, after that first game dub. Like, they were looking so strong. We had a horrible first game. We got 3 points. Fresh went down early. Shocker, the game turned to shambles. And we only got 3 points that game, and then just won, and then Fresh. Like, the last game was so intense because we were just like 10 points behind. And we were like, we have to frag out. And Fresh fragged out, and me and Ench did a little bit.
It's very close, very close. And, you know, when you came to it, you're up against Benji Fishy, one of the best players in the world. This guy's won millions of dollars playing Fortnite, and you're in a 1v2. It's pretty tough. You almost went all the way. How did that feel?
Man, I stuffed up my damn ramp, all right? I was trying to block myself. I stuffed up. But GG's to Benji. I'll take the dub.
I
love it.
I want to bring it over to you. You make music for a living. Now you're maybe showing you can play some Fortnite for a living. How did this compare to your full-time career? How'd you like playing Fortnite alongside these two?
I play a lot at home already. Fortnite, COD, mostly Fortnite because it's the best game. But I got them 3 limbs over the games. It helped a little bit. So yeah, we got the